Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and Joe Dehls. This is episode 286. In this episode, we're going to recap Game 1 of the NBA Finals, talk about where Jokic ranks all time, Suns and Pistons new coaching hires, Saints chances in the NFC, and debate who's in a better situation between Jordan Love and Justin Fields. This is now episode 286. We're getting closer to 300.
I forgot we weren't going live again, so I'm thinking we was going live just now.
Yeah. No John.
Holy shit.
John.
If you don't see John, we're not going live.
Yeah, if John is here, we are indeed going live. Yeah. That's true. You know, somebody mentioned a good point, and somebody replied, I think tweeted or mentioned me and was like, they miss hearing good old Jay Aqua at the end of things. They do.
I miss saying it, man.
And I don't know.
That was a great vibe.
You know, there's a lot of Patreon names. There's over 100. That's why
That's up to you, buddy.
it's tough to just name them all.
That shit.
I wonder if we can come up with a system where we're not naming all 100, but we're naming at least like a chunk of them.
You know what? I was watching the Six Man Show, and they actually do a solid job of this. They read their highest tier member Patreons every single show, and then they read the new ones. So like Jay Aqua
about we
pays
just
for the highest
Split
tier.
it up every show. We don't have to name 100 people every show. We could just name
20.
Well, I
a
think
show,
it's fair
so-
to name the highest paid Patreons because they are
They do.
donating
paying
the
the
highest
bills.
amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
let's
wanna
give
feel like
some
everybody
love
fair.
to Ben Lowry, Chuck
Tough.
Gibson,
Tough.
Daniel Nowalczyk. Hopefully I said that right.
There we go.
Itchapa, G Boog 150,
G-Boog.
Holmes 206, Jacob Adams, John Pintavelli, and I gotta keep, I gotta do the applause, of course. I haven't done this in a while. Caleb Cunningham, King J, Matthew Evans, Nazir Mitchell, Nick, On Bloods Cuz, Ruben Jimenez, Shan, Tanner, Travis Ball, Tyler, Vincent Munoz, VV Jersey Made VV, Cole Larson, A-Cow 817, Alex Viveros, Alternate Football Fan, Amari Gilliam, Anthony Napuri, Ant Lokren,
People in this top tier.
Big Chief,
Where does the
Big
numbers
Chuck, Big
Chuck.
Pinky,
Chuck.
BJ Davies, Boogavelli, Burner Hoops, Cade MVP, Chris, Christian Flores, Kobe Whitehead, Cole Rubes, Criminal Zebra, Dana, Darius Garland's next, David DeRizzo, D. Blee Man 521, Die Sometimes, D Money, Dom, Doug Robert, Drew the Goat for real, Dylan Buckner, Dylan Court Boro, Ego Dalla.
Can I ask you, these
Edwin
are all the top
Ocasio.
tiers?
Is this just our top tier?
It's
Do
the
we have
last,
one tier?
I messed up. So it was a top tier and like in the second tier as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Amari Scott, Eric Leo, S.A. Crimes, Ethan Rodriguez, Gerardo Lerma, Hash Brown, Hikari, Hunter Osborne, Jackson Byram, Jadakiss Jefferson, Jimmy Bartek, and that's it, I guess.
There we go. Shout out to the people, man. The
I
great people.
I also made a mistake. I
Sorry.
didn't click the active only.
Oh, my God.
A lot of those names, some of them might not have even been active. I haven't done this in a while. It's on a
it's
fly.
a little
I was
rusty.
gonna
It's
say
a little
Jay
rusty.
Aqua isn't even on there.
And good old Jay.
Is he a top tier guy?
Let me see if Jack was still active.
Oh,
It'd
if
be a
he's
shame
not
if he
active,
wasn't.
Oh, man.
Mm.
And he's one of our mods.
Bill's catching
He's
up.
got to be.
Yeah, let me see if Jack.
Jay Aqua's a pick-a-side legend.
Yeah, he is. Even if he's not active, he deserves a shout out. Because over the years, he's donated a lot.
Oh, no, for sure.
I don't know. Jack. No, yeah, he is. He is.
Okay.
All right.
Yes,
Never in
yes.
doubt, truth
Good
be
old
told.
Jay Aqua.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
doubt.
He's here.
I just hooped with him like 2 weeks
Don't
ago.
worry, he's here.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where at?
I know him. I went to school with him.
Really?
Went to Bergen with him. Didn't know
Tough.
who he was for like 2 years, and then I seen him hoop, and I was like, dude, I know you. And I hooped with him like 2-3 weeks ago.
So before the show, I had a question I want to ask Riv because he brought up a start bench cut between Jimmy Butler, McGrady, and Carmelo Anthony. And okay, Jimmy Butler's career has been kind of weird. It hasn't been linear because he's become a superstar at like age 30. Past his past 26, he really became that guy. So question, he's been to the finals twice. He made it in the bubble. He made it this time around. He lost the first one. There's a chance he's going to lose this second one. Him and Jason Kidd, do they not have similar career trajectories? Or not trajectories, but both of them have been to an NBA Finals. But does that mean that we rank Jason Kidd above a player like Russell Westbrook or Chris Paul or these other all-time great point guards? Because he has 2 finals runs. He's led 2 teams to the finals.
I think you have to win.
This gets spicy.
It also gets nasty.
Do we not rank Jason Kidd above Russell Westbrook?
I don't know if I would.
Really?
I think Jason
I think
Kidd,
you do.
I think Jason Kidd is a better complementary player than Russ.
Okay.
But Russell Westbrook at his best is more All-NBAs. He has an MVP.
He does.
I think peak for peak, Russell Westbrook is a better player than Jason Kidd.
He does have the MVP.
Yeah, I knew that.
But Jason Kidd also, as the guy, did take his team to the finals.
Twice.
But that's what I'm saying. As the guy, you say as a complimentary piece, you could say that because he was able to extend his career, obviously with the Mavericks, was able to win a championship. But I don't know.
The scorer really that Kidd is.
No, facts. No.
Or Kidd isn't the scorer that Westbrook is.
Correct.
I mean, stats aren't everything, but in those Nets years, it was like 15-10, 19-9.
No,
different
for sure.
NBA, but
different era for sure.
But the defense that he was playing, his playmaking, obviously he's one of the best passers the game's ever seen. The way he was able to facilitate an offense, the way he was able to run an offense.
I mean, one year with the Nets, he averaged 19, 9, 7, and 2 steals.
No, he was amazing on both sides.
Because I'm thinking about players who've made finals runs, who've went to the finals, but aren't ranked like highly. Like we don't rank them as like top 5.
But I feel like Jason Kidd, to some, arguably most, is a top 5 point guard.
I think the top 5 you have Magic, Curry,
of course.
Robertson, John Stockton has to be there. I don't know if I'd rank Jason Kidd over John Stockton.
Understand?
I think he's a better player, but I get the all-time stuff. I do.
For sure.
Robert,
do you think
you
Jason
say Isaiah
Kidd,
Thomas?
You have to say Isaiah Thomas. Yeah.
It's also weird, though, because Jason Kidd also has more individual accolades than Jimmy Butler.
No, I think it's a good comp. I think in terms of, like, especially, like, teams that aren't that great, those Nets teams weren't that great.
Facts.
They were catapulted by one guy and a bunch of good role players around him. So I get the comparison. Even though Jason Kidd's career is a lot longer, he was better for a lot longer. Mm-hmm. Still, I get the comparison, though. Miami's looked at as an underdog. The Nets were looked at as an underdog. Jason Kidd, I don't know, because the discourse around Jason Kidd is definitely why I see why you said, because Jason Kidd is either viewed really highly or viewed extremely low.
They underrate him. Mm-hmm.
Either underrate him or overrate him. So it's like with Jimmy Butler, it's kind of the same. You either underrate him or you overrate him. There is no real in between with neither player. So, whew.
Do you think Allen Iverson's over James Harden all time?
I have James over Allen Iverson.
And Allen Iverson led a team to the finals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have James over Iverson personally.
That's close. Scoring, it's not a question, obviously, but that's what AI's strong point was.
Who's a better scorer?
Probably James Harden.
James Harden.
Yeah.
And he just all-around offensive player. He's a better offensive player.
I think so. He just doesn't have the finals run.
I just mentioned that because James Harden doesn't have a finals run, but I exempt it because it was against the Warriors.
It's understandable.
That's fair.
It's understandable.
It is.
Unfortunately, his best teams came against a dynasty.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, though, because,
Did he not just choke like maybe 3 weeks ago?
like a dog.
Oh, he did choke.
He's past his
I'm not
prime
going
now.
to say he didn't choke.
Although
I think he still has violence. You relax.
Although he's the same age as the guy that we started this conversation.
You could have
with.
a lot left in your tank and still be past your prime.
There's a reason
But
why.
I also do want to ask this question
Lost 5.
because you said
Or
you either
4.
overrate or underrate Jimmy. I feel like a lot of it at this point now is people are starting to overrate him. But how do you overrate Jimmy Butler in your opinion?
I think when you start saying he's like one of the greatest playoff performers in our generation, or like,
Well, is that overrating or is that
he
fact?
has the same stats as James Harden in elimination games.
I think there's like I think there's a lot of guys you can name in front of him, like guys we don't even mention
in our generation.
Yeah, I think our generation is a big portion. I think people like Tim Duncan, Shaq, Kobe, LeBron, Steph, Kevin Durant, just to name off the top of my head, Dirk, Dwayne Wade, Kevin. Like, there's a lot of people you can name.
So
in our
when
generation.
people say, "Hey, he's one of the best players to ever play this game,"
that's overrated.
No, I'm not talking Jimmy Butler. I'm just saying the phrase in general, right? There's a lot of people that are in that statement. Hey, you're a top 75 player. You're one of the best to ever play this game. So why are we trying to gatekeep one of the best of our generation, as if it can only be 5 or 6 heads.
Because I think that sometimes when you use those type of phrases, you have to be specific. I don't think you can.
But Jimmy has been crazy.
He has been. I'm not.
But
disagreeing
he's
with
also really just been that first round. He went crazy. Since then, he has.
I mean, last year he was great.
He played well
last
against.
year. He was really great.
Yeah, but even in the ECF, he had a couple games where he did not show up.
The weird one about last year was he had big games and then the shit games.
Exactly.
Jimmy Butler is in the perfect spot of a star player where his great games will get praised and his bad games will get swept under the rug.
That game one, I don't hear anyone talking about Jimmy Butler. He just had an abysmal 13-point performance.
He's only starting to face criticism for his bad games because of how they've been talking about him, and now people are pushing back on it. But he was in that sweet spot of a player that you get praised when you're amazing, but when you are bad, nobody talks about it.
This year's different, though, because of the 8 seed. Yeah, so the fact that you made it last year different, you're a 1 seed, you're expected to go to the finals. This year as an 8 seed, no one thought they would make it.
That's the thing, though. Do you think it's because they just, like, even though they were a 1 seed last year, I don't think anybody was too high on Miami.
That's
true. Do you think it's just been he gets praised because the expectations for Miami and them are just so low?
That could be part of it. I also think that when you look at the opponents that they have faced to get to the Eastern Conference Finals or the Finals, it hasn't been all that impressive.
Who are you talking about, Miami?
Yeah.
This year or last year?
This year it was.
Oh, last year.
No, because I almost had a stroke.
Milwaukee, Boston,
This year it was.
About last year.
You look at the bubble, they faced the...
They played the Bucks in the second round. I don't remember.
They faced the Bucks in the second round.
Bucks, the Celtics. I'm blanking on round 1.
The first round, I
Indiana.
know it was yeah, you're right, because it was a Butler and TJ Warren feud going on.
Indiana. Yeah, I remember.
Ooh, Indiana and Sabonis didn't play that series. Not like he would have changed much, but he didn't play that series. Second series, Giannis got hurt. I believe
missed the game, and they actually won that game.
Yeah, Giannis got hurt.
Yeah, they tend to do that.
They beat the Bucks in the conference finals. They beat the Celtics, but the Celtics they were still young.
That was like Jaylen Brown's first breakout year.
Yeah, it was coming.
Then last year when they made the ECF, you faced the Hawks in the first round.
James Harden.
In the second round, you faced Philadelphia. Harden was not. He was better this year. He was not. Harden was not good last year.
Bro. It's okay,
and Joel Embiid didn't. He was injured going into the series. Like when I look at the opponents they faced, like put Jimmy Butler in the West and put him on those same teams that Harden couldn't get past those opponents. He's not getting past.
Everything goes right back to Harden.
I don't know why we have to compare it to Harden, but I agree. He's not getting past the Warriors. That's how it is.
Because I was thinking about it for real. I'm like, okay, so how come when it comes to Kevin Durant, people love to invalidate his rings and say they don't matter because Golden State was stacked. Yet that's the team that people use to hold against James Harden for not beating. Yet they invalidate Kevin Durant for winning with them, but they criticize Harden for losing against them because they were so great.
Well, it's also, I think that he shot very poorly in that game 7.
Getting fouled.
Yeah,
you're just going to ride with this.
You were pushing that for a minute.
Listen, we got to watch the tape.
Up on the
taking dog shit shots.
There was dog shit shots, but the tape also does show he was getting fouled sometimes.
I think a lot of people get fouled on 3-point shots that he don't call.
Agreed.
Some of them were egregious.
Yeah, but others were he taking dog shit shots. Like Eric Gordon took a step back from 50.
Oh, no.
And it was like, bro, what are you doing?
Harden
Rockets as a whole were horrendous.
Harden didn't play well, no doubt. The team is, like you said, the role players didn't play well. And, I mean, come on, bro. It's Harden and Capella versus...
Yeah, the Warriors.
Curry, Clay, Drake, KD, Iguodala.
Chris Paul got hurt.
It was chopped.
Game 6 and 7.
I think that's why I looked at Jimmy more like Reggie Miller, like a guy who kind of like in the regular season, he's good. Low-end all-star, but then in the playoffs, he kind of gets into that mode, and his team just prevails, and they go really far, and they make deep runs. And that's why I look at him in this the same way. Like he's more like a Reggie Miller for me. But with the Harden shit, bro, you got to give it up.
Why does it have to be compared to Harden? Like, why can't we just talk about Jimmy Butler without talking about Harden? Does Harden get scrutinized?
It's because I think Harden is Harden. He don't know what to do ever since
No. It's because Harden. People put Butler so easy over Harden. I just don't understand why.
You're saying all time right now.
All time.
You've been on Twitter.
What?
I don't think
who all time has Jimmy over Harden.
And you know, for me, what I get annoyed at is that Jimmy Butler in the regular season isn't an MVP candidate. No. So he goes from like a borderline all-star and he raises his game in the playoffs, but it's easier to raise your game in the playoffs when you're going from 21 a game to 26 a game. As opposed to James Harden, who in a regular season goes from 36 to 30 in the playoffs. You know, like James Harden drops off, but his drop off is still 30, 28, 29 a game. It's not like he turns into a scrub. Like he's going from 36 to 30. So that's my pushback. And I feel like Jimmy Butler, like, okay, yes, he's made the finals. He's made 2 finals, and you can use that against other players' resumes and say these players haven't made the finals. But I look at the Eastern Conference runs, and this year was impressive.
For sure.
But other years, I don't look at it as all that impressive. I don't. And one of the years they got swept in the first round.
Just had to throw that in there.
Yeah, they did get swept. Harden never been swept.
I won't hate on Jimmy post Miami, or excuse me, his Miami run. There's just no hating on it.
And also,
I just don't know how you can personally.
And also, like Miami, his time in Miami, I can acknowledge has been nothing short of phenomenal. Mm-hmm. But people tend to have this thing with Jimmy that his career just started in Miami. It didn't just start in Miami. It was, he's had a long career before Miami.
He was always a good player, but he leveled up.
Yeah, he leveled up in Miami, but we cannot just remove what his entire career has been and just judge him off this Miami stint.
But we do live in a world where it's, what have you done for me lately? A lot of people use that for their everyday life and how they evaluate. And what has Jimmy done lately is play basketball at a level that very few do.
Mm-hmm. And you're making 2 finals runs.
Question.
I think that's okay. You're not going to throw out the previous years, but the 2 final runs are going to overtake it.
Can I ask you a question?
Ask me a question.
You were talking about Jimmy's run last year. You don't think it's that impressive. So I went to go look at James Harden's run.
He says that, but also pairs it with he outperformed Jason Tatum in the ECF.
Did you say that? Did you just say that?
He played better than Tatum in DC.
Okay.
Last year.
That's not important to me.
Okay.
I just wanted to look up James Harden's runs to the WCF just to see how comparable were they. So 2015, he played Dallas in the first round. Was that a good team? Do you remember that team?
What year?
They were all right. No.
Yeah. And then he went and played the Clippers with Doc Rivers, who you love to say were injured.
They were that year they were not injured.
So they just choked.
That year they were not injured.
So they
and
choked.
Also, I have it memorized. Can you believe it?
That's good.
Doc
For Harden,
Rivers,
it should
Doc
be, yeah.
Rivers has blown 4 3-2 leads in his career, 3 3-1 leads. The first 3-1 lead was in Orlando versus the Pistons. That
fucking wicked.
That Orlando team was garbage.
No, just T-Mac in life.
T-Mac led them in scoring for the first 4 games. Then after that, Detroit adjusted. That Magic team was legit garbage. It should have never been up 3-1 in the first place. So whatever. The other one was this 3-1 lead versus the Rockets in 2015, and then versus 2020 versus the Nuggets.
Get to this
when they checked out.
Yes. Listen,
after being
I won't exonerate blame from Doc for the last 2 3-1 blown leads. He deserves blame. The 3-2 leads, though, when I went back and I looked at them, I was like, I don't know. They probably should have lost anyway, because in 2009, they were up 3-2 against the Magic. Kevin Garnett didn't play the entire playoffs. He didn't play at all.
Yeah.
Ray Allen was horrible. The Magic win. I thought they were the better team. 2010, they lose in the finals. They were up 3-2 against the Lakers. I thought the Lakers team was a bit of a better team. Kendrick Perkins also was injured. He was somebody that was able to guard Gasol and Bynum, and just another rebounder, which was huge. Most recent 3-2 collapse. I'm trying to remember, but I know the most recent one was this one with the Philly and Boston. But I never thought that Philly was the better team than Boston.
But let's get to 2018. You thought Minnesota was good? A good team? This when Jimmy
when healthy, yeah. But Jimmy Butler was injured that series.
Yeah. So and then what about Utah?
They were a good team. They just beat the OKC Thunder in the first round.
And then that's when they played Golden State.
And Eric Gordon locked up Donovan Mitchell that series. I remember.
Yeah.
That Utah team was not that good.
They were good though.
They were all right.
So the things the runs that he likes to praise Harden for being they're pretty much the same as what Jimmy did last year.
Interesting.
Same teams.
Oh, the other 3-2 blown lead was in 2012 versus the Heat.
That's respectable.
Yeah.
LeBron went on a
that's the 45.
Not Doc's fault.
So I look,
no answer.
The 3-1 leads I look at and I'm like, okay, Doc, yeah, you got to win one. The 3-2 leads though, I'm like, these teams were better.
That's
like,
I think we only talk about the 3-1s.
Nah, this 3-2 though is inexcusable in my opinion. The one that happened this year
versus the Celtics.
I think so.
He tried 11.
Game 7. Game 7's not the conversation. Yeah. Game 6.
That wasn't on
inexcusable.
Players.
James Harden started playing passive.
But I mean, Tatum was about as bad as you can be for 3.5 quarters, and you did not
do with that.
I don't know.
First 3 quarters, he was dog shit. And then the fourth quarter, God woke him up.
But you take advantage when you have.
Then the next game, Embiid needs to have a classic game.
And then the next game, he tried 11 different just nothing.
Game 7, I'm not blaming him. Game 6, you're at home.
And his best players are playing like shit.
Harden was 4 for 16 that game.
He was horrible.
What was Embiid? Yeah, he was Embiid.
Embiid played pretty well. He had 26, but 9 for 19 from the field.
I'm not. That doesn't move me.
You're MVP.
He averaged 33 in the regular season.
Yeah.
I need to get close to.
And Maxey had 26 that game.
That's my guy.
Maxey
was really good this ECF.
Best player in the team.
Probably their most consistent player. Best player
in the team. Undoubtedly in my mind. You
talking about the first WCF run though?
No, I'm talking about the second one now.
The second
against Minnesota. And then
Minnesota was actually the 5th seed before they got hurt.
Yeah, because of Jimmy. And then Jimmy got hurt.
Wiggins, Butler, Cat. That wasn't a bad team in hindsight if they stayed healthy.
We know Cat in hindsight. Mid-team. Utah, it's all right. They're a good team. Is Utah and Philly not the same?
I guess you can say that.
That's a pretty good comp.
But I'm talking about, Golden State is just the juggernaut they had.
100%. When he had an easy run, and then when he got to the juggernaut.
That 2018 Rockets team would run through this Eastern Conference in the last 3 years.
They would run through Boston last year?
They would have run through them, yes.
Run through?
I'll be honest.
I don't know about a run through.
It's not. No,
they would not ran through us. That's nuts.
Nobody's running.
Milwaukee
Boston,
did almost beat them without.
That's not a run. I don't think.
No, but I only say that because I look at that series. Boston was obviously beatable. Look at what happened.
You don't think Giannis would run through the Rockets and PJ Tucker at the 4?
Clint Capella was a great defender at that time.
Facts. No. Giannis would do his thing. He'd probably average
Trevor
30
Ariza, PJ Tucker. What do you mean?
He'd average 30.
What do you mean? Those were great defenders.
Those
defenders were the reason why they always beat the Warriors.
Trevor Ariza is 6'8" and as skinny as me.
Hey, I remember.
But he's still a great defender.
No, he's a great defender. We're talking about a guy guarding Giannis, though.
No,
but PJ Tucker is also brolic as hell.
You know PJ.
That was prime PJ Tucker. What the fuck? We talking about that was PJ at his best. I think
the Rockets go to the finals last year. That 2018 team, I know it would have been a great.
I think this year they would. If you put the 2018 Rockets right now, they go to the finals.
I agree.
In the East.
I agree.
Yeah, I think they could be this Miami team. They could definitely be Boston.
In the bubble, do they not go run through the bubble and make the finals in the East? Yeah.
In the bubble? Damn, yeah. Probably.
I don't know. Probably.
I mean, does Chris Paul get hurt again?
That's why. And then the year that bubble year when they played the Rockets, the Lakers that played the Rockets.
That was Westbrook though.
That's why I decided to retract my statement. But that was an easy 5 games.
It was. They were leaving Westbrook wide
open. Like literally wide open.
Correct. And Chris Paul was very good for the Thunder, and the Rockets beat that team in 7.
It took them 7
very,
games.
very good 7-game series.
This is how Harden was getting double teamed in that bubble. In that bubble playoff series.
That's when the Lakers
he was getting doubled at half court.
Oh, man. That team was so good.
My goodness, bro. That shit shattered. Once I seen y'all double Harden at half court, I was just like, this is illegal. This is unfair. This is ridiculous.
I mean, he really was the only person we had to worry about on that team.
It's actually embarrassing.
It wasn't for Westbrook for sure. That was embarrassing.
For him.
It's crazy too because Russ.
And they traded their center that year too.
Russ was great.
He ran Robert Covington at the 5.
Yeah.
Russ was great in that regular season.
Yeah,
he got very good.
He got hurt and he didn't recover from that injury. Yeah, he didn't recover from the groin injury.
But I still think even if he was healthy,
probably
it would have been over.
That's when I think he realized, my mid-range is my bread and butter. He started to take a lot of mid-range jumpers, was hitting them at a very good clip. Then the season shut down.
I just remember being so frustrated because Westbrook was wide open, missing these gimme threes. And then on the other end, I would just see Rondo hit the same shots.
Yeah, playoff Rondo.
And I'm just like, God damn it, bro.
Respect Rondo.
He'll never get a ring.
We'll see. I mean, his career's not over yet. I still have faith.
This shit over.
Yeah. He's got a ring chase. You said last time. He's got to just go ring chase.
Go ring chase.
Listen,
He'll take 1-year deal.
He deserves it.
I'll take him on LA.
He deserves it because he
can take the minimum in Boston.
That's what gets me so upset about
Golden State.
That's what gets me so upset about the 2021 Nets. Because if that team was able to win, they would have crushed 3 birds with 1 stone. The KD can't win without Curry narrative would have been done. The Harden narrative would have been done. And then the Kyrie can't win without LeBron narrative would have also been done.
No, everyone still would have pushed it.
The only one that would have gotten saved was Harden. Harden was the only one getting saved that year.
because he finally gets one.
Yeah, he finally gets the ring. We're like, all right, you're cool. The other 2, they're not getting saved.
Well, if KD was the best player, he was on demon time.
He was probably going to be the best player, undoubtedly.
He was on demon time.
He always seems to be the best player when it's a stacked team.
KD?
Yeah.
You know, he's the first player ever to average 35 in the finals on 70% true shooting.
I'm surprised.
He
had Richard Jefferson and J.R. Smith guarding him.
LeBron
was guarding him for some possession. What did he do?
LeBron's
he iced the game, baby. That's what he did against the GOAT.
2 years in a row.
It was a tough shot.
2 years in a row, the same shot.
I mean, that team was stupid. So.
No, they were.
What are you going to do?
So before we recap Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
No.
Yeah, no. Just
Game
2
of the NBA Finals. Boom Fantasy picks. Dehls, read us some lines. And my first Boom Fantasy 2-leg parlay hit. Caleb Moran under, and then the over on Jamal Murray point. Both those hit.
Is there any players you guys want to look for here? With Jimmy Butler, who's coming off of terrible games at 25.5 points, I want to see what we do not, Caleb Martin lines are not out yet. I was going to see how much we would have reacted to that because he was terrible. Max Strus, who was 0 for 10, is at 9.5 points. Bam, who just had a great game, was 18.5. Do any of those stick out to you?
What sticks out to me is Bam Adebayo, 3.5 assists. He's sneakily been their top 2 playmaker for them. I think that might be my favorite line, honestly. 3.5 is pretty low.
My line, I think I'm going to go with, I liked Aaron Gordon in Game 1 because of the size matchup.
I like that too.
His line is at 13.5 points. I think he's a difference maker in the series. I'm going to go over on 13.5 points. And MPJ showed that he can rebound the hell out of the ball. His line is at 8 rebounds. That's a bit too high for me.
It is kind of high.
That's a bit too high. So I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going Aaron Gordon over on the points. Jamal Murray's line is at 26.5. They raise his line 1 point. You know what, man? I'm going to go Nikola Jokic, 12.5 rebounds.
Perfect
That's what
line.
I'm going with.
That's another perfect
I'm going
line.
with Jokic rebounds and Gordon points. Those are the two I'm going
Mr.
with.
Dehls, read me Bam lines,
That's my 2-leg
Bam
parlay for
Mr.
Boom
Bam
Fantasy.
Adebayo.
Bam's at 18.5 points.
Yeah.
9.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. That's what Juice
Took 25 shots in Game 1.
and 31.5 PRA.
Needed to. He
played well.
Their best offensive player.
26 points on 25 shots.
He takes all mid-range.
At one
layups.
point, though, he had 20 points in 20 minutes.
Facts.
Respect him. I'm gonna hammer the over on the points, and I'm gonna hammer the over on the assist. Those are my
You
two
like
for
both
that.
of those?
I like
Okay.
that. The rebounds a little strong.
9.5 is.
And he's away from the rim a lot of the time.
is.
So
You said you're hammering Bam Adebayo points and rebounds?
yes,
No,
over.
assists.
No assists, points and assists.
You can, so on Boom Fantasy, you can
can
only
only
pick
do
one
one
of that player's line.
Correct.
So you have to pick between
Thanks,
the
Dehls, for
assists
not
and
saying
points.
anything.
I just, giving the people some picks.
Given you've played it before.
I'm gonna hammer the assist.
Just the
Over.
assists.
I like the assist
So you
more
guys are
than
tag
the points.
teaming the assists here.
It's crazy because I'm going to tag team the rebounds with Joel because I like Jokic's 12.5.
Okay. What will your second be? It'd have to be someone on the Nuggets if you want to
That's
just
cool.
do
Well, read me some MPJ, Mr. Defensive Demon. Read me
really
that.
is
14 and a half
2-8
points is his
staff.
line.
Yeah. 14 and a half point. 15 and a half actually.
15
8
and a half.
rebounds.
He didn't have a lot
24 and
last
half
game. He had
PRA.
like 13,
Nah, he
12.
was like
He was
2 for
great on
7.
the boards, though. He had 12
Yeah.
rebounds.
Is
What's
this
his
the
threes? What's
KCP?
his threes?
Threes aren't out.
Is this the KCP game? He had 8 points last
He had
game.
13
Aaron
rebounds.
Gordon's
game
hit
one.
1 3.
Yes.
You're
Nah.
25 threes.
He'll be at the rim a lot.
No, facts.
What's his points?
Gordon, 13 and a half. 13 and a half points, 6 boards, 0.5 threes, 21
6
and a half
boards?
PRA, 0.5 blocks,
Okay.
0.5 steals.
I'm gonna hammer Aaron Gordon's boards over,
6.
and I'm gonna hammer Bam Adebayo's assist over. I'm gonna go with
Okay.
those two. I'm
So
gonna,
going
Oh,
with
you're
two-
learning.
two-leg
Just
parlay
two.
I'm
vibe.
doing my Moran
calm.
vibe. Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-leg parlay.
Growth.
Calm shit. Yeah.
Growth.
Still going over.
Of
Always.
course.
Never
Never
stops.
stops.
Never stops.
I wonder what these Caleb Martin lines are going to be when we drop them.
Mid.
10 points.
10
I think
points.
it's going to be like 14.
Still
You know
probably
what
maybe 14.
I
was up to
thought
like
was
18
pretty
game
poetic,
one.
actually, that Caleb actually has been amazing for sure. Basically this entire playoff run, and then we did the Would You Rather, and we were not really swayed that much. We said, hey, Caleb's really good, but he's not on the level of these guys. The comment section treated us like we were idiots, like we've never watched basketball a day in our lives.
Really? The top comment was
I agree, yeah.
the top comment was like W for not letting recency
that's the one I
bias
saw
get to
too.
you.
For a majority of the comments, I felt it's like this. I'm
Who were they pissed over, do you remember?
unfollowing, just in general.
Just
They were
no
just
one specific.
Caleb is better than every player that you're mentioning. And again, I said it in the video. I like Caleb Martin a lot. You just can't take him over some of these guys.
Definitely
and then
Austin
it
Reeves.
was kind of of course. And Gilbert Arenas agreed for sure. That was lit. You just cannot make it up about how he started this game. What was it? 0 for 7?
yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And
It's
just like,
horrible.
listen,
I couldn't even watch, bro. I was so
it's
sick.
like we don't prey on downfalls, but like, what are we
Speak
doing
for
here?
yourself.
What are we doing here?
Speak for yourself.
Okay,
If you thought I was hoping Caleb Martin and Max Strus shots were going in, you're lying to
I
yourself.
actually have something to follow up on what you're talking about because it was interesting. I went back and was doing some digging up on some Would You Rathers that we've done in the past. And it's funny what I want to mention, but let's close out this Boom Fantasy segment, and then I'll talk about that.
Okay, so let's recap. What are your two picks?
I'm gonna go with Bam Adebayo over 3.5 assists. I'm also gonna go with Nikola Jokic over 12.5 rebounds.
I'm going with Aaron Gordon over on his points, and I'm going over on Jokic's rebounds.
And I'm going
to have someone from each team.
Oh, I do?
You do.
My goodness.
Since, doing the rules.
I am going, since he fucked up, I'm going Bam Adebayo. I'm hammering the assist over, and I'm taking Aaron Gordon's rebounds over.
Okay. As Joel looks for another line, use code Pick a Side, PAS.
PAS.
Link is in the description. We also have Coin Flip Live going on every single day during the finals. And on finals games, they're giving away $500 instead of $200. All 50 states can play. It's free to sign up. But if you want to help the show out, deposit $10 or more. Contract year, man.
You know what, man? I'm going to... Damn it. You made me have to do this. I didn't want to do this. I really did not. I'm going to go Jimmy Butler over on his points.
Bounce back?
I wanted to go under, but sure.
So why don't you go under then?
Because game one, he had a bad game. It's just the law of averages.
I think he's just trying to jinx himself. So Jimmy Butler goes under, another stinker,
Yeah,
I think don't need jinxing. They need.
I think Jimmy Butler will have more than 25.5 points. At least if he's a playoff superstar, that's what I'm expecting.
I don't think you think he's a playoff superstar, do you?
That's what people think. I guess he's been playing like one this playoff run. So sure, I'll pick him to get that.
Every once in a while.
So use code PAS. Link is in the description down below. Sign up. It helps out the podcast. Now, what I was gonna say to
I'm sorry. I just wanted to. I was looking. My fault to cut you off. Just was looking at these Harden lines against the Golden.
Still searching out for Harden.
No, they just popped up.
That's not something you would do.
One game.
That sounds like something you would do.
One game he went 9 for 28, but he had 35 points off.
Oh, the free throws.
14 free throws.
That was a regular season game.
No, the playoffs.
What playoff game?
This is 2019. Another game he went 14 for 32.
Was it against the Jazz?
No, this is against the Warriors, bro.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of free throws.
How about you look at game 3 and 4
buddy.
of the 2019 second round versus the Warriors?
You guys are hilarious.
This is the second round. This is 2019.
Okay, look at games 3 and 4.
I hope Tatum's legacy never
Game
comes
3,
out.
he went 14 for 32.
How much points did he have?
He had 41.
They won that game.
Yes.
He hit the game-winning dagger 3 that game.
Yeah, he
He
had
led him to victory.
14 for 32.
Still, he won the game. He had 41. How about game 4? What did he have?
My God.
He went 13 for 29.
How much did he have?
38.
Okay. He had 41 and 38. What are we doing? And they won those games.
How many free throws?
In both games.
8 and 8.
Both eight free throws. Interesting.
What about the assists? Tell me the assists those games too. How about that?
He had 4 assists, bro. Relax. Yeah, that wasn't the move.
Game 1, show me what he did game 1.
He had 35 points on 9 for 28 shooting. He took 14 free throws. He made 13 of them.
To your left. So question, Riv. What did he average in that series on with the splits?
Let me see. I got you. So he averaged 35 points a game, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. He shot 44% from the field, 35% from the three-point line, 82% from the free throw line.
I was supposed to criticize that?
No.
I was supposed to criticize 35 a game?
No, I didn't say because I just was looking at his splits. He went 9 for 28.
I understand.
He had 4 turnovers and 6 assists.
9 for 20. You said 9 for 21 in game 1?
No, nobody. No. 9 for 28.
I want you.
That's
This your homework.
14 free throws.
This your homework for next podcast.
I can just look at it.
I want you to look at the game 1 footage.
He got fouled.
And tell me how many times he got fouled.
I'm gonna start using that if Tatum has a stinker.
Oh,
I
can do it with Steph.
They was legit. I remember watching that game with my cousin in his room. We was both watching that game, and this is why we both had similar hatred for Golden State, because the referees were always on their side and calling some BS. And that game was egregious. I mean, the referees came out after game 1 in the 2019 second round, and they basically were like, yeah, we missed like 12 to 14 calls on the Rockets.
That's just insane.
Not great.
Like, they literally came out and said that. So, yeah, Harden was getting fouled left and right. And if you don't remember, I think that was the game that Draymond poked Harden in the eye.
Yeah.
That series, Harden was playing with like
His
one
eye
eye.
was fucked up.
He was playing with like a blind eye, and he averaged 35. So respect him.
This is the series where Steph had 33.5.
Yeah, and what did he average for the series?
That shit's deja vu. Talk about the same exact shit last episode.
Oh, for sure.
He averaged 22, bro.
Yeah.
Riv's not he has blame in this.
He keeps it going.
It's fun now. He averaged 23, I think. 26.
Steph Curry averaged 23 that series.
He didn't play well.
KD was carrying for the first 4 games.
Who finished it?
Curry finished it. I'll give him his props, no doubt. But I'm talking about if they didn't have KD that entire series, the Rockets win that series.
You mean the same KD that didn't play and you lost in the closeout at your home? You were in Houston.
The Warriors are capable of winning one game.
You just said just now.
I have tweets from back then saying I don't feel good with the Rockets. I don't feel good with the Rockets right now.
But you just said just now if they didn't have KD the whole series, that you would have won.
Yes, because the first 2 games KD back. He had
but then
40.
you just said after that you're not comfortable saying that because they're still the Warriors.
They're capable of winning one game. The Warriors are capable of winning one game.
We had to win in Game 5.
You had KD for 3 quarters.
And then he went out. The momentum's dead.
He went out in the fourth quarter.
What if we talk about 2023 basketball?
Oh, we don't want to do that with James Harden.
No, we don't. I'm just saying the finals are on. Game 1 just happened. We're talking about a fucking James Harden topic for the second time in 2 shows.
One day what we're going to do, me and River are going to sit down. We're going to have a green screen behind us. We're going to watch these games.
You want to watch Harden.
And we're going to react.
Okay.
Here we go.
We're going to react.
If we were live right
games.
now, it would be next topic.
He wants me to watch a man grabbing other men's arms to get a foul.
That's a fact.
How about you respect him? He was very built. He was a broad.
That was at that time. That was the Harden grabbing people's era.
He's always in shape. Comes into the season, he's always a little husky.
So what I was going to say is that a common comment we get when we do our Would You Rathers is how we're being recency biased. So I decided to go back on the Would You Rathers we did for some of our most recent ones and see if they were recency biased or if they were the correct take. And we were just able to predict what was going to happen because you can't say we're being recency biased for a take we have before it's popular, then we end up being right on that take. It's because we were able to have the foresight of seeing this player being better. So we did a Would You Rather on Austin Reeves. The top comment is recency bias is crazy. The second comment is Jordan Poole clears Austin Reeves. That got 663 likes. At this point in time, if we have that same Would You Rather, Austin Reeves and Jordan Poole are neck and neck. And if we were to take Jordan Poole, we would be labeled crazy for taking Jordan Poole over Reeves. So that's just our recent Would You Rather.
True.
The third top comment is if you take Reeves over Westbrook, you're a casual.
Oh, my God.
That was the third top comment for Westbrook versus Austin Reeves. This was the Jamal Murray one.
Here we go.
1 week ago, Jamal Murray over Brown is crazy. What do y'all be smoking? After this playoff series that Jaylen Brown just had, you can definitely make the argument that most people would take Jamal Murray now with that foresight. But a week ago, we're crazy for taking Murray. And the second top comment is recency bias is crazy. And this is just from last year. We did a Jalen Brunson Would You Rather. And I'm not going to blame people for not having the foresight on Brunson. But the top comment on that is Tyler Hero over Brunson. The second comment is, that Westbrook hate is actually wild, bro.
People love Westbrook.
We took Westbrook over Jalen Brunson.
It doesn't matter who it is.
No, we took Brunson over Westbrook, and they said the Westbrook hate is wild.
People do hate. People do love Russell Westbrook, and understandably so.
And Kyrie Irving.
He's an amazing person.
He is.
Kyrie Irving has more of a cult-like following.
People think the hate comes from we just analyzing the basketball game. That's
really all we do.
Yeah.
So I was just looking back at those because
once you start getting personal, that's when you become a weirdo.
So I looked at those Would You Rathers because it's just funny how if we had that Jamal Murray Would You Rather now and we took Jaylen Brown over Jamal Murray, there would be pushback for that. But since we had that Would You Rather a week earlier before Brown had his stinkers, now we're crazy. Because we did the Austin Reeves Would You Rather a month before his great playoff run, even though there was a stretch with the Lakers where he was averaging 20 points and about 5-6 assists, now we're crazy. Now we're being recency biased because we were early to the party. Us being early to the party does not mean we're being recency biased. The same way when we did a Nick Claxton Would You Rather and we took him over Rob Will and other centers and we got labeled crazy. If you actually paid attention to Nick Claxton throughout the season, at the time that wasn't a crazy take, just like the Austin Reeves one wasn't, just like the Jamal Murray wasn't. And I feel like the fact that people call this recency bias for having the foresight that these players are going to be better is kind of nuts.
People are going to hate regardless. They're going to have different opinions regardless. We could have the same debate now, and people be like, I'll take Tyler Hero over Jalen Brunson. There'll be some Miami fan out there truly believes that.
That's fucking nuts.
And we have it now, though. If we take Tyler Hero over Jalen Brunson, it's, oh, you're nuts. Yeah. That's crazy.
Rightly so.
Brunson clears.
That man ain't playing a minute.
That Austin Reeves would you rather is some of my proudest work, to be honest with you.
And you know what made me notice that? Because Austin...
Say that one more time? Oh, okay.
Austin Rivers recently, he did a podcast segment about Jordan Poole versus Austin Reeves. And he basically said, Poole is way more talented. But for some reason on social media, that's the headline. But if you look at the clip and you listen to it, he was saying, but Austin Reeves does a lot more things like intangibles-wise. That's why you probably would take him. So he actually was giving Reeves a lot of credit. But, we know Poole is the more talented player. Austin Reeves just probably more of a winning player at this point, I guess. Even that is maybe still a toss-up. But Austin Rivers taking Jordan Poole over Austin Reeves, the comment section on that video was, oh, that's nuts. But that's the reason why we wouldn't take Poole, because he doesn't have those intangibles. Reeves clears. But, we do it in March and stuff. It's
it actually makes sense crazy. That Rivers would take Poole, honestly. Rivers does look like I like talent more than intangibles and stuff like that.
But Rivers back in the day, that was kind of
he was talented.
He was like that.
Saying
he was very shift. Listen, I would have been Rivers fan.
Nah, Rivers was OD.
Bad guy.
It's a shame.
Huge bad guy.
Oh no, for sure.
Bad guy for sure.
NBA Finals Game 1 recap.
Here we go.
Let's get into the first segment of the show. 40 minutes in. So the Nuggets beat the Heat 104-93. I don't know about you guys, but I thought the score felt much more lopsided than this.
For sure.
In the fourth quarter, Miami made a run that made it somewhat close, but Denver kept on answering the call. And I think that's the difference between
Kyle Lowry started to tweak for a second.
Denver and the teams that Miami has faced this playoff run. Because when they made fourth quarter comebacks against the Knicks, we folded. We didn't know how to react. Versus the Celtics. Celtics one of the worst fourth quarter teams in the league. They didn't know how to react. Denver is one of those teams that even if you're scoring and you have a multitude of buckets down the stretch, they don't get rattled. They know how to react. They stay within their system. And I know Miami fans out there will say, we shot poorly, 33% from three. Strus and Caleb Martin didn't play well.
Terrible.
To counter that, Denver didn't shoot well. They shot 29% from three. And I don't think there's an adjustment they can make that Denver has, like this size advantage Denver has. There's not an adjustment for that.
Nope.
They're going to try to put Kevin Love into the starting lineup or Cody Zeller. They're going to try to go bigger. And it doesn't matter who you put in there because Jokic is going to torch either one of those guys. And their guards, they're just too small for Aaron Gordon and MPJ. I feel very comfortable about Denver in this series still. Game 2, I think they should win. They're undefeated at home in these playoffs. But I understand the optimism Miami has. We shoot better. Jimmy plays like Jimmy Butler, which he hasn't played at that level
in a while.
Since round one,
Yes.
The carrying level. If he's not carrying like that round one series, I don't see how Miami wins this, to be honest.
Yeah, game 1, I don't think, at least I wasn't expecting. It felt very similar to when the Lakers went to Denver game 1. I was like, I don't see the Lakers being able to, after a pretty tough series against the Warriors, having to go to Denver game 1. Obviously, Denver has all the rest this round, and Miami coming off a 7-game grueling series, even though game 7 was late for them, still having to travel to Denver. So this game 1 always felt like it was in Denver's hands. But I agree with you. It was a 9-point game, 11, whatever they ended up winning by.
I think 11.
But Denver felt like dominated the game. The Heat made their fourth quarter run like they do if they're down any game. And Denver, when we talked about it last week or the previous episode, I just know Denver is not going to fold. The Celtics very well could have lost that game if they were in Denver's spot. They're not a team that's able to, take those punches. Denver can. But Jokic was dominant, triple-double. Jamal Murray was great. Aaron Gordon, especially that first quarter, really set the tone offensively, was able to, really be able to trap Gabe Vincent, especially on transition plays and get easy looks at the rim. He had 16 points. And you look at the Heat, you mentioned it, like Jimmy Butler was gross. He had 13 points, inefficient, like 4 for 17, something like that. So I think Jimmy Butler, he had ended up planning an escape room event Very similar to Al Horford playing the Topgolf event, maybe try to get their mind off things, because even though it was a 9 or 11 point game, this felt like a game that Denver was up 20 basically the entire way. Caleb Martin and Max Strus, we mentioned it. It was really just Bam and Gabe Vincent who showed up offensively, and Bam, we talked about earlier, was not that efficient at 28 shots, but with Jimmy Butler struggling so much, he kind of had to take over offensively and be the aggressive one. And like I said, I think some of this was expected, having to go after a 7-game series and go into Denver. But if you're Miami, most people are looking at the 2 free throws, right? Like, oh, Denver shot 20 free throws. Miami shot 2. Like, how, this is going to get figured out and it'll come back down to earth. But I think what's more likely is, sure, you'll get some more free throws, but as you mentioned, I think that Denver will be hitting more than 30% of their threes and more than 8 3-pointers. I think they'll not have 10 turnovers, even though Miami does a good job taking care of the ball. The fact that Denver had more turnovers and still dominated this game. So I think offensively, Denver still has a higher ceiling to reach with this poor shooting than Miami does. I do think Miami might throw a bit more zone at them. I think they had like 10 possessions with Jokic on the floor of zone, and they only let up 6 points, I want to say, something like that. So it's possible they throw more zone at Denver, but I don't see really anything Miami's going to be able to do to win this series. They might get a game or two, especially when it goes back to Miami. You have that adrenaline. You're home in front of your fans. Maybe Butler has that 40-point game. But after game 1, I feel very confident with Denver.
And Denver against the zone and man-to-man, their points per possession were like above 1.10.
Yeah.
So their offense was still uber efficient, and that's not with shooting the 3-ball well. Like that's important, because I think they'll shoot the ball well.
And even when Jokic went out in that fourth quarter, that's when Miami won that little run. Jokic comes in, calms everything down, back-to-back layups, and now it went from like a 9-point to like a 13 or 14-point game. And it's like, okay, it's over again.
Good, River Brown. Talk to me about your Miami Heat.
Some good news just happened. Elon Musk said that verified Twitter Blue users are able to upload 2-hour videos now.
No, I saw that.
Yeah.
People say, fuck it. Here's Game 6 of the 2019 Finals.
We could probably post the full episodes on there.
Oh, shit.
We don't ever have 2-hour videos.
We can maybe split it into parts. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3.
You guys said a lot of good things. I think I'm kind of in the medium with it. I think what Dehls said is a good thing. I think coming off a 7-game series, having to go travel to Denver, being on the road, that's not something easy to do. We pretty comfortably thought Denver. I think Denver has won every game.
No.
Oh, that's home.
Yeah, every game won.
Yeah,
so it didn't look too well. Joel said some good things, too. I think Miami got a lot of good looks, couldn't knock it down. Denver also got a lot of good looks, couldn't knock them down. Them not being efficient from the 3-point line is something that you don't expect. You expect them to keep shooting it. I think with Spo, it's going to be hard to adjust because he doesn't it's not even like a Mike Malone. I think the Joker is just so smart. He has an adjustment for every adjustment that Spo makes. Like, you can see the in-game adjustments. He's pointing people to the right direction. Like, he just has an adjustment for everything Spo has, and I think that's a big, big issue. I would have liked to see more Kevin Love minutes. You got to try everything at this point. Game 2 is more of the adjustment game, so we'll see how Spo looks. But if you're Denver, you got to like your shot right now. You got to like your chances right now. I mean, you just basically, like Dehls said, it felt like a blowout all game. It didn't feel like a close game. No matter how many times Miami went on a run, it felt like, this was a slugfest. I mean, this was a snooze fest. Denver's going to win this game. Spo keeps trying to adjust. They make a little run. Denver has the answer. So game 1 didn't really feel like that. If you're Denver, you're feeling like we can shoot the ball a little bit higher. We can beat these guys by 30. They played well. They was efficient. Aaron Gordon got it going early. He was exploiting the mismatches with Gabe Vincent. And that's what you like to see for Denver. With Miami, there is optimism because, like you said, Jimmy could very well carry them to a W. They could shoot the ball at a high rate. They were making 58% of their open threes prior to the series, so they could very well hit the 3-ball high. Jimmy Butler could carry them to a win or two, but right now it's looking like Spo has a lot of work to do. But props to Denver because they came out and they answered every single call that Miami threw at them.
So you guys keep mentioning it. MPJ 2 for 11 from 3. Jamal Murray 2 for 7 from 3. Both of these teams were 2 of the best, I think, statistically in this postseason. They were the number 1 and number 2 best 3-point shooting teams in this playoffs. For them to both come out cold in this game 1 was pretty funny. But I felt very confident prior to game 1 that this was going to be a lopsided win for the Denver Nuggets. And watching the game back, it was pretty interesting how through the first 2 quarters, it was a respectable game, but then it was something about that last 5 minutes of that second quarter. Denver has that switch that they can just turn it on. Suddenly, they're just the number one offense that we've seen, or the number two offense that we've seen in the regular season, but they've carried over into the playoffs and continue to be dominant offensively. They're just able to knock down shots, able to get into the paint, the way that Jokic is able to facilitate, the fact that Jokic went in the first quarter, I think he had 6 or 7 assists before he even put up his first shot attempt. It is just so unique and such a great offense to see. Now, I want to talk to Miami Heat fans because as a Laker fan, I had this same optimism after game one. I'm like, hey, we didn't even play half the basketball that I know that we can. We made some adjustments. We looked really, really good. I feel very confident to game two. I want to talk to Miami Heat fans. Be mindful of that. Be mindful of that because I understand that optimism. Malone is not one that is going to be easily outmaneuvered. I understand Spo is the better coach for sure. We don't think twice about that. However, Malone knows how to adjust. And as someone who's talking from experience, I thought the Lakers were going to be able to come away with the W. Again, game two, that was ours to win. In that fourth quarter, how you were alluding to, the Nuggets are different from any other fourth quarter team. They know how to lock in. That's when they play their best brand of basketball. That really wasn't necessarily the case in game one as they kind of struggled a little bit. They were kind of playing with their food mostly because they felt like the game was pretty comfortable. The Heat were able to go on a little bit of a run. Kyle Lowry started hitting some jumpers too. That was huge for them. Brought it to within 10, but that was as close as they could get. But I think with the way that the Nuggets just simply are the bigger team, size-wise, the one thing I would say is something that I'm sure Nuggets fans have been begging for MPJ to do basically his entire career, get to the basket a little bit more. You're 6'10", you understand you have that size advantage. That's not really his game. You're 2 for 11 from 3, trying to do something different, get to the rack. You see Aaron Gordon, how you mentioned that he's an X factor because of his size. I agree with that. He's going to continue to assert his dominance down low, the way that Jokic is able to facilitate, take Bam Adebayo out of the paint. That is just going to be nothing but food for those guys down low. I want to see a little bit more movement from MPJ. One positive for the Miami Heat, their ball movement was relatively good. It's just they weren't making shots. I think that game two, we will start to see them make a little bit more, definitely add better clip. I'm expecting Jimmy Butler to play better than he did in game one. But what it comes down to is the Nuggets are the bigger team. The Nuggets, in my opinion, are the better offensive team. I won't say per se that they're better defensive team, but Miami can't continue to shoot themselves in the foot and not be effective. Mm-hmm. You can't have a Bam Adebayo masterclass and not paired with Jimmy. The two should never coexist. If Bam Adebayo is playing good, I'm just going to assume that Jimmy is. And if that's not the case, you have no chance.
You also have to match Bam's minutes at all costs.
That's a
with
fact.
The Joker.
You're
like,
100%.
It doesn't matter how, bro. I saw Cody Zeller out there with Joker.
Oh, those
shit
eight
got
minutes.
bad, dog.
In 8 minutes, I saw Channing Frye say, hey, that's the answer. You want Cody Zeller on him. You mentioned Kevin Love, and I understand that. You want size on the court. There's no stopping Jokic.
That's more for Aaron Gordon.
You want to know what is a beautiful, really, it's going to highlight this series. So Jokic really has been able to, for lack of a better term, bitch any big that he goes against. He posts him up, gets down low.
Includes AD.
Bam, oh, for sure. That's really what I'm thinking of when I say that statement. Bam has a great job of having a great center of gravity, puts his chest up, is not really easily able to be back down. So what does Jokic do? Hits him with a fake, spins to the other side, lets a shot go in the mid-range fade, cash. It is just impossible to defend that man. And when he's able to facilitate in that middle area, it's impossible. Because Bam is obviously their best defender. He can guard 1 through 5. He is one of the best defenders in this game. But if you take him away from the paint, the Miami have no answer for the Denver Nuggets.
The margin of error just feels so heightened for the Heat, right?
Absolutely.
Like the Nuggets, you could have Jamal Murray shooting poorly from 3, MPJ, Jokic that first half. I mean, we've seen this throughout the playoffs, but like taking like 5 shots in a half, 3 shots in a quarter, and still being able to dominate in other ways. They can have stars or role players not play well and still be dominating the game. For Miami, doesn't feel the case if they're not hitting those open shots. And of course, it's a make or miss league, and there's more than that. Definitely. But if they're not hitting those shots, and Jimmy Butler has not come to play, this is going to be the outcome. Denver could work around things. Miami doesn't have that ability to.
I'm thinking Miami's going to attack the basket more in game 2.
Should.
I also don't think that Denver's going to allow as many wide open 3-point shots as they did in game 1. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was borderline laughable how many wide open shots that led up to Miami.
Max Strus, I think, had 10 wide open jumpers.
I was going to say the fact that Strus and Martin combined 1 for 17. That's just something that we haven't seen from Miami in these playoffs. For it to happen game 1 is kind of messed up.
You and it's, I hate to say this because they're good players, but they were doing so much higher than what their role actually is. And then
you see expected.
Yeah, and then became that now it's expected. You have to play great. You have to play great. You have to play great every game. And now it's like they have a bad performance. It's like, well, damn. Like
it's like how
do
can
we know
you
about
play?
Hero? Is there any chance he comes
Game
back?
Two, he could come back.
I saw that.
I think he's
report.
coming back 3 though. I think he'll be back for game 3.
Okay.
I do worry if they're rushing him back.
Bro, it's the finals.
I get it, but
they need help.
I don't disagree.
And what it was? Mommy, what he heard? It was his
broken
hand.
hand.
Yeah.
He was dribbling prior to that game 7 with you guys. He was dribbling, going through workouts and stuff like that. So
at least that's probably a better injury come back from than like a ligament injury.
But
that's the risk, though. I mean, you're coming back with a broken hand. Who knows how you're going to play in terms of your jump shot if it's consistent. And a common knock on Tyler Hero has been since the bubble, he has not been good in the playoffs.
He was horrible.
So the
last
fact
year.
that we're talking about him being the savior,
that's true.
I think it's just false hope for Miami.
Just firepower.
Miami fans love Hero. Like they adore.
they do.
Again, I don't think the Miami Heat are just going to necessarily roll over and then lose this series in 4.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think that's the case. Again, I said this in my preview. I still firmly believe this. I do think it'll end in 5 games, but it'll be a very competitive 5 games. The Miami Heat, even in game 1, where you're right, the score was not as generous as the game felt. The score was more generous than what the game felt. Felt like the Nuggets had control of it. But even still, the Heat had some really good moments. They started the game off very well. They kind of got lost in that second and third quarter.
Yeah.
I think that we'll see a better performance from the Miami Heat, but still, I just think the Nuggets are just too good right now.
They were. It was a lot of miscommunication. They were missing plays.
Facts.
They were not switching on defense. Like it was a lot of shit like that. Like yeah, Denver played well, but like on Miami's end, like defensively they weren't locked in. They weren't communicating. It was very odd of them to not be as locked in as they usually, especially for a game 1. Spo's been to the finals 4 or 5 times, so you would expect that he would have his guys ready. But yeah, I agree with you. I think they'll be a little bit more prepared for game 2. I don't know if they'll win, but they'll definitely be way more prepared for it.
Jimmy Butler was asked about Jokic's defense and said that it was elite.
I saw you mention that on Twitter.
Respect the Joker.
See, but I feel like
Jimmy's an elite defender too.
No, for sure.
He knows what's going on.
Similarly, you mentioned it, and I think you worded it very well. He's not this shot blocker. No, he's just always in the right spots. I feel like someone that comes to mind is Sabonis. He's not a great shot blocker, but he just happens to be in the right spots. I feel like in this situation where Jokic is just superior in every aspect, it's the same thing. Jokic is just better at it than Sabonis is because Jokic is a better player. But that's what came to mind.
Great rebounder.
For what I think Jokic is, I think maybe I'm not going to go as far to say he's an elite defender because I don't believe he's an elite defender. I think that Jimmy Butler's giving credit to other things that probably they lean offense, like outlet passing. They come after rebounds, but that's still offensive basketball, and he's elite at that. Jokic is an elite rebounder. That's a part of defense. Jokic is one of the best centers at deflecting and stealing passes. That's a part of defense. His hands are always active defensively. His positioning is great as well. I feel like too many times we're knocking big men for not defending in space, and that's a big knock on Jokic when no centers can outside of a couple in the NBA. And Jokic,
Claxton.
Jokic by every metric has been a great defender this season. And Denver's on and off numbers the last 4 years, offensively and defensively, they're all way better when Jokic is on the court. I just feel like when people watch Jokic, they look at him and they see somebody blow by the initial defender and have a layup on Jokic at the rim. Now you're a bad defender. You know, I remember earlier in the year where they had a highlight tape of Jokic getting scored on at the basket.
I think what was it? Jakob Poeltl was cooking him one game. He was giving him the business.
And it's funny because I even made this take at the time, and I got a lot of backlash for the take. And I still remember it because there was a lot of Philadelphia fans giving me the backlash. But in the later and to end the season, I think the season has 4 quarters. Let's say the 4th quarter of the season, we're talking about March. I think Jokic checked out. I think that the Nuggets were just waiting for the playoffs, and Jokic didn't want to win MVP. It felt like when I watched him, he was actively trying to not win the award. And that take got a lot of backlash, and they're like, oh, this is sympathy for Jokic. Oh, Joel Embiid clears him, whatever. But a lot of those montages came during that time. Because since December, Denver has been a top 5 defense in the NBA, and Jokic was a great defender all season. And I've made this comparison before, and I think I made it last year, but Jokic to me reminds me a lot of Marc Gasol defensively. And I think I made that comparison. You know, I don't think he's the level of defender Marc Gasol was, but he's also not a slouch, and he can hold his own. And I think that people are realizing this now, like, he is not blocking shots, but he's contesting shots well.
For sure.
He's playing the level of the screen well. And ultimately, basketball is a team game. So in order for your center not to get abused in the playoffs, you have to have good initial defenders and point of attack defenders.
Course, yeah.
Even Rudy Gobert, who's a multiple-time DPOY, in the playoffs looked like a garbage defender because the defenders in front of him, the perimeter defenders, were garbage. So, of course, when you judge Jokic off of playoff series where Facundo Campazzo was navigating screens, he's going to look horrible. But now you see when those initial defenders are MPJ, Gordon, and KCP, now he looks much better. And I feel like people judge them way too harshly for the defensive side of the basketball. And the only argument ever used for Embiid over Jokic was defense, when their defense is actually it's the same.
I wouldn't call it the same.
Embiid's a better rim protector.
That's it. But I think Jokic is probably more agile in terms of moving horizontally.
I just think the Joker got better at defense.
For sure.
Because even like you mentioned that series, Aaron Gordon played in that series. MPJ also played in that series. I think when as your best player, you got to get better. I think when Joker got better, Aaron Gordon got better as a defender, MPJ got better as a defender. It just makes everybody looks. The Campazzo shit was nuts.
No,
like,
Aaron
they
Gordon
had nothing else to do.
It was Monte Morris and Campazzo.
Yeah, like it's they're little guards. They're gonna get attacked, and of course you're in a pick and roll with Steph Curry. Nobody really looks good in that. So like, at that point you just chalk it up. But they all just got better collectively as a group, and they're locked in, and they play together for a good amount of time. So
even the advanced stats this season pointed to Jokic being a better defender than Embiid. But that's the eye test versus the analytics conversation. I think that analytics often enforces what we're seeing as well, but for some reason with Jokic, it was,
I think Embiid
always used against him.
I think Embiid is a better defender when he's locked in. But I don't think Embiid's always locked in on defense at times. That's why I think the metrics lean. I think the Joker is more locked in on it than him. But I think Embiid sometimes he checks out defensively. He gets lazy. He gets sloppy. Sometimes he just doesn't want to play. Like we've seen that a lot where he just isn't checked. Like, he isn't locked in. No, yeah. When he's locked in, he's an elite defender.
I'd hope he'd be locked in.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people don't get locked in.
That's a fact.
Some guys, players at this table aren't locked in all the time. In the playoffs.
There's been a start bench cut that's been going around that involves Nikola Jokic. And
are you going to mention the
Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, and Jokic?
You got to cut Jokic.
Yeah.
No, there's no other answer. I'm assuming he might go a different way, though. So
for right now, you got to cut Jokic.
Yeah.
What do you mean for right now?
That Jokic can get to a crazy level.
I think he can get to Hakeem. Can he not?
So he can be a top 10 player?
That's what I was just going to say.
It depends.
If he gets
the two chips, it does depend.
The two MVPs have boosted him.
Let me ask you a question.
He could be.
Are we talking about all time or as a basketball player? Because as a basketball player, I don't think he can ever get to Hakeem because he will never be as great as Hakeem was defensively.
No,
he won't.
Yeah, so I'm saying you talk about all time, like
talking about all time.
Okay,
I think he can get to Hakeem eventually, though.
Top 10 ever?
Because Hakeem has 2 championships.
They hold weight.
Hakeem's a 2-time MVP.
In the Jordan era,
Hakeem is a DPOY too. So I understand Hakeem has him beat in the defensive accolades. And even, he has one more championship. We don't know if Jokic is going to win this. I'm just expecting he will. But I don't think this is like the final year for Denver. I think they can build off this 100%. Still.
I just talk about all time.
I don't think he'll ever pass Tim Duncan.
No, that one's hard.
I think Hakeem is the only one he can get to.
Yeah, I think it's tough because Hakeem won. He didn't just win MVP. Like he won MVP, DPOY, a ring, and Finals MVP in the same year. Like that, not many people have done that. And then he went back to back. So it's like.
Well, Jokic has 2 MVPs. Sorry.
Yeah.
So if you just compare their accolades, Jokic has 2 MVPs to Hakeem's 1. Jokic has 3 All-NBA first teams to Hakeem's 6. All-NBA teams, Hakeem has 7 more. And yeah, he hasn't beaten all the other defensive team stats. He was a blocks leader, rebounds leader.
Hakeem's one of the best defenders of all time.
I understand. And I'm not saying I'm taking Jokic.
No, I get what you mean.
But I'm saying
that's why I asked you.
Jokic can get to Hakeem. I believe that can happen one day.
The resumes couldn't be comparable one day for sure.
Especially if Jokic wins this championship, the voter for T doesn't exist anymore. If he has another season where he averages a triple-double and the Nuggets are the first seed, he can win another MVP.
Yep.
So I think that this season, Embiid deserved it. And I'm not saying he didn't deserve it because he did, and I'm happy that he won the MVP. But I think people are going to look back on this season and say, it probably should have given it to Jokic.
For sure.
But it's just the lack of playoff success and the narrative late for Jokic. It just everything went against him, and it kind of was given to Embiid in that aspect.
Nikola Jokic is different. He's different, but there's no way that you can't entertain it yet. One day we'll be able to sit here and have a strong conversation, but right now you can't entertain it. Tim Duncan right now, for sure.
They could have paid. There's outside like you
could pick Charles Barkley, threw him in there, some shit like that.
I think Will is higher than Hakeem.
No, I'm saying outside like Will, like these guys are the best ever. You know,
I stumbled across a TikTok the other day we were having a Jokic versus Wilt debate, and you took Jokic. I
said the Joker was a better offensive player than Wilt.
For sure he is.
I think Hakeem is also a better offensive player than Wilt. I really just cannot get with the...
You got to stop.
No,
you got to stop.
Listen. Respect to Wilt. I respect the Pioneers, and I put them in a separate list.
Remember, bro, they changed the rules because of him.
And I put them in a separate list from the players that started in like the 70s and 80s. It was just a different NBA that you cannot compare to this NBA. You just can't. Like, there was 8 teams.
He could dunk from the free throw line.
They was blocking shit at the rim. Like, they didn't have threes. Like, it was just too many rules. It was too many rules. Bro, the next big was like 6'8", bro. Like, it was too many rules. So, I don't compare. I take Wilt and Bill off my list. I don't even put, like, they're just pioneers of the game. Jerry West, I don't do that shit.
So, if Jokic wins this NBA championship, he's obviously going to move up into exclusive company.
Sure.
It's crazy, man, like, how much a championship's going to boost him up, considering he has 2 MVPs already, because not many players have 2 MVPs in the first place.
And just the way that you can have this conversation is look at the conversation that we had when Giannis won his first championship. It was, is he the second best power forward of all time already? Is he on the trajectory of being better than Tim Duncan? So just imagine at this point in his time, in his career,
there.
Yeah.
No, people don't understand how far Tim is.
He is he's so beyond anyone else. Yeah. But when talking about Nikola Jokic, you mentioned it already when we had our little discussion on the start bench cut. 2 MVPs. He is, right now, he has potential or is on his way to securing a finals and a finals MVP. Has the Magic Johnson MVP award. We can't forget that.
Can never forget the first guy.
That's in legacies. Hey, Steph Curry. See, that's right. You're welcome.
You're
welcome. Hey, there you go.
There you go. We here.
So just to be able to accomplish this young, 28 years old, correct? And the fact that this team has youth on its side, so long as it stays healthy, because that's been a huge question, the Nuggets can be a team to be dangerous for a long time. And Nikola Jokic at the head of the table, it could get very, very interesting, the conversation that we'll have in Nikola Jokic all time.
So, like, all right, so I've been on Twitter, dibbling and dabbling. You guys know Hoop Venue on Twitter? Yeah, so me and him had a conversation 3 weeks ago about it. It was like, it was a picture of Embiid, Dwight, and the Joker. And he was like, the Joker and Embiid are levels above Dwight. And I was like,
levels.
I was like, Dwight and Embiid, I think, are a conversation. I think you're overvaluing offense in certain aspects. And I bring that up because we talk about the Joker. He possibly could win a ring, finals MVP. Kareem is like Tim Duncan. They are above and beyond in their position. So you're not going to catch Kareem. You're not going to catch Tim Duncan. But other guys like Shaq, like Hakeem, like maybe he passes David Robinson.
Can he pass Shaq?
No, I'm just saying guys that are
obtainable,
but very, very, very far.
But do you think Shaq's obtainable?
He is, but it's like a 10% chance. Like it's really, really low.
Okay,
but like Kareem is like 0.
I can entertain that. I can have this conversation.
Shaq and Kareem are very similar.
That's why I say that.
I think Kareem is ahead of Shaq.
He is, but I view the two of them together.
Okay,
I feel
Hakeem.
Yeah, I'm saying Hakeem and Shaq are similar. Like I think it's a low chance, but I think he can get there. And I brought it up because centers now and centers back in the day are completely different. So it's really about just what you value more. Do you value a two-way center? Because most centers in the 90s, in the 80s, Mark Eaton, Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm blanking on a few. Oh, Moses Malone. Like they are two-way centers. Like they were great on the defensive end. They were great scorers, but they weren't playmakers. That was the point guard's job. So what do you value more? A uber elite, different dynamic offensive center who's a good defender but not an elite defender that can't man down the defense, or a post up back to the basket big man who can just anchor a defense. And that's really like the conversation. That's why me and him was having that conversation, because it was like Dwight, I would take over Embiid because I feel like he went to the finals and that you can build around him better because he will anchor the defense and he's not a slouch.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And you can put shooters around him. He had a good post up. It wasn't no 28 a game or 33 a game.
Dwight's name gets disrespected more than it
especially
should.
in the last month
I think
or so,
Will Chamberlain, the reason why I disrespect him is
Oh,
because he played in an inflated era where the pace was so high that there were so many offensive possessions, and that's why he averaged so many points and rebounds per game. But
Was anyone even close to 55 in the league?
They have done stats like that evened out the paces for eras. And if you take into account what he did in that era and you like basically put context into it, in this era, that's basically like 20 and 15, you know what I'm saying?
55?
20 points.
Wait, isn't this era inflated too, though?
Well, 27 and like 15, you know? Like,
this era was inflated also.
Like, if you take into account the pace and the possessions and all that stuff, like, Thinking Basketball made a video about it, about how Wilt's
Big goat.
Stats were inflated. And also, because we didn't see Wilt, we don't understand what happened at that time. He was a 4-time MVP. He only won one NBA championship.
Okay, let's not do that because the Boston Celtics were OD.
And every single time he faced Boston, Bill Russell outplayed him severely. And Bill Russell, you look at the counting stats, you might say Wilt Chamberlain's over Bill Russell. Whenever they matched up, Bill Russell was better. Correct. And it wasn't because he was averaging more points. It was because he rebounded better, he defended better, he passed better. Wilt Chamberlain was a horrible teammate by all accounts. Like, if you look back on those archives of how they talked about him in the media, he was known as a jock, as a ball hog, as a bad teammate. And that's why he only had one NBA championship, because in all those seasons, he just never was a good teammate. He just always was hunting for his shots, and that was a common criticism that he had in that era.
Is it one or two?
He has one championship.
So he won it in his last year?
I think because Jerry got one, right?
Jerry has one, yeah.
Because I remember...
Will has two. I'm sorry.
Okay, I thought so.
He has one Finals MVP.
I thought so because I remember. I think he broke his hand, but still was able to play. I think they ended up winning. That was his last year, and then that was it.
It was definitely in his later years when he got to LA. Because
you guys last won your championship in '73, correct?
Because he won one with Philadelphia and he won one with the Lakers
in '72.
Yeah, and when he won with the Lakers, he averaged 15 points and 21 rebounds, so he was
very calm.
A lot, yeah. But
is Jokic over Giannis if he wins a ring? I think that because the all-time players are so hard for me. Jokic is 28, like he might win 2 more rings. This Nuggets core is locked up. Everyone except Bruce Brown, I think, for next season. So they're gonna be right back here. He's gonna be in contention for MVP. We know that. So it's hard for me to like say what does Jokic's next 7 years look like. But I think for the current players outside of Bron and Curry, it's like what player is kind of in KD facts is like in that stratosphere that Jokic. Giannis is like you mentioned because he had just won the ring. He had the MVP. So I think that's probably the tier he's in.
He'd catch KD.
I think he could catch KD too. Yeah,
and also
another chip.
This is important to note. And this I read this from Reddit.
I think he's past Kawhi with the championship in my opinion. Because he has the 2 MVPs.
That's not,
I don't think that's crazy. I think that's true. Valid. I mean, I have Jokic's top 20 all time if he wins the championship for me.
Yeah.
Top 20.
I'd put him over Dirk Nowitzki. I think he's over Dirk if he wins his championship.
You put him over KG?
There's definitely an argument to be over KG for sure.
I don't think there's an argument.
There's defensive teams for KG for sure, but you have the 2 MVPs that Jokic has. And KG winning an NBA Finals.
He has a DPOY and an MVP.
And winning a championship as the man when you didn't have to go and build a super team, that matters. Not to mention, Paul Pierce was the Finals MVP.
KG got robbed, but I get it. I get it.
So this is a Reddit post from...
Is Giannis top 20?
Yeah.
I would, yeah.
I think
Giannis can be there. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of it. I would have both of them top 25 for sure.
Agreed.
I did a top 10 centers list that I could share in a bit.
Okay.
But this is... I'm going to disrespect Wilt Chamberlain a lot.
Why, though?
Because you're going to hear what I'm going to say.
I just don't understand.
My top centers of all time. These are my top centers of all time. If Jokic wins a championship, number 1's Kareem.
Agreed.
Number 2's Bill Russell.
Okay.
Number 3's Hakeem. Number 4 is Shaq. Number 5, I have Moses Malone.
Okay.
He was also 2-time MVP, multiple NBA champion. Number 6 is where I'd slot Nikola Jokic. I have Wilt Chamberlain at 7, and it's the reason why. In his era, he scored 30 points per game in the regular season. In the postseason, he dropped down to 22 points per game. He had a near 8-point per game drop-off from the regular season to the postseason. And if you account for pace and how they played back then and you contextualize it, which you can do by measuring their per 100 possession numbers, in this era, he would average 26 points per game when you contextualize the numbers. And in the playoffs, it would be 19 points per game when you contextualize it and you measure all the pace statistics and all that. So Wilt Chamberlain in that era with the multitude of possessions, you had so many more possessions than now. He averaged 50 and 25. But in this era, when you contextualize it, he's at 26 a game in the regular season and 19 in the postseason. So that's why I have Wilt so down. And also, he only won 2 NBA championships, and one of them came in the later years with the Lakers when he only averaged 15 points. And he wasn't one of the top players at the time.
I am pretty sure he broke his hand in that series too.
And number 8, I have David Robinson. Number 9 is Patrick Ewing, and number 10 I have Bob McAdoo. But I think Jokic is number 6. He's right behind Moses Malone.
Bill Walton doesn't make your top 10?
He had too short of a prime or career. All right. If he had a longer career, then I'd put him over one of these guys. His definitely peak for peak. He's over Patrick Ewing, I think, and probably David Robinson, because the knock on Robinson is that he wasn't able to win until Tim Duncan got drafted.
He also came in the league late.
He was labeled as a playoff choker, and that's something that Wilt Chamberlain also at the time was labeled as a playoff choker when he got to the postseason.
Is Joel Embiid, Dwight Howard over any of those guys 8 through 10?
No, not Joel Embiid. No, I think Dwight Howard is over Joel Embiid for me all time.
Yep. Okay.
And Dwight Howard maybe could make this list, but I wouldn't, like, when we're talking about just accolades. I wouldn't put him over anybody.
Okay.
I think
that was for conversation purposes. Okay.
No, I wouldn't put him over anybody.
Dwight, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, second in MVP voting, did make a finals. Unfortunately, did get smoked. Let me not say unfortunately, it was to the Lakers. Can't be upset. But that was before my time. Before my time as a Laker fan.
Oh, yeah. I was like...
That's when I got my heart broken. When we lost to the Magic.
Dwight could be over Patrick Ewing.
He could be.
I wouldn't be opposed
Patrick
to
Ewing's
it.
the one that, and I mean this with respect, of course. This is a Knick legend. Probably
Patrick
the best.
Ewing was great.
Yeah, he was amazing at basketball. It's just... Dwight was great, and Embiid is pretty great. It's just his postseason play. I think that's why you can have Ewing. I'm fine with that. But Dwight comes into the conversation.
And also, what's important to note is that if you look at Ewing and Howard, the All-NBA teams will favor Dwight Howard. It's important to note that they did it by positions, and Patrick Ewing in that era was going up against David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Shaq to get an All-NBA nod. When Dwight Howard was at his prime, the center position was
like
at its weakest ever.
What, Joakim Noah, was Marcus Gasol at that?
Roy Hibbert.
You missing names.
No.
Kareem was still in the league. With
DeAndre
Patrick
Jordan.
Ewing. Moses was still around. You had Eaton was there. Dikembe Mutombo was there. Just naming bigs.
I'm just saying it was hard to make an All-NBA team as a center.
Yeah.
That was the golden era of centers. And when Dwight Howard played, it was the weakest it's ever been.
Oh, can you not say the same about the Joker though? Outside of Embiid, who's really at the center position? All-NBA elite.
AD.
Facts.
He plays power forward sometimes.
Now,
This
this
year
year
he
he
played
was
five.
center.
Finally.
But facts.
That's
before,
fair to say.
yeah.
That's fair to
It
say
is,
for
yeah.
sure.
But
But the
AD's the only
difference,
one.
the difference with that is I think that Jokic probably goes to different eras and becomes one of those top 3 guys.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so.
Where Dwight would probably be outside that. Dwight is probably that era's like Dikembe Mutombo.
No.
He's a bit
You
better.
don't think Dwight can make a third team over like Ewing
Could have a
or
year.
David Robinson?
I don't know. David Robinson was in the MVP conversation like year after year.
Because he averaged 5 blocks. I think Dwight could average 5 blocks. like comfortably average like 5 blocks.
No, yeah, he definitely could be up there with the shot blockers.
What was Patrick? What was David Robinson numbers?
He was OD.
No, he was nice. He came in after the Navy and shit. So he was pretty much 24, 12, 26, 13, 5 blocks, 4 blocks, 23 and 12, 23 and 11. 1 year
His
he
defense
averaged
was
30 and
amazing.
11. Yeah, 28 and 11. Yeah, no, Dwight's fucked.
Nah, David Robinson got it. I was going to say, yeah.
It's fuck.
Dwight is fucking cooked. He'll be on the defensive team though, Dwight. Actually, he might not be.
Yeah.
Tough shit.
I'm trying to look up this Wilt Chamberlain NBA Finals broken hand for Wilt Chamberlain.
You should look at the contextualized stats too.
Bro loves that.
Because how you measure it is basically like you do it by per 100 possessions.
Yeah.
So
The 15-25 is stupid.
it's the points per game times
Yeah, he broke. I apologize for interrupting you. He broke his wrist after game 4. In game 4, excuse me. In game 4.
it's points per game times minutes per game times points per game times 48 divided by minutes per game times 100 divided by pace that they were at the era.
Oh, dude, you're hating on him big time. He had a broken wrist, torn.
He did say he was going to disrespect.
Torn
him.
ligament, and he also was the Finals MVP.
For the Lakers.
Yeah.
So he wasn't for the Sixers.
No, I don't think. Well, I know he was Finals MVP for the Lakers.
That means for the Sixers he wasn't. So I wonder who it was. I wonder who it was at the time.
He became the oldest Finals MVP at 35 years old.
Wow.
Mid.
Let me see who was the Finals MVP for the Sixers. Oh, it was Hal Greer.
Oh, shit.
I think so. Hal Greer was the Finals
Philly?
MVP. Yeah.
That's actually kind of nuts.
And then I basically think his career was over after that.
Yeah, I think it was probably Hal Greer. That was the Finals MVP at the time. No, but yeah, I mean,
Put some
listen,
respect on
I
Wilt.
think,
That's all I'm
I mean, Wilt, it's just, there was like 8 teams at the time.
Different game.
He
Different
played
eras,
one more year
different-
after that.
He was known as a player that wasn't a good teammate. And
Yeah, just stop defending.
He's
it.
been-
you contextualize the numbers and they don't look
We
that
get
amazing.
it. You're not a Wilt fan.
No,
No,
because
I'm just-
again, he was 35 years old, was Finals MVP, basically retired the year after
So
that.
yeah, well, yeah,
And he played all 82 games this
you
year.
had the Joker at
At
6.
35.
There's no load management.
At
Fuck no.
35,
There's no
in
load
the-
management back in the
60s.
day.
No, hell no.
Fuck all
No,
that.
that's what I'm saying.
Playing 82.
Yeah.
At that age,
Even
playing
MJ's
45
teammates was
minutes
off
a
coke,
game.
and they got ready for the game.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Nuts.
No,
And you
insane.
can have a heart attack.
How
for
many-
sure. I'm with you.
Didn't he have a season he averaged more than 48 minutes a game?
Who?
Well,
How the fuck do you even do that?
overtime. Like he just never came off the court.
They had overtime every game.
All right,
Sick guy.
you were right.
Right? Yeah.
His 61-62 season with the Warriors, he averaged 48 and a half minutes.
No, with Philly.
That shit's
that's
so
the Warriors,
funny,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
No,
there was no
Nah, bro,
substitutions.
No, he didn't come out the game.
No, bro. His minutes per game were 46.4,
Nah, we look like
47.8. No, I'm not disrespecting Will. You cannot.
He's taking 40 field goals. Dog, he's taking 40.
He's a dog for
No,
that.
fuck that. Pass the ball. He's taking
Pass the
40.
ball now.
player in the
Pass the
league.
ball now.
Bro, the best players in the league don't take 40 field goals.
So let me
bro.
ask you something.
He's got 8 inches on everyone on the court.
Wilt
What
Chamberlain-
else?
17 free throws.
Will Chamberlain averaged 40
No
field
threes.
goals a game attempts.
Yes, bro.
Jokic at his most field goal attempts per game was at 18.
Yeah, I mean, no one's coming close
so
to 40
we're
field goals
talking
in the
about
league.
if you multiply Jokic's field goal attempts times 2, it wouldn't be Wilt.
He averaged 50, dog.
He's a savage.
Who he played?
Okay,
I know. You can't name me 5 people he played. Do you even know another
Well, I
7-footer in that era?
Bill Russell.
He wasn't 7 feet.
Was he 6'10"?
I think both were like 6'10". Just long ass arms. Even Bob Petit wasn't 7 feet. He was like 6'9".
So also-
I keep saying
was
Petit, Bob Pettit.
Is Unseld around?
Unsel's like 6'9".
Oh, okay.
The big man from the Knicks. He was the white guy. What was his name? Jerry.
I'm blanking too.
He won the chip. Who was on that Knicks team?
I'm gonna say is Will had a season that he averaged over 8 assists also.
Well, nah, I was looking. He has nothing over. Oh, he does have one. 8.6.
That's what I'm saying.
67, 68.
So
That's his only
basically,
year,
And 7.82. Come on,
thinking-
2 years
th-
back to back.
give him
thinking
the 8.
basketball,
Jerry Lucas. Sorry.
Okay.
thinking basketball influenced me a lot in my Wilt Chamberlain assessment
It's crazy.
Oh,
because he has a video called it's a series called The Greatest Peaks, and he does an analysis between Bill Russell versus Wilt Chamberlain and the statistical case that Russell has over Wilt. So Wilt Chamberlain, when he was having those monster scoring seasons, his team's efficiency were low. They weren't a great offense. And mind you, we're talking about a league with not a lot of teams. So although he was scoring a lot of points, his team was not necessarily a great offensive team. To where and that's what hurts his case. And that's the difference between Bill Russell and him. Like Bill Russell didn't have a bunch of points per games, but his passing led to the Celtics' offensive efficiency being great.
I'm with you. Bill Russell is over Will Chamberlain. I just don't know if I can have Will Chamberlain 7th on my all-time centers list.
I can. It was 8 teams back then.
Jesus.
The odds of winning a
Then why is
championship.
Bill Russell 2?
The
There's
odds.
only 8 teams.
The odds of because he has 11 championships.
I understand.
Because
So
he
the
won.
team's insane.
He won every year.
Oh,
He won
listen,
every
I
years in the
think
league.
Bill Russell is number 2.
What?
Yes, number 2 on his centers list. I agree with that. Number 2 best center all time, Bill Russell. I mean, are you cool with that?
He's better than Shaq. Be fucking for real.
As a basketball player, yes, you probably go
would
Shaq,
dunk
but
his
legacy
balls
wise,
on his neck.
all right, would Shaq not do the same to Kareem? Would Shaq not do the same to Kareem?
No.
He's not doing that to Kareem. There's no one that could stop Shaq.
Bro, it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
And it's Shaquille O'Neal.
Alcindor.
Yeah, I got you.
Respect him.
I got you. I understand that.
Okay.
It's Shaquille O'Neal.
Kareem.
Yeah, okay. Scoring and playing defense are two different things.
How the fuck Bill gonna score? Well, Shaq.
He still might.
Yeah.
He probably could.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what are we doing here, man?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, what do you-
Bro, Shaq gonna hit him with one elbow. Bang.
But if Bill Russell was stopping Will Chamberlain, why couldn't he?
Shaq is 200 more
I'm
pounds than
saying
Will.
Kareem
Can
was
jump just
7'2",
as high.
but he was 225.
Yeah, no, he was skinny.
Like Shaq's got like maybe 80 pounds on him.
7'2", though, long wingspan.
That's facts, but
Bill Russell's
225 is
6'10".
built like me.
Bill was locking up Wilt, but Shaq has 200 pounds on Will.
He doesn't have 200
Brute
pounds.
force.
Relax.
Don't ask
He's
me.
got like a solid 60, 70 pounds.
And not to mention, Shaq could jump.
Yeah,
Shaq,
that's true.
Prime Shaq.
yeah,
facts.
stop.
Bill Russell was athletic
And
too,
Hakeem
though.
would destroy Bill Russell.
Why are
Like
you
bad.
disrespecting Bill Russell?
Shout out to Bill. He only played Wilt.
Nah, but yeah, if you look at that video, you'll see like there's a lot of cases against Will.
Bro hates him.
Yeah, there are.
I
No,
don't
it's
hate
just
it, bro.
facts.
He said, yeah.
It's just facts though. It's not even like me hating. It's just when you contextualize what he did, the era versus now. Like even when you look at Wilt's advanced numbers,
Walter Tua.
they don't. Come on, don't disrespect Wilt like that, please. Do not. But yeah, like because Wilt Chamberlain, he scored a lot, but his teams weren't efficient. Not only that, but when you contextualize, because Thinking Basketball made that video in 2020. When you contextualize his points per game to 2020, they would have ranked 11th in terms of per 36 points per game.
Don't forget the bad teammate part.
He is a bad teammate. Yeah, he is a bad teammate.
Just shit on Wilt Day.
Is Terrell Owens an all-time great player?
Yes.
Is he a bad teammate?
Mixed reports.
I don't know. He cried talking about Tony Romo being his quarterback.
Some people
You
love him.
can be a bad teammate and you can be an all-time great player.
I don't think T.O. and Wilt are in the same category, respectively.
I think T.O.'s better.
Okay.
Isn't T.O. like top 3 wide receiver?
He's
ever?
top 5. I wouldn't know about top 3.
Isn't it him?
And he
Moss?
did it
No.
in the,
Yards, he's one of the best.
Oh, you
I
like
think he's
ta-
number
you
2
like-
all time.
Oh, you wouldn't put him in your top 3, T.O. You wouldn't? Him, Moss, and Jerry, I thought was consensus.
I go
Calvin.
Jerry. Calvin
Oh.
definitely has to be in that conversation.
Megatron is like Wilt.
No.
you got to look up them Wilt
not close.
news reports,
Bro,
bro.
6'6".
You mean in terms of
Physique.
Oh no, yeah, he's the Wilt of
Yeah, he's just bigger than
receivers.
every single
Yeah,
body.
facts.
he's
But he
playing.
also was
Randy was like 6'3", 6'4".
but Calvin was also the best route runner. He also had the best hands. He also was jumping higher than everyone else.
Fucking ran like a 4'4".
Jettis clears.
I say this with love and respect to
I have no
Jettis.
respect for you.
He's
If you say what you're
he's
about to
probably
say,
the best in the game right now.
He doesn't touch Calvin.
he's nowhere
He doesn't
near.
touch Calvin.
he'll clear him.
With love and respect.
3 years.
No.
Thing is, he'll gonna have better numbers.
Do you
than
know what
Calvin.
Calvin would do
He'll
in
have-
this NFL?
He'll have
Do
better
you know what
numbers than
Jettis is
Calvin.
doing in this NFL?
For sure.
With Kirk
No,
Cousins?
he's already number 1. Do you know what Calvin would do in this NFL? He might put up 2,100 yards. I'm not even
Jettis could have
exaggerating.
did that if he had a competent QB. You ever thought about that?
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins,
Look who you
He's
said.
competent.
not bad.
I
Why you
mean,
talking about
Stafford's
Kirk
competent.
Cousins like that?
oh, you're defending your. You make me fucking sick.
Stafford was really good.
Yeah. Wait,
You-
Kirk is putting up 4K every year,
Man,
like clockwork.
Give Jettis,
Last we saw Kirk, he was really good against
give
the
Jettis
Giants.
one of those dogs, like Mahomes or shit. Allen.
Yeah, sure.
2,500 a year.
Yeah, you guys didn't like
No, you
fucking
give-
Calvin
if-
at Tom Brady.
If I ever see Jettis,
Stafford, but he launched that shit.
Yeah,
And
if
he
I
lost.
ever see Jettis in a Chiefs uniform, I will stop watching football.
No, he should have been in Philly.
He should have.
That's a fact.
Life would have been different if
That's
he was
a
in
fact.
Philly.
But hey, do you get AJ Brown?
Don't care.
Probably
Don't need
not.
him.
I don't know.
Probably don't
be
even draft Smitty the next year, honestly.
That's pain. That one.
Yeah, you need
pain.
Smitty.
But if we have Smitty and Jettis, don't care for AJ Brown. I'll be
I
honest with you.
understand.
But AJ Brown and Smitty, goddamn.
Yeah, we're good. We're still good.
Or excuse me, AJ Brown and
No, we
Jettis
had
would've been
AJ and
nuts.
Jettis. Woo!
Hey, you still could have because you wouldn't have been paying Jettis anything.
And we would
Still
have
could've.
we wouldn't have probably drafted Devonta. We probably would have just traded for AJ.
Yeah,
Damn.
Maybe, yeah. It's possible.
that was the year after though.
Thank God it didn't happen, though.
You're lucky. I mean, we're still better than you guys.
The Jets. We got Aaron Rodgers,
Any
baby.
team you like.
You know Aaron Rodgers last year was second in on-target percentage?
It's tough. Love that.
Was supposed to move me.
You're going to see what he's going to do this year.
I think you guys are really
I'm
good.
not a Jet hater, so
Respect.
I don't know what hater you are. You just outside of Mahomes.
Chiefs, yeah. Easily Chiefs.
Do you hate the Chargers? You don't. Weird. That's weird.
Kellen loves the
That's odd.
Chargers.
You actually
Very
love
low-key loves the
Herbert.
Chargers.
Take
You
it
love
easy.
Herbert. Oh my God, yo!
I don't love Herbert. I acknowledge
You
that
are
he's a
racist.
dog. What do you mean?
You love Herbert.
Love? I don't love
Yes, you do
him.
love
Yes, you love Herbert.
I definitely don't.
You do.
I don't.
You're the only guy who has him as your second best quarterback.
No, I love Tua. I don't love Herbert.
No, you're in love with Tua. You love
You're
Herbert.
obsessed with Tua. Yeah.
That well said. I don't love Herbert.
You like Herbert.
I definitely acknowledge that he's a dog. It's the same with Mahomes. It's just in
No,
terms
you hate
of
Mahomes though.
we lose to Mahomes every time we play against the Chargers.
I respect that.
We,
That's how I felt
we
about
have
Brady.
we have some wins.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah, you can't.
There's
I feel like
no-
you don't have the
there's-
hatred if you win every once in a while. You know,
I don't
When
hate
you're
Dak.
0-10,
that you're gonna.
there's some hate involved.
Sure.
I would
fault.
hate that man.
I don't
would be praying on his
disagree.
downfall every day.
There are times when
Like
I
me and
just
Brady.
turn on a Patrick Mahomes interview. Wow. And I just watch it all.
Just smiled. Room,
I just smile.
middle of the room.
Look at this
no
guy.
lights on.
This guy is the
Naked too, right?
goddamn
Shoes.
guy.
Yeah, the whole
Watch it
nine.
naked.
Sometimes in my boxers for sure. Definitely in my boxers.
man.
I'm laying down like this with my phone in my face.
Yeah,
I'm
this
doing.
guy's crazy.
The other day I was watching some Jordan Love press conferences.
Oh, really? How's he sound?
Sounds good, confident.
Okay.
He,
Sounds
he
like a
says
leader.
it's my team. You know, this is my team. I got
Respect.
the keys now.
I respect that.
Before we go on to the next topic, a quick word from Shadyrays. Kick off the new year with new gear built to last. Our friends at Shadyrays have you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much more. Shadyrays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. That's not all. Shadyrays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Wear Shadyrays with confidence because they will have your back long after you purchase. Exclusively for our listeners, Shadyrays is giving out their best deal of the new year. Go to shadyrays.com and use Pick a Side for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. That's code Pick a Side for 50% off. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people.
Have you just come in yet? Your
It did,
Shadyrays?
yeah. They're
Nice.
upstairs. Yeah.
Oh, tough. You like them?
Yeah, they are good.
Nice.
I wore them once. Yes. So
They
far.
look fly.
Yes.
Not surprised.
Good.
They always look fly.
I like them. I like them. The Pistons hired Monty Williams.
Here we go.
They made him the highest paid coach
Yes, we did.
in the NBA.
Oh my God. that's
$13
gross.
million a year. That's what he's getting. And he rejected this offer at first from the Pistons and the Bucks. He said he wanted to take a break from coaching. Then the Pistons said, you know what?
Give you
We're going to
fucking
up the
100
offer.
million.
We're going to
He's
make
a-
you the highest paid coach in the
He's an
NBA.
option. He's a player.
And
Ownership
I know this is a good spot for Monty because I think he has a history of developing up-and-coming teams.
I agree.
And on top of that, he's getting a bag. And at least in Detroit, the pressure to win is minimal. He's not going to face real pressure to win maybe until the 3rd or 4th year of his coaching tenure.
Facts.
So you're going to a destination that you're getting paid a lot of money. You have little to no pressure.
Facts.
I think it's a win-win. This is the best situation he could have asked for. He probably wanted to take that 1-year break, but the money was too good to pass up. I don't blame him.
Talk to me, Mr. Piston.
1 year, 11 teams. Here we go.
Oh, we're here.
It's going to be a fun offseason.
Were you happy?
We're going to be free agency and draft. It's
I
going to be we.
Oh, no, it's going to get worse when Amen gets drafted to the Rockets, and I'm a Rockets fan.
Let me ask you a question.
And when All-Star goes to, if he goes to Charlotte, I'm here.
Oh, my God. You're going to like the
Welcome
entire
aboard.
NBA in a
Yeah,
year.
it's, at this point, it'll get there. up?
where do the Pistons rank in these 11 teams?
Warriors, Bulls.
They dropped.
Bro,
They're signing Vucevic.
The Bulls are out of your top.
They dropped to 4.
So outside the Warriors, is everyone just in a tier? Like Warriors are number
No,
one.
Warriors
Everyone else
are-
is just in a
My
tier
heart
of
will
itself.
forever be
Yeah.
at 1. I think the Pistons are like 3 or 5.
Clippers, they're falling off too.
Clippers are 2.
Oh, still.
They went up to 2.
Oh, okay.
Well, George podcast
nice.
moves me.
Got it. No, for sure.
Moves me
It's a
mightily.
great
The
podcast.
teams that actually.
Cleveland, they fell down because Garland,
They lost.
they didn't show up.
You're a
I think
front
this
runner.
was best case scenario if you're.
I'm a fan of the Pistons.
You were a Bulls fan. They started sucking. Now they dropped to like 5.
Dog, they're signing Vucevic,
I'm not saying it's
Bro, he
right.
was one of your best players this year.
and that's horrible.
I disagree.
I'm not saying it's right, but just stick with your guys.
No,
Nah.
they're still my guys.
Nah,
Because
bro,
it's, no,
you
it's
needed to
always
sign him.
it's
You
always
needed to sign
been
him.
it's always
Traded
been
away-
I'm a Bulls fan who loves Steph Curry. Now it's just I'm a
I'm
Warriors fan who hates the Bulls.
Kaminga's there, Poole's there, Moody's
Big
there,
man.
Steph's there. My guys are there. Looney, I'm a big Looney guy. Wiggs, come on.
This is best case scenario if you're a Pistons fan.
Yes.
And this is why I had the Pistons high on my list. Because
the Suns are still crazy, but go on.
Coaches love the situation. It's a perfect situation for a coach that wants to develop his own talent, that wants to bring in his own guys. And the bag. The bag's nuts. Listen, he can't tell me the bag was the number one option. The bag was undoubtedly, and then they gave him a team option, which is fucking hilarious, or a player option.
Imagine getting fired and then getting the highest contract in sports for a
yeah.
coach.
I think the situation is great though, because I think you have a collection. You have a collection of good young players that you can develop, and you have the number 5 pick. So I think you can bring in your type of guy. That's huge. You have some calm veterans there, nothing too crazy. Rodney Magruder, Bogdanovic, Corey Joseph. Like the young players talk highly of Rodney Magruder, so that's good.
Cam Whitmore, lock 5?
I wouldn't say locked. They've talked about Jarris. They talked about
Okay.
Cam. A sneaky seen some talks about Osar. The jumper's been developing, so we'll see how it goes.
See about that.
Yeah, I think Monty though will probably pick Cam, but I think for them, like for Detroit, they needed somebody to get him over the hump. And me and Joel, it's funny because me and Joel was talking about this shit probably like 4 or 5 months ago. We were like, we don't think Casey is the guy that's gonna lead them into the next stage, and then he gets fired, and then they bring in Monty. Monty helped develop Phoenix. He helped build that team into a contending team. So I think that's huge. And for somebody, they need somebody to help Cade. They need somebody to help Ivy. They need somebody to help Duren. I think Detroit, although he doesn't have a lot of pressure, there's still pressure. You got to win. You can't keep drafting in the top 5, in the top 3, in the top 7, and then you don't turn this into results. You got to make it into results now. You didn't drafted Cade. You didn't drafted you traded for Duren. You drafted Ivy. You drafted Isaiah Stewart. You drafted Bay. Then you trade him. So you've been drafting guys to come into this young core. You drafted Killian Hayes with a lottery pick. We really forget that. But Killian Hayes was undoubtedly a lottery pick.
But this was his best season for sure.
Yeah, 1,000%. He was a lottery pick. So you expect this talent to come together. You have cap space. You have money. You can bring in some vets. You have another top 5 pick. So I think the expectations are we need to make a push for the play-in. We don't need to make it, but can we compete for the play-in? Can we hover around that 10, 11, 12 spot throughout the year? Can we make some noise, make some other teams look foolish, get some wins that take some other teams out the play, stuff like that. And I think that's what you need. And you need to see immediate development from Cade. He needs to be a big year for Cade. You've been injured back-to-back seasons. You finally fixed that foot that was bothering you in Oklahoma State. I think it was the foot that bothered you in Oklahoma State. You finally got that fixed. You've shown signs as a playmaker, as a mid-range shooter, as a defender, but nothing that warrants any what we expected. And
He needs refinement.
Yeah, I'm a big Cade guy, and you have not shown us nothing of that top 5 MVP candidate like expectations. So now, year 3, you have to come show out big. I think Ivy is going to show something this year. Duren's going to show something this year. But I think all in all, this was a great hire for Detroit. You need somebody with some experience, some development. People forget Monty was in New Orleans with the Hornets. Chris Paul, he developed some of those guys over there too. So he has a history of developing young teams.
I love when you say the Hornets.
It is what it is.
I love it. I'm not criticizing.
Yeah, so A+ signing. You had to throw the bag at him to get him out of saying, I want to take a year. It was them and the Bucks. He obviously chose the better team.
Relax. You mentioned the development aspect. You have Mikal Bridges, of course. Cam Johnson comes to mind. Ayton, I guess you could say, is the disappointment in all of it. That's the number 1 overall pick. Definitely did not live up to expectations. Maybe will be.
He's better.
The bar is not that crazy to climb. Let's be honest.
But you come into Detroit. You mentioned it perfectly. You kind of get not a blank slate per se, but you have a lot of exactly. You have a lot of leeway. You have a lot of say in your organization. You have an insane amount of money now that was allocated to you. That is definitely something that's intriguing to me if I'm Monty Williams. I think Monty Williams is a great coach. I think that obviously this was an excellent no-brainer decision by the Pistons. You have some young guys that you want to progress. You understand that Jaden Ivey has a lot of potential, showed a lot of potential as a playmaker. We probably are expecting him to be your point guard. Cade, that needs to be number 1, and I understand everything that you said about Cade Cunningham, essentially everything you said about this situation, spot on. But Cade Cunningham needs to be the primary focus because this is supposed to be your franchise changer. I believe both Ivy and Cade can both run this offense, can be the point guard facilitators of this offense. But it's going to be interesting to see how the two coincide and they coexist because we really saw Ivy elevate as a playmaker once Cade went down. Cade had a ball the majority of the time, but then once he went down, obviously Ivy had the keys. So it's going to be interesting to see how those two coexist, how they're going to play Cade because we understand the versatility that he provides. But Monty, I think that he can do a great job of elevating these guys and getting them to that next level in their stages of development. So this is an excellent signing for Detroit. But I am interested to see what they do with this number 5 pick because, as I alluded to, I think they already have their point guard situation filled out. Sure. I think that if I'm them at 5, take it as a blessing in disguise. Of course, you would have loved to be in number 1. You were horrendous in the regular season. You would have loved Victor, would have slid in perfectly. But at number 5, take it as a blessing in disguise because last year it happened again. You were at 5, you sat there, didn't trade up to number 4. You were still able to get your guy Jaden Ivey. This time, I think 5, Cam Whitmore will be available. I think you need to fill out your wings. That's an excellent position. That's an excellent player to slide into your squad. You need wing depth for sure. Slide in next to Bogdanovich, excuse me. And then you just need guys that can get the ball into the basket, be athletic, and that's Cam Whitmore.
It's exciting. I think Detroit fans, we have one at this table all of a sudden. I mean, so it's
all of a sudden it's crazy.
Respect me.
I've
been here for 2 years.
I'm joking. Ever since Kay got that, I respect you. Just a little jab.
I was a Bay fan too.
Okay, really?
Yeah, Sadiq,
Killian Hayes. Okay.
No, it wasn't that far, buddy.
I respect that. If you're a Killian Hayes fan, I'd have questions.
Nah.
Originally, though, it was reported that Monty might have been sitting out for a season. So I don't think all of a sudden this Detroit roster changed overnight. I think he got $100 million in front of his face and said, you know what, I could live in Detroit. But all jokes aside, I mean, we know the Pistons, worst team in the league last year. Unfortunately, they dropped to the 5th pick. But this is still a team, like you mentioned, Drew. You still have to be excited for this, right? Because Monty's going to come in, and that money basically tells me you're our superstar, right? They don't have that superstar quite on that roster. We're hoping Cade can be, maybe even Jaden Ivey. But right now, they're treating Monty and saying, you more or less have the keys to this franchise. It's going to be your blueprint. You're going to put your hands on this roster and be able to kind of mold it the way you like. And I know Riv mentioned it too, but I think Monty's experience, because obviously remember the last few years with the Suns, a lot of success. They didn't win the finals, but went to the finals, multiple second rounds. So the fact that we remember that sometimes gets overshadowed, that he came into this team that the Suns team won 19 games when he took over, right? This was not a good Suns team. This is a very young Suns team. And he was the one that, of course, Devin Booker got better. You get the number 1 overall pick. You trade for Chris Paul. That all helps for sure. But he was really the one that made them into that competitive team, right? You like to see the growth there. But I think the fact that he's able to do both, he's able to show that he could develop these young guys. He could get guys to buy in. But once you are good enough, he's a coach that can get you to the finals. Of course, people have had their doubts over Monty, and I don't think he should have been fired. I thought more than anything the Nuggets were just the better team when they lost this season. But it's a roster with upside, and I think there's times where Dwayne Casey, who was great in Toronto, sometimes you just need a new voice, right? And I think that was kind of the situation here. Dwayne Casey, you're not going to be bad for this many years and keep your job. He moved up to the front office. But I think having a new voice in there, and Monty's respected around the league, players, coaches, whatever alike. So I think just all of the things that he could bring to this team, if you're a Pistons fan, I don't think there was a better coach out there for you.
The Suns were a 17-win team.
17? I said 19, right?
17-win team before Monty got there. The Pistons, they won 17 games this year. You know, so I think the big difference is that the Suns had a proven star already with Devin Booker. I know we love to flaunt over Cade's potential. I think he has that sky-high potential as well, but it just hasn't materialized yet. His first season, you know, you get a pass. Even in the second season before we got hurt, there wasn't much there that you looked to, and it was, like, really promising. So he has to come out guns blazing in year 3. I think he has to really showcase that he can be the number 1 guy, because at this point right now, I don't know how confident I am in saying he is that number 1 guy. You know, I think my confidence level is like probably at a 50%. It can go either way, boom or bust, but I'm not very, very confident in it right now. I'm just not.
All right, Riv, how does that make you feel?
No, I mean, he played 12 games this year, so like
it's very hard to judge anything.
I don't know what. Like, I don't have a rebuttal for that. But last year he showed promise towards the end. You know, you got to remember context to his rookie year. He missed in the summer. He missed training camp. He was hurt. He came in hurt. Once he recovered from that, though, he played really, really well towards the end of the year. But this year, like, it's 12 games. You know, and he didn't look good in 12. It looked like he fixed his jumper and looked fucking disgusting. But yeah, so it's like the 50% is warranted because he's been hurt a lot. So you want to see in year 3, You want to see a heightened improvement. Like you don't want him to you want him to be on a trajectory like Wagner was when year 2 he came in. He was great. You saw the improvements. Cade kind of has to skip a year now. You can't have a sophomore slump. You kind of have to skip that and go straight into you need to be really, really good in year 3 because now the expectations. You're the number 1 pick. You know what I'm saying? So it's like everybody had their sophomore slump. Jalen Green had his. Franz didn't have his.
Franz was OD.
Giddey also did not have his. Sengun didn't have his. So you kind of have to be. Mobley didn't. So you kind of have to be like the guy like, I got to skip the sophomore slump. And I got to be on a great trajectory year 3. But I still think he's the best in his class, potential-wise. And I still think he can do it. And Monty can help him with that. So,
would you still take him over anyone in this class? Mobley, Wagner, I'm assuming still yes.
Yeah, I would have to. I think I would still.
I would still take Cade's potential over.
Yeah, I would still take all of his guys. I would still take him 100%.
My biggest question, because Cade, he's a question mark, but my real biggest question is, how are the role players going to fill out? Are they just going to keep the top 3 pick busts on the roster? I don't know.
Upside guys, young guys.
I'm out on James Wiseman. I am. I don't think he's a good NBA player.
He didn't play bad in his few appearances with the Pistons last year.
He was okay offensively.
Facts.
He was one of the worst defenders at his position. I think that his offense can be very easy replicated by somebody else. Mm-hmm. I just don't think he offers much. In Golden State, he wasn't a good player. And, you can argue, well, you needed him to develop quickly and win now. But the problem I have with Wiseman is that he was a high school phenom. At Memphis, he didn't play much, and he kind of missed a year of college. So we never really got to see how he was going to look like versus college competition. He goes straight into the NBA, and he's just not good. In the G League, he just doesn't have the winning basketball intangibles, and I don't know how much the Pistons still want to invest in him, considering Jalen Duren already has all the things you wish Wiseman had. So that's why at the end of last season, when they were playing Wiseman, similar minutes to Jalen Duren, it drove me crazy because Duren was a much better player.
They were trying to lose.
I know. And then Marvin Bagley. Marvin Bagley's another one who he just offers offense and nothing else. And he's somebody, he's productive, but you can replicate that production as well from other people. So my big question is, with all the cap space they're going to have, are they going to fill out their rotation with players that actually know how to play basketball? Or are they just going to go into another year of a full rebuild and try to see if one of these guys develops? Because at this point, I think they have their core. They have Cade, Ivy, and Duren. Those are the pillars. I'm interested to see what they do with the 5th overall pick, because Cade Cunningham coming out of the draft was viewed as a point forward, kind of like a Luka prototype. Mm-hmm. I always thought he was more kind of like a Tatum prototype, where he's a good shot creator, probably has a bit more playmaking prowess than Tatum, but I never viewed him as a natural playmaker. So I'm not sure if there's a world where maybe Cade is the small forward, Ivy is a 2 guard, and now you're drafting a floor general point guard like maybe a Cason Wallace, who has a safe floor and defensively would be a great matchup with Ivy. And then offensively, you just ask him to run the offense and hit open shots, and you still play off Cade, but you don't ask Cade to have all of the playmaking responsibilities. So, because I don't know how much I like the idea of a Cam Whitmore or another wing in this lineup, considering I feel like they still need a boost in playmaking as well and consistent shooting next to Cade.
I like Ivy as a playmaker, honestly.
Yeah.
My only problem with that lineup is I don't like Cade at the 3.
He's big enough to play it though. He's 6'8". I think he's big enough to do it. He's
not that how do I explain it? Like Tatum, the problem with Cade at the 3 is he's big, he's tall, but he's not big enough to guard threes, play at the 3. He doesn't have a proper post-up game yet. His mid-range, his 3-point shot is still streaky. I kind of like, it's tough. And then that's
220.
That's still a skinny lineup. Jaden Ivey, he's like 6'3", 6'4". He's not that big either. Yeah, you would want that. I don't know.
I just don't like the idea of just keeping adding on raw athletic players that just don't know how to shoot yet. Mm-hmm. I feel like, especially if you want to build around Cade, and that's the big question, because right now he still hasn't proven that he's worthy of building around. I think you probably bet on yes. You need shooting around him, and that was a big thing his rookie season, that he was getting double teamed a lot. So if you can add somebody who is a great shooter and maybe doesn't have the upside, I'm fine with it because I think Duren, Cade, and Ivy in themselves have a lot of upside. So I wouldn't even be mad if they went the Grady Dick route. I think Grady.
Five.
I know that's high, but is there? It's not crazy to say Grady Dick would be a better NBA player than Cameron Whitmore. It's not. I understand the Cameron Whitmore projection, but Grady Dick projects as
a sharpshooter.
A sharpshooter who can also handle the ball, occasionally play make, and if he bulks up, can be an okay defender.
No, I think Grady Dick at 5 is crazy.
It seems pretty high. I feel like I really haven't seen him go. No, definitely haven't seen him go in the top 5.
I haven't seen him go higher than 8.
I was gonna say Utah, Dallas. Those are spots that I'm expecting him to really have conversations to go there. The Magic at 11 for sure, but the earliest is that Utah, Dallas.
There's gonna be a lot of teams that are gonna fall in love with Grady Dick just because he's what you want in today's NBA. So he might go higher than we expect.
5 though, I don't know. Especially Jarris, Cam Whitmore, Thompson. I don't see Grady getting selected over Thompson.
I saw in a recent draft Josh Primo go 11. I think anything can happen.
I mean,
11 is high. 11's 5 is.
I saw Patrick Williams go 5.
That draft stinked, bro. Let's just go.
Yeah, he was still a reach though at that pick.
That draft wasn't good, bro. I see what you tried to do.
I saw Isaac Kerr. No, Isaac Kerr I think was the 5th pick.
No, Isaac was 4.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, come on. Oh yeah.
That hurts.
That actually hurts your argument because that means Cam would go 5.
No, but I'm saying it actually boosts my argument because you're betting on these hyper athletic guys at the top 5 picks and they usually just don't pan out.
And you brought up the drafts that bet on the
athletic
guys, which is probably
maybe that's a case study as to why not to do it.
Well, Grady Dick's not going 5.
5.
I'm not saying it's going 5, but if the Pistons want to build a roster around Cade and they have an idea of how they want to do it, that's a good pick.
I liked your Case and Wallace idea.
So you think Case and Wallace goes over Grady Dick?
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
No.
I think they're both in the same tier.
No, I don't think Kaysen goes 5, but I'm saying I like that better than I think that's more realistic than Grady.
No, I think Grady.
I don't know.
Picked before
I think Grady Dick is more realistic
for them.
Yeah, I don't think either of them get. But I think if I had to pick Grady Dick,
I think Grady Dick, the type of player he is, that prototype, much more teams want that right now.
I think realistically, the selection's Cam Whitmore. That's what I think.
Jaden Ivey shot 34%.
I'm willing to bet.
Wasn't horrible on 4 attempts. I mean, not great, but
he shoots
still.
37 next year. Cam.
So you think it's gonna be Cam Whitmore?
Yeah, and then
I don't think so.
Let's not forget Bogdanovich is on the team. Yes, they do need shooting, but still, Bogdanovich still is going to be able to.
Stroke it.
Yes, he is.
Who do you think at 5? Who do you think goes at 5? Please don't say Grady Dick.
I have no idea right now. I'm not going to say I have an idea. I don't know. It's a crapshoot.
It's only going to be like 3-4 players.
But I do feel confident that it won't be Cameron Whitmore. I think they go Jarris Walker before Cameron Whitmore.
I could see Jarris too.
Ain't bad. But then, but doesn't that give you the same shooting aspect?
I think Jarris is more of a polished all-around player than a Cam.
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, I could see both results. I'd see them. They're gonna take an athletic guy or defensive guy.
If they go Jarris, okay. Like
I wouldn't be shocked
shooting,
at All-Star either.
What about Hendricks at 5?
That's high.
Sign me the fuck up. Sign me the fuck up because you mentioned it. You want shooting? There's Hendricks.
You think Hendricks is a much better prospect than Grady Dick?
I think I definitely prefer
I think he's
Hendricks.
more likely to go 5 than Grady Dick. Yeah.
Nah, bro.
Hendricks gives you size, gives you shot blocking ability, really good defense, can shoot the ball very well. I like that. Thank you. Completely forgot.
No, he's not going 5.
No, but I would definitely take Hendricks over Grady for sure at 5.
The difference between Cam Whitmore and Jarris for me is that Jarris...
Hendricks could go 5. Why can't he?
Because he won't.
But why can't he?
I don't have a sole reason why. I just don't think he will.
I'm just thinking everything as a prospect. You look at him defensively. He gives you great size.
Prospect, and he's going 10.
Can shot block 10.
He's going 10.
Mavericks are stealing. I'm gonna be upset.
He's going 10, bro. He's going 10. Maybe he might go to Orlando at 11.
Okay. Or he might go to Orlando at 6.
Let's be so serious.
I am being serious.
I don't know. I mean, but Jarris exudes passion and leadership and that physical play that you want. Like, I think Jarris is a winning player.
Because he played for Houston.
He goes to an organization, that's an injection of just energy that you
think
have.
So you think that, or is more Marcus Sasser just being a dog at Houston?
I think that it's Jarris Walker, too. I think Jarris Walker is one of those guys that's going to dive for balls 90 feet down the court.
That's Case and Wallace.
He's the type of player.
To be fair, Villanova, Cam missed a month with an injury. Villanova wasn't good, and they lost their coach. So he couldn't show. He can show it, but they wasn't going to be this good this year.
Jarris to me is the type of player that I'm going to guard your best player. I'm going to die for every loose ball.
Cam guards the best player.
But I think that's Jarris times 2. That's what I'm saying.
Respect Cam Whitmore.
You're losing.
He's good, but listen, Jarris, I think is just an injection of. Passion.
I think either or. Monty, I don't know. We don't know what Monty's going to do. I think the situation is really good, though, that at 5, they can really go anywhere. That's why
Hendricks goes to Pistons. Sign me up. I'm with you, brother.
And that's why
they could trade down, too.
That's
why when Detroit got 5, I wasn't mad.
Like a better prospect than Grady Dick.
I do think so.
Yeah, but I felt like when Detroit got 5, this was like, you could, because if you would have got 2, now you're at the situation like, all right, we get Scoot. What the fuck are we gonna do? We got these guards here, that. We had 1. Okay, Victor was cool. Like now we're at 3. Well, we might have to take aim. And damn, what the fuck are we gonna do?
3, you probably go Brandon.
Oh, Brandon would have been cool. 4.
That's 4, 5 kind of.
So it's like 5 was like, all right. Well, we missed out on Brandon. Fine. We really didn't have a chance to get 1 anyways, but that's fine.
They did.
They did. I'm sorry.
Odds.
Yeah, we didn't get Victor. It's
unfortunate.
Sucks,
it sucks.
Scoot. All right, we have 2 guards that we think are great, right? So now we're at 5. So we're like, all right, there's some talent at 5. Figure this shit out.
Yeah, they are super unlucky to go from.
You painted a great picture, but sometimes I feel like being at 2 or 3 and having all the options is better than being at 5 and being like, well, at least the options are not. We don't have every option.
Like
we have less
last
options.
year, I'm with you. That's the mindset. Last year, damn, we should have had number 1 pick. It didn't work out that way. We were at 5, but we were still able to get our guy in Jaden.
Them getting 2 just puts them in a position where like, all right, we're gonna have to log jam these 3-point guards that need the ball. Because they
well, then at 2, they
could have traded out.
But you were saying it for how long? At 2, you think about going Brandon.
Yeah, but the way the media was gonna cook. I don't know.
For sure. I think Scoot needs to be number 2. I don't care. He needs to be 2.
I don't know. I think they're at 5. They're cool. It's a lot of reaches. It's gonna be some reaches, man.
No, for sure. This draft is very unpredictable.
Casey Wallace is not going before 7.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
And if Washington and Utah don't grab him, you're fucked.
Why?
Because he's dropping.
Let him drop to my Lakers. I'm gonna geek out.
He's so serious. He's not dropping that far.
And that could be an Austin Reeves replacement because we know he's leaving.
They're matching up to 100.
They match it. They're matching anything.
And the Spurs will pay 110.
Ooh. That means the Lakers can also pay 110.
Nah, I tell you what, he goes to the Spurs. Victor and Austin Reeves.
You're a Spurs fan?
Nah, I can't do that. I'll never.
Austin
like
wouldn't
Spurs.
start.
That's fair.
Yes, he would.
He would start with Trey Jones.
Oh shit, he can play the 1. Yeah,
he's gonna play the 1 for us next year.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot. I was thinking just 2 and a 3.
Once D'Lo goes to Miami,
he's gonna play for the Spurs.
So that way you can root for Austin Reeves.
Number 1 fan.
Bitch.
Austin Reeves is clear as Jordan Poole.
He does. I tried telling you. You didn't listen.
We'll see. We'll see what they do. I really don't.
You and I had a different conversation. He also was telling me it's ridiculous. It's crazy. You can't say that.
I don't have
all season he was praying on it too. He's like, nah, Poole's gonna turn it around. Nah, this is the series. Poole got it. Don't think I let it go earlier. Now you just got me tight. Sorry.
I don't have a dog in a fight.
In this fight.
You do. Open your Mojo portfolio.
Oh yeah, Reeves. That's my dog.
Oh my god.
I invested
Okay.
early.
Year 5 Poole.
Turntables.
I can't wait. And Poole's younger.
Yeah,
I didn't invest in the Jordan Poole for a reason. I saw the vision
Smart.
of Reeves.
You shorted him?
I saw it. No, I longed Austin Reeves.
No, Poole.
I didn't touch him.
Okay.
Nah, I didn't touch him.
You'll eat your words when year 5 Poole steps up. And
Reeves clears.
Huh? Did he get a ring? I remember we had a deal and Reeves had to get a ring.
No, we did not.
Yes,
That's
we did.
No, that's not true. We didn't have no deal.
We overrate guys that hit open jumpers. I don't like that shit. It's like the
over
Miami
70% true shooting. You don't overrate that.
Bro, he's not.
He had a generational performance.
No, he's good. Reeves is good.
Yeah, respect him, and he's really good on defense.
He's okay.
Poole can never say his
Relax.
off ball is really fucking good.
His on ball, you fucking over exaggerated.
I didn't over exaggerate it. I said he's a good on ball defender. He's a great off ball defender.
He's all right.
So Suns hired Frank Vogel. 5 years, $31 million contract.
Are you gonna go on a rant because he's a coach that got hired and he's not new? Or
On some big news, some big news happened that made me be like, you know what, I love this.
I like it a lot too.
Like Young?
Kenny Young is staying as a lead assistant. He's being paid as the top assistant in the NBA. And there's a reason why I like Frank Vogel with the Suns. There is. At first, I was like, okay, we'll see what happens.
Damn it.
I don't know.
No new
how much
face.
I like him. Listen, I like new blood, but You're getting Frank Vogel in. You keep the new blood in there. One of the top offensive assistants. And I think Frank Vogel's a great coach.
Agreed.
I don't think he's a mediocre coach. I think that he got shorthanded with the Lakers because Rob Pelinka made a Russell Westbrook trade that I guess gets blamed on LeBron, whatever, either or. That Lakers team was garbage. It wasn't just the Russell Westbrook trading most of the depth for Russell Westbrook, but it was LeBron and Anthony Davis being injured for the majority of the season. The team was not good. And Frank Vogel, he's coached 11 seasons. He's coached 10 full seasons. In 7 of them, he's had a top 10 defensive rating. The 3 he didn't was the year the Lakers were injured with Russell Westbrook and 2 years in Orlando, which it was a rebuilding team. What this tells me is that the Suns have a vision, and that's why I like it over Philadelphia, because I don't feel like Philadelphia has a true vision. I think the Suns' vision is we're going to build an elite defensive unit around KD and Devin Booker, and we're going to let them carry the offensive load. You brought back Kenny Young, who's a great offensive coach, who Devin Booker loves, Kevin Durant loves. Those two offensively, if you surround them with like good average shooters and good defenders, can take you far. That's a contending team. So the fact that you have Vogel, who in Indiana overachieved because he made 2 back-to-back conference finals, and at the time, we may have this nostalgic view of Indiana, but Paul George wasn't a superstar at that time. He was averaging 17 points in the regular season. He turned up in the playoffs, but that was still 19 a game. They were built off of an elite defensive unit.
For sure.
Back-to-back seasons, and if Paul George doesn't have a leg injury, that team goes further, but that stunted their growth. And then in that one healthy year with LA, you win a championship. I think Frank Vogel, everywhere he's been, he's had seasons where he's been great. And the only times he hasn't been great was when he didn't have his best player on the court and he didn't have another all-star he can rely on. So for me, I like this hire a lot. I do.
I definitely do like the hire because you mentioned it. They want to be a defensive-minded team, of course, with the fact that you have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. That's going to be a dominant scoring duo regardless. So put defense around them. Hopefully that solves all your problems. But when I now my questions start to become, who's the personnel that we're going to surround them with? Because right now the conversation is DeAndre Ayton might not be on the squad. CP3 most likely won't be on the squad. So I need to see the moves that are made first. But just off face value, I acknowledge that Frank Vogel is a good coach. And the conversations on Twitter that I was seeing all day today, or yesterday too, was that this seems like a downgrade, all this, that, and the third.
At me.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, come on. Can you lock in?
Sometimes I just like to stir the pot.
Wait, was it you?
I don't think it's a downgrade.
No,
I was just saying shit.
I don't think so either. I think
first I did. Sorry to cut you off. First I did, but then when I really lock in, I'm like, it's not a downgrade.
No, it really isn't. It's just for the fact that I understand Frank Vogel. You said a lot of facts. He got scapegoated with the Lakers. That team simply was not good. LeBron played a majority of the year. It was Anthony Davis that wasn't healthy. And we had to blame someone, so we blamed Frank. And I thought that was a pretty unnecessary move. Not that I don't like Darvin Ham a lot now, but Frank Vogel was a good coach, and he showed it in 2020 when we were able to win a championship. Trusted Rajon Rondo, trusted Dwight Howard, was able to put a lineup together that we were able to play great basketball. But really, he comes in, and his focus will be defense. If you're the front office, I see your vision because you need a defensive-minded head coach with a team that's not so great on defense or lost a lot of its defensive personnel. We'll be very interested to see what they do this offseason in terms of addressing that need, both at the big and their wings. But really, Frank Vogel is a good coach, and I think that can't be understated.
They got a lot of open spots on that roster, right? We went through it a month ago. Maybe there's like 5 guys on the roster.
They were saying that maybe there could be an Alex Caruso reunion there.
Ooh.
I'll throw up.
That'd be fun. Wait, Vogel.
I think they changed your Landry Shamet. That's fair.
No.
No.
He's
Should
coming
I
back
entertain
home.
that?
No, come on.
Monty Williams is going to trade for him.
Alex Russo?
Rob Pelinka is going to trade for him.
Landry Shamet.
Oh, okay. No, if
Monty
Landry
Williams
Shamet ends up in
is trading
Detroit,
Killian
I
Hayes
will
and somebody else.
literally blow that building up.
Alec Burks and Killian Hayes for Shamet.
Yeah, he's an idiot. He's an idiot.
Let's talk about Landry Shamet in fucking Detroit. He's not
Come off the bench.
He's not coming to Little Caesars, man. But listen, let me start by saying
You're
this.
not allowed to a Pistons game in your life, I think.
I don't want to go.
You're lying.
You're a fan.
I'm not going to Detroit though. I can go to Barclays if they're there. I don't want to go to Detroit though. Nothing good for me out there. Frank Vogel is a good coach, and you guys said a lot of good things. I think the most important, or the thing that we're looking at more, is the roster construction, because we've seen Frank Vogel get scapegoated in a couple situations, and when he doesn't have a good roster, look, the irony is the team isn't that good. It's not usually his fault. The team just isn't that good. And I think with the Suns, it's really about, can you build an elite defense with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker at the helm? Can you do that? You need a rim protector. We all agree DeAndre Ayton isn't probably going to be there next year. Chris Paul, I don't know. Like, that one's up in the air. But
unless Ayton turns into a different player.
Which would be fucking insane.
Hibbert made an all-star game with Vogel.
Hibbert was a great defensive player from start to finish.
That David West, Roy Hibbert combination was tough.
That was a good team.
Yeah.
Lance Stevenson, George Hill. Louis Scola off the bench for
Took a 7.
Yeah. No, it was a good team. I think
Scola didn't go until like after they were done.
No,
contending.
Scola was on the ECF team the year after. I know. You can't tell me nothing about PG's career, buddy. you just can't. Evan Turner was on the second team, too. If you want to fact check me on that
I
also.
am. Don't worry. I am.
Don't worry. Basketball reference.
Don't worry. I'm looking at it right now.
I'm already here. So you try. It's not going to work. 2013, 2014, buddy.
The 1 year, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I know. Evan Turner, too, right?
I have to check. I'll check. Those rosters were not very good, though.
They just weren't that great offense. You're looking for the high-powered offense. They wasn't that. They were number one in defense. Yeah.
Lance Stevenson was mad
good.
good.
Like, I'm looking at that 1920 Raptors team versus those Pacers teams. I don't know. It's pretty similar.
1920. The year 19 to 20.
No, Kawhi.
Without Kawhi. The Raptors team without Kawhi.
Oh, the
You
year.
mean DeMar?
Oh, the year after Kawhi.
No, the year after.
He's saying
Year
Kyle
after
Lowry, Marcus Gasol, Pascal,
Yeah, what about
Ibaka,
Serge.
OG. That team was still good, man. It was.
But what does that have
I'm
to
so
do?
confused.
Just keep
Just
going.
in general, we're just talking.
We're just looking at it in
No,
general.
I'm looking. You compare that Raptors team versus those Pacers teams.
Why the hell are
It's
we
not
comparing-
that far off.
Wait,
Here he
why
goes
are
again.
we comparing
It's
those?
not that far
Well,
off.
why do we make that? Where'd you pull the 2019
I
Raptors
think Frank
from?
Vogel is a better coach than Nick Nurse. That's why.
Oh,
Okay, we're not doing. We're not. Yeah. We're
let's
okay.
talk
Yeah.
You didn't know that's where it was going?
I did.
No,
I really
I had
didn't.
no clue.
As soon as he said Raptors,
Siakam, Lowry, Van Vliet,
probably the
Powell,
same team.
Ibaka, OG, Marcus Gasol. Terrence Davis made all rookie that year too.
The best
He
player,
made it
though.
over
Not
RJ
either.
Barrett. It was a
Oh
crime.
yeah, I remember that.
Terrence Davis was supposed to be that like guy. I remember.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it's about this roster. They have 3 to 4 guys on this team. Oh, 5, because Shamit, Jesus Christ, that's confirmed on this team. So, and I think somebody else, if I'm not mistaken, but
Darius Bazley, I think they have his rights.
Frank Vogel's known to build elite defenses, but for him to build elite defenses, he needs the personnel, and I mean like the complete personnel. If you looked at the situations he's had in Indiana, perfect personnel. You had wing defenders, you had a pesky guard defender in George Hill, then you had the backbone. You had Roy Hibbert as a rim protector. With the Lakers, he had Rondo, Caruso, not Danny Green, pardon me, KCP.
Danny Green was on the squad?
Oh, he was, right? I knew I wasn't
was,
bugging.
yeah.
LeBron.
And then he had the backbone,
And
AD, Dwight,
JaVale, Marcus Gasol.
When he has the personnel, he builds a perfect defense. The problem with Phoenix is, are they going to have the personnel? We don't know. And that's the real big issue. And they're kind of.
I think the
Take me
good thing
back.
is that Devin Booker and KD is a good
That's a
start.
good team this year.
So what?
Did you say Kuzma? You didn't even mention Kuzma. Oh, did you?
Oh, I did. Was he hurt?
No, he played.
Nah, he was a great
He
defender.
was so good.
Yeah.
I think KD and Booker's a good start.
For defense? I know it's
KD's
not.
Phenomenal start.
KD's a great defender,
And Booker was really
He's
good
not a
defensively this
backpacking
playoffs.
defender, though.
but he's a great defender. And Devin Booker's a great
Just
defender.
leave it. Thank you.
Yeah, come on.
If you have 2 players of your 5 that are already great defenders,
Devin
that
Booker's
helps.
not a great defender.
Yes, he is.
He was really good in the
In
playoffs.
the playoffs.
Okay,
All right,
that's all
regular
I
season.
need.
In the regular season, he's not a great defender.
I don't
Yes,
care.
he was.
As
Why-
long as
why
he's
does he care?
great in the as long as he's in the playoffs, because he's
You're
doing
a big
he's doing
wait,
so
wait,
much
wait,
offensively.
wait,
Here he goes.
wait. Before you guys start yelling.
You're a Devin Booker hater.
No, before you guys start yelling, let me explain my point. Before you just start. In the regular season, their starting 5 is going to need to be great defensively, right?
No.
To
Why?
win games.
They
to
have Kevin
win.
Durant,
Oh.
Booker. They're
Yeah,
winning a
why
ton
does
of
that-
games.
why-
Kings
Listen,
defense
yes.
was dog shit. They were
Okay, maybe they
sure.
don't get the 1
Listen,
seed,
listen.
but
I mean,
For-
they have to get a high seed.
Yes.
they can still get top 4.
Your star players have to play defense for your others to lock in. That's just a fact.
Well, what's the point you're making though?
That they need perfect personnel. That's all I was
Well,
saying.
the only point I'm making is that Devin Booker and KD, if those are the first 2 out of your 5,
I said.
those
I don't
are
think
great
Devin Booker's a
defenders.
great defender. That's
in
all I
the
said.
playoffs, he was
He was
a
a
good
good
defender.
top 5 in defense.
This is the first time he's been locked
in
in as a great defender for one postseason.
Why can't he do it again?
last year.
I don't know.
He's
But
just
you're going off
growing.
one year.
Devin Booker has
But
been
this is the most recent year too.
So you're doing recency bias.
no, it's not. Listen, Devin Booker's been a good to great defender for the last 3 seasons.
He's been a good defender. That's what I said. You
This was
guys
the last
are arguing
two
about
seasons.
semantics.
Enough of this.
This was the best
Enough.
defense I've seen him play.
What did I do?
No, because you're getting critical about semantics. Relax.
No, all I said was a good defender, and they started yelling at me.
because
No
he's
one's
saying
yelling at
great.
you.
God
Don't
forbid.
get
You're,
hurt.
then you're.
And I said he was good.
In the playoffs,
So what's the point of this?
All I'm saying is that you have KD, who is a great
He's
defender.
not a slouch.
And then
Like,
you
you're
have
making it seem
Devin
like he's a
Booker.
scrub.
No, if that's really how you were treating it.
Then you have Devin
I'm
Booker, who is
bugging?
That
proven
just got me tight.
to take assignments.
Yo,
That just got me dumb
no,
tight.
no, bro, you're getting
That
me
just got
tight
dumb
now.
tight,
What's he
bro.
talking about?
No, that's what
That
I'm
just got me
saying.
dumb mad,
No,
bro.
Riv, you got
That
me
just blew
ticked.
my whole vibe, bro. That really just blew my whole
Riv,
vibe, bro.
stop acting like a child.
No,
You're acting like a
talking,
child.
Just stop talking to me. Stop talking to me. Just stop talking to me. That just blew my whole vibe, bro. Oh my god.
Riv, are you
That just
serious?
blew my whole vibe.
What did you say?
No, he's
I got
tight
no
because
clue.
I called him out for
The semantics.
him saying good when you argued great.
No, I disagree, but I didn't want to argue. Y'all started yelling at me. I didn't want to argue.
No one started yelling.
Y'all what did you
No,
do to
I
play?
only started
Stop
yelling
talking to
at
me.
you.
You keep talking. Stop talking to me. Stop talking.
Nah,
That
Ray.
just blew my. Stop talking to me. Stop. Just stop talking to me.
I offended him
I know.
because I told him to calm down with
No,
semantics.
just the whole conversation. All I said was he's a good defender.
No,
Y'all
you
started-
said that
stop talking
after
to
the
me. Just
fact.
Stop
Riv,
talking
stop
to me.
acting like a
No,
child with me and
no,
debate with me.
Get off my dick. Stop talking
Oh
to me.
my
Stop
God.
talking to me.
Listen,
I don't
if you
care
have
anymore.
if you have
I don't care
KD
anymore.
and Booker, I mean, they're not fucking slouches. You're not out there putting out like fucking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't
yeah,
have
yeah. Put
TJ
it-
McConnell out there. Like you have guys that could actually defend
That's a
and
good
have
two.
some size.
Okay, that's a good two. Yeah.
Um,
Devin Booker talked about his defense. He said,
Are you serious?
Stop talking to me, bro.
Yo, you gotta chill.
He said, I take a lot of pride in it. I always have. I had a reputation early in my career that I couldn't do it. That's what
He's a good defender for sure. I thought this
Well,
last play
okay,
was his
so
best play.
let's just say,
best defense.
to Riv's point, okay, this was in the playoffs in the first round. League leading 2.8 steals per game, 1.3 blocks per game. Opponents are shooting just 39.6% against him overall and 48.8% within 6 feet. He has defended more shots than anyone.
Who's this?
Devin Booker in the first round versus the Clippers.
Amazing.
So
He
he
was
was an
phenomenal.
elite defender.
Yeah, he was really fucking
All,
good.
all I'm saying is I think the two of them is a good building block for a good defense.
I agree.
I think so.
I agree.
I don't think
you need
it's
the
like,
rim protection.
It's not like having Garland and Donovan Mitchell. Like
Uh-huh.
it's KD and Booker.
yeah.
I think it's not going to be difficult to build a defense around them.
I agree. Yeah, I think I don't think Monty deserved to be fired. He felt kind of like a scapegoat. But I get it after back-to-back losses where you get blown out on your home court.
That's a fact.
Someone's got to answer that, especially when you just trade for KD. But I thought this was a really good hire. At first when I saw it, I was like, this doesn't feel right because the last thing you think about Vogel is this point season with the Lakers. But I don't think it was his fault. He was scapegoat.
Thanks,
He had
bro.
injuries.
Thanks.
I don't think you could really put it all on him. But I think with KD and Devin Booker, offensively, for the most part, you're going to be fine, right? And Kevin Young, who's staying on, he's the offensive mind. He's the creative mind. So he's going to be able to handle it offensively. I think that's a big, get for them, or at least retaining him, because being able to have your top assistant, a familiar face, someone they obviously have a relationship with, I think it is big for Phoenix. And offensively, they're going to be straight. KD and Booker just put so much pressure on the defense, have so much gravity individually that they're going to be able to find other teammates who are going to be open, or they're going to be able to get hot at any minute. So offensively, I don't think any of us have that many worries about the Suns. But defensively, in the regular season, they were a pretty good defensive team. I think they were 7th in defensive rating. But in the
And they traded
playoffs,
everyone.
it dropped down to 118 defensive rating, which was the 4th worst among all playoff teams and the worst among all teams that made it past the first round. So yeah, after trading Mikal Bridges and the surrounding pieces, their defense definitely
It's just
fell
Cam
off.
Johnson, man.
Their defense definitely fell
We
off.
act like
though.
it's 5 players.
I know, but Mikal was obviously a great defender for
Mikal
them
and Cam
too.
were
Really
good
Cam too,
defenders.
for
KD
sure.
cancels out both of them.
But
On
obviously, it
defense?
didn't show. They were not good defensive in
Just
the
as,
playoffs.
just as a player, he cancels out
Well,
both of them.
duh,
But they
I
were
mean,
not good
it's
I'm just saying, we
defenders.
acting like the Suns traded 5
No,
players.
they traded their defense. That's all we're
They
saying.
traded like 30 picks, but the players, yeah, Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges were really good defenders for them.
So I was doing some research, and Nikola Jokic versus Wilt Chamberlain, per 36, in the regular
per
season
36.
and the playoffs,
The good old per
Jokic
36.
has better stats. Jokic has a better PER than him, better true shooting percentage. I mean, Jokic, even the advanced numbers point to him being better.
Yeah,
Listen,
Advanced numbers and Nikola Jokic are best friends.
I'm gonna send you the thinking basketball thing, and I'm not calling Wilt. I'm not saying he's not great.
Well, you said he's number 7th all time.
I mean, if I was building a team, I would really easily pick Jokic to build around than Wilt Chamberlain.
Okay, I'm more like, I don't know, man. Moses Malone, great basketball player, unbelievable basketball player, no doubt about it. Better than Wilt? I don't know. Nikola Jokic. If you want to say he's better than Wilt, fine. I don't know. That's tough too. Who else do you have over him? Shaq, I'm fine with. I get it.
The rest, Kareem.
7.
I mean, I apologize for not having somebody that he played in an era with 8 teams and only won 2 championships.
Bad teammate too.
Yes, he was.
But again, the teams that he lost to repeatedly, nonstop, had 5 Hall of Famers.
That's because Bill Russell was locking him up.
But it was, it was Wilt Chamberlain and who?
If Wilt was
for majority, he did have Jerry West towards the end of his career. But then when the Boston Celtics were gone, that's when he finally got over the hump.
I'm not going to sit here and act like I can name you the second best players from teams in the 60s. I can't.
I understand.
But I'm pretty sure there were players that were next to Wilt that were okay. And there was an article written in 1966 that said that Wilt, him scoring hurts his team because his team offensively, before he got there, their efficiency was actually good. When Wilt was putting up these high scoring numbers, the team's offensive efficiencies were mediocre. And we're talking about a league with 8 teams. I'm saying, like, it was average. Like, at least if it's a league with 8 teams, I'm expecting Wilt to backpack offensively and for the team to be a great offensive team, but it wasn't. I can see counter arguments, but I just think that Wilt Chamberlain in an era where
changed multiple rules because of him.
In an era where there weren't a lot of teams, I'm expecting you to win more. And a lot of the times he didn't win, and his numbers dropped off from the regular season to the postseason.
The year that he won the championship, he averaged 15 points with a broken hand.
15 points playing 40-plus minutes a game, bro.
Yeah. He's insane for that. At 35 years old, oldest finals MVP.
Listen, I'm not going to knock it. I'm not going to knock it, but the year he won in Philadelphia, he was the finals MVP.
He wasn't.
And now I don't even remember.
That's a stand on his legacy?
I'm just saying, the stand on his legacy is he dropped off from the regular season to the postseason. That's the stain. And then he can't shoot free throws either. He was like a 30% free throw shooter.
Was he 30?
Yes.
I thought he was like 50.
No, he was horrible.
Talk about Wilt.
Yeah. I was looking at his numbers before. I thought it was around 50.
In the playoffs, at least, it was 30%. In the regular season, it's 51%. In the playoffs, it's 46%.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
There were some years where he shot like...
Okay.
Dog, he shot like 46%.
This is Wilt Chamberlain in the playoffs, okay, year to year. 33 points, 37 points, 35 points, 34 points, 29, 28, 21. That was the year that they won the championship. He averaged 21 points.
And 29, that's free throw.
No.
29 rebounds, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 29 rebounds. Awesome. 9 assists, though.
He's putting up 30
not
rebound
a teammate,
seasons.
Not a teammate, but in his first final run, he decided to pass the basketball, 9 assists. Again,
6.5.
I wasn't there.
Teamed or he was dog shit.
There we go. That's a good question. Let's see. Turnovers doesn't have it for me right here.
You know what's funny is that Wilt Chamberlain, even with those inflated numbers where he was playing 46 minutes a game and attempting 30 field goal attempts, for their career, not even talking about per 36.
Rebounds are common.
No,
for their career, Jokic averages more points per game in the playoffs than Wilt. Not even adjusting for per 36. I'm talking about just regular raw stats. He averages more in the playoffs than Wilt.
I mean, these last like 5 years he was in.
No, for sure, but they were making relatively deep runs. Let's say from 68 to 73. He played from 13 games, 18 games, 18 games, 12 games, 15 games, 17 games. And a lot of these were 13 points, 23 points, 18 points, 14 points.
His prime, though, is 32, 37, 35, 35, 29, 28. Then after that, he was like in his 30s. Shit.
And he was finals MVP at 35 with a broken wrist.
Jokic clears.
I like this. When did they add this?
Not crazy.
This little ring
Jokic
next to
clears.
it?
Yeah, no, it's been there a little bit.
Oh, I haven't peeped this.
Chamberlain is like Bigfoot. Not gonna prove it. Nothing to say. Not gonna prove it.
100 points didn't happen.
These stats is inflated as hell. It just didn't happen.
It's funny. It's a good comp.
But the scorekeepers were like inflating the hell out of his stats. Now, Adam Silver came out and said that we've uncovered a fair amount of additional information on Ja Morant. What's troublesome to me
we were talking about this.
About what Adam Silver said, the fact that the news on Ja Morant is going to interfere with the coverage of the NBA Finals worries me. I think Ja Morant is getting suspended for at least half the year. I think he's going to have a lengthy suspension, and I can't say it's not warranted. He's had a lot of different events happen. The post-game situation in Indiana was troubling enough. He has accusations that he beat up a teenager because of a pickup game at his house. He threatened a shoe salesman at the mall. He confronted a high school student. I mean, Ja Morant, I think there's a chance he's not playing for the majority of next season. and I think it's a good move.
Really?
I do.
Even though he hasn't, because the argument to play devil's advocate is Ja Morant has not committed a crime. Ja Morant has done nothing illegal. What he's done is broken. The NBA is a private organization. They have their own rules.
Correct.
So he's broken those rules. But what everyone else is going to say is he has not done anything illegal. Does that warrant such a lengthy suspension?
For sure it does. And my counter argument to that is maybe Ja Morant didn't do anything illegal. He's not committing any crimes, although as an adult confronting a teenager, I think that's committing a crime right there.
That's just stupid.
My counterpoint to that is I know that was like an argument JJ used, but private organizations have different rules. If I have a job and my job drug tests me and they don't want me to be on marijuana, the state, marijuana might be legalized in the state, but if my job still doesn't want me smoking and I smoke and break the rules, then I get punished. Even if it's not illegal, that's still a crime against your employer. And Ja Morant is not a independent worker. He is employed by the NBA, so he has to follow those rules. It's not just that he broke the NBA's code of conduct, but I also think that the NBA has a duty to punish a player when that said player has such a big influence over the audience. Ja Morant has a big influence. There's a lot of kids that love him and look up to him because of his basketball skills. And when you have someone like him flaunting guns, especially when the influence he has is on impoverished communities that already deal with gun violence at a high rate, it's not a good look for that influence. So I think you do need to punish Ja Morant to showcase not only to the league what you're willing to do to punish him, but to showcase to these communities that this type of behavior is not allowed. You know, we're already talking about gun violence being a big thing, especially in the city of Memphis. For Ja Morant to be doing this, I think it does warrant a real punishment, and I don't think he should just get off easy.
I think he got off easy the first time, and that's why he gets the lengthy punishment the second time, because Adam Silver, I feel like it's been reported, I don't know if Silver said it or whoever, but it felt like a slap on the wrist the first time, right? Suspended the 8-9 games. It seemed like the NBA wanted him back this season so he could be in the playoffs, so they were a competitive team. And the fact that Ja Morant wasn't able to recognize that I fucked up big and I'm getting a break here and goes and makes the same mistake, the NBA doesn't want to, even though Adam Silver is a players commissioner, right? I don't think he wants to look at being like a pushover, right? And the fact that Ja Morant is testing him for sure by doing the same exact thing 2 times in a row, I think a 40 to 50 game suspension is probably what he gets. The other stuff that goes with it, Adam Silver is obviously saying that he wants to have the attention on the NBA Finals. I think that's fair. He doesn't want sports media covering. It's not a good look if you're watching ESPN and you have NBA Finals Game 1 and the next segment is Ja Morant with a gun. That's the last thing the NBA wants. So I think that's why he's kind of pushing that off. But if it's as bad as he's seeming to be, I think half the season might just be the start.
I think Adam Silver handled it well. But this situation is weird because the Gilbert Arenas situation, he got suspended for 50 games. He laid out 4 guns on a plane and wrote on the note, choose one, to Javaris Crittenton. I don't think Ja did half of what Gilbert Arenas has done.
Different world we live in is the only thing I'll say.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, yes and no. I feel like Stern and Silver are 2 completely different commissioners, but I think what Ja did, I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong. You did mention it to play devil's advocate, like, he wasn't, wherever he was, he didn't technically do anything wrong, But at the same time, you mentioned it, he has a fan base. Kids look up to him. Kids look at him as his role model. He has a daughter also. So, he has to it's a job at the end of the day. You kind of have to play that role and play that role model idea. I know sometimes people don't want to do it, but that's what comes with the NBA. You are a big product. You're a product for the Memphis Grizzlies. So I understand their type of rules, but I think 50 games is a lot, man. It seemed the way he's handling it is probably going to be the season, 50 games, 60 games. It's going to be a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And the only person he could blame is himself. I mean, realistically, you already got off scot-free the first time. You come back in the playoffs after the loss to the Lakers. You admitted, you kind of took away from the attention of basketball. You admitted it was your fault. You're going to be better. All right, we gave you the benefit of the doubt. Then you go out and you on live again doing the same shit all over again. But this time, you very obviously waving the gun.
He unfollowed that guy.
Yeah, bumping. I don't even know what they was listening to.
Young boy, was it?
Yeah, so it's like, it's a tough situation because you, like, the definition of insanity is doing it over and over and over again. So
expecting a different result.
He might be insane. You know, he might legitimately be insane. But I hope Ja gets better. But it's looking like 50 games, man. I only bring up Gilbert Arenas because, like,
what was the situation?
Bro, they was arguing over gambling, and he pulled out 4 guns, and had a note on the gun saying choose one.
That's crazy.
I thought they were in the locker room.
It is crazy.
It says
he brought guns to the locker room too.
Yeah, he also did that. He's done a lot. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was a teammate.
Yeah.
And not
he told
to
him
mention,
to choose one.
Ja Morant had a tweet to just replying to somebody on Twitter where he was like, "It's free to see how hollows feel."
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
And he deleted it.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That's
I mean, how do you
like a
justify
regular
that?
person just like.
I feel like
random.
tweeting is like, but people tweet shit all the like crazy.
He
shit
had
all
like
time.
the blushing emoji too. That shit was nuts.
That was to a young child, I believe, too.
So Adam Silver did say that there's additional information that is now being given to him. I want to wait and see what that additional information.
Can't be good.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. But again, I'm not going to sit here and say it's justified half a season when I don't know what that additional is. What we can go off is what we already know, which Joel already laid out, which is already not good. Do I think that he should be suspended? Yes. Do I think half the season? No. I think you probably suspend him for the first maybe 20, 25 games. I think half a season is a bit too much. But that's as of right now, which when we don't have more information. I think Ja Morant just needs to understand that, yes, he's not only one of the ambassadors of the NBA, but also he's a part of Nike. He has shoe deals. That there's much more than just basketball that Ja Morant's name is attached to. And it's just being cognitive of the other stuff that's not just basketball. So it's an unfortunate situation for the fact that Ja Morant is one of the best players in the game. He's one of the most exciting players to watch, one of the most box office players there are. And for his name to talk about Ja Morant's name and not be about praising him because of how great he is at basketball, that's really the more unfortunate part of it all. I've been on this show already. I've called him an idiot because that's when you're acting like an idiot, sometimes it's firm to tell it to your face. Hey, you're being an idiot. Lock in. Sometimes you need a guy like that. And I'm glad that the first step that I saw when you told me that Ja Morant unfollowed that friend, that was step one for me. Hey, great job. Understand that there's some guys that you need to not have in your life. Excommunication is more than fine for growth. But I think half a season is a bit too much. If he's suspended for a full year, I'll be shocked. That would be crazy. But again, I don't know what this additional information is. But agreed, with the laundry list of things that has already happened prior, it's kind of, let me not say safe to assume, but you can assume it's nothing good.
Yeah, I don't think I wouldn't personally like suspend him half the season. If I'm in Adam Silver's brain thinking what he's thinking, that's what I think he'll go with.
I got you.
I think the NBA will be fine. I think
they'll find me fine without Ja.
I mean, for sure.
Like I think we'll have
Ron
enough.
Artest went into the stands and punched the fan. I mean, whether it was justified or not, I mean, it was a complete misunderstanding, but the NBA was fine after that too.
Steven Jackson also did that.
Facts.
And like I just think that there's a lot of up and coming superstars, and
What do you mean?
I hope that Ja Morant gets it up.
So what? You're ready for Ja to get out of the league?
What do you
I'm not
mean?
ready for him to get out the league, but I'm saying that I think the NBA is in a good spot that they don't need to cater to Ja Morant's needs because of his popularity, because there's a bunch of NBA stars ready to step up to that moment.
I'm not going to disagree with you in that sense, but I say that with the idea that
Is that funny?
You're sick, bro. Like,
What's sick
It's
about
just kind
it?
of wild to say.
it's
No,
like
it is wild.
you had to put in your little Memphis hate in to make
It's
this a
not
comment.
Memphis hate. I'm just being honest.
the only thing
Ja
that
is
comes
very
to mind
popular.
is
I'm saying
when
he is popular.
Tiger Woods went through his whole debacle with let me not say, because off the top of my mind, my facts aren't 100% sound, but when Tiger Woods went through whatever scandal he was going through, they were quick to take brands away from him, and this is the most decorated
Saw Kyrie having
golf,
a Kyrie.
of course, but I mean on an even more heightened scale.
Yeah.
No one brought more attention to golf than Tiger Woods, and things happened, and they still were able to strip that away from him. Ja Morant's a top 15 player in the NBA, but he's not LeBron James, he's not Steph Curry, he's not Giannis, he's not Jokic.
But I think Ja had like the most highlight clicks of the season.
He's
like,
box office.
I'm not saying he's not box office. What I'm saying is that I don't think the NBA should go softer on the punishment because they're like, we need Ja Morant's views.
They're not. They're
not
I think that they should give him the punishment they feel is warranted, and the popularity of the player should not come into account because they'll be fine. Slide in Zion in those spots. Slide in Anthony Edwards.
They tried. He didn't play.
Let's put more Denver primetime games out there.
Unless Ja Morant went Aaron Hernandez, bro, then I don't see something like this happening.
Are you talking about somebody murdering?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If this is there's additional information, unless he went to that extent, right now he's done nothing quote unquote illegal.
Additional information could be.
You just said slide in Minnesota games with Rudy Gobert.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Ant-Man's box office.
Yeah,
you mean Anthony Edwards?
Look who else is on the court, bro.
Anthony Edwards is him.
No, Ja's box office, bro.
I know he's box office.
Like that's a small market team.
You're missing my point.
No. I get your.
You're missing my point.
I caught the point.
No,
I caught the point.
You're missing the point.
I caught the point.
You're missing a point.
You're hating.
I'm not hating. I'm speaking facts.
How many games do you think he gets?
Ja? I'm praying it's like 30.
That's what I'm saying. 20, 25. I could.
Because if there's 50, Memphis is looking at that top 5 pick. Like,
why are you praying it's 30 though?
Because I want to see Ja on the court.
Why do we want? I don't want Ja suspended.
I don't either.
The game is better watching Ja Morant.
He has to get suspended.
He has to.
No,
I
yes,
agree.
sure.
But I don't want him to spend for 50. He ain't do nothing worth 50.
I'm not
putting your
hoping for a
bias in
suspension.
this.
Huh?
You're putting your bias in
All right,
this.
here.
No,
I'm holding him accountable for what he's doing.
Joel, I want you to be 100%
You're being
honest.
biased.
What did he really do that warrants 50 games?
He allegedly assaulted a teenager.
That's not
But
why
that's
he's
not
getting.
why
That's
he's
no. I know what
The
you're
laundry
doing.
list goes into it.
He
that's
flaunted,
not
the reason
he
was
flaunted
the
a gun in
Yes.
front of his 1 million followers on Instagram Live.
Wasn't
So
even his
stupid.
followers.
No, the first time it was.
The first time it was.
Second time,
Yes.
yeah.
First time was dumb.
Yeah, you're
First time
getting.
was dumb.
And even if the second time he didn't flaunt his gun directly at his followers, the fact that it got out to millions of people. So the visibility of what he's done has already reached millions of people.
And that warrants 50 games of suspension.
There's also accusations
What
of
did he actually do?
Indiana post game of their team bus getting red dot cited. What are we talking
That
about?
has nothing to do with why he's going to get
Again,
suspended.
this all
That was
happened
part of what
prior,
he
though.
did.
Yes, listen.
But this goes into
Does
suspension.
has Ja Morant had a history of issues? Correct.
Yeah.
Does all that not go into this suspension? Though?
I'm not saying he's out of the league. I'm saying that he
I'm
deserves a
asking you-
suspension.
it's not DeJounte.
But I'm asking you, what illegal thing did he do to
No.
warrant 50 games?
He broke the NBA's rules of conduct.
He hasn't done anything illegal against the law.
Correct.
He's just
But
done
that's what I'm
shit
saying.
to
I don't
break
think
the
50.
NBA
Like, and I'm not
rules.
saying he doesn't deserve a punishment. I just
Right.
think 50 games is
That's
a little
crazy.
strong.
It's crazy.
Like we've
Half a
seen another
season?
person get 50
Again,
games.
we have to wait for
doing
this-
something like real
Riv,
legit
I think
something.
we have to wait for what this additional
Yeah,
information
he's
is.
getting 50. He's getting 50. He's
Don't make me laugh.
He's 100% getting 50.
Arenas got 50 for the gun in the note card, right? Correct.
4 guns.
Okay.
Why does he have 4 guns on a team?
Because
playing?
they're like that back in the day. I don't know.
I'm not
Short game.
like that deserves a punishment. If I'm honest, that probably should have warranted a year-long
But
suspension.
that's my point. Like that's what I'm.
NBA
That's
was
what
But
I'm
I'm
getting
not.
at.
though,
I'm
bro.
not gonna go
World was
softer
different.
on a punishment because what happened like 15 years ago wasn't as big. Like the punishment wasn't as grand.
I get
Like
you.
I still think the punishment deserves the amount of time it deserves. You know what I'm saying? Like 15 years ago, that was that punishment.
That was 10 years ago.
10 years
Oh,
ago,
no.
that was that punishment. Well, that's not 10 years ago. That's like 15 years ago.
Oh,
The
sure.
red dot site wasn't that his
2023.
team though?
Oh yeah, I'm bugging.
Like
It
wasn't
was
that
his
his
people,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was his people at the Indiana Pacers team bus, but it was reported that Ja Morant was in a car.
That's a fact.
No, I know that.
What
But it
about the
wasn't
Stephen A. quote saying that in NBA circles they don't know if Ja Morant's going to be around here in 5 years?
Yeah, they're turning into a drama show.
They
They're
made it
literally
very
turning into a
dramatic.
drama
I mean, I
show.
think the
Some
reason
crazy shit.
that is bizarre, no doubt it's bizarre. I think the reason that was brought up is because Ja Morant lives in Memphis, Tennessee, and that's one of the worst homicide rates in the country right now.
I'm sure he's not living in a terrible area in Memphis.
He's
got $1 million
No, he's
home.
definitely not living in a
Yeah.
terrible area, but we got to understand, like, for example, you living in Inglewood Cliffs in Jersey isn't far from Inglewood.
And that case
You-
got shelved with the kid.
Like,
FYI.
there are rich neighborhoods
So,
around
didn't-
Patterson still. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
facts,
Like,
yeah.
like even though you're probably in a great neighborhood in Memphis, that's probably not farther than a 20-minute drive from where things are actually happening. And you're still very close to what's happening.
Tennessee, it's
You're just
pretty-
not in
it's
it.
probably
You're just
pretty
not in the heart
rural.
of it.
There's probably a lot of farms and shit in the way. What else?
I don't know, man. Oh, he's getting
Find
50. It's looking like that 50.
Well,
gonna
he's
hit.
definitely gonna get half the season.
No,
for
he
sure.
probably is, and Grizzlies should start scouting and looking at the next recruits for next year.
No, I don't think they'll be that. I mean, they've played good basketball without him already.
Dog.
Should trade Jaren Jackson to the Celtics.
Well, you gotta imagine they're not gonna have Dylan Brooks this year.
Oh, they're fucked.
And they're not
Jaren
that,
Jackson can take a leap.
No, but not that. But the
Step in his.
The film is out on the Grizzlies without John Morant. Like
They
teams have played them enough to know.
He's right. They win.
No, I'm saying, but this year's I think it's gonna be a little different. Like
I don't think they'll be a bottom 5 team in the league
in the West.
without Ja.
The West is tough.
It is.
I only say that with the fact of
18-2.
you're gonna have Adams back. Clark will probably.
Did you actually look at the opponents they played?
I know it was dog shit. But in the regular season, you're not playing a fucking. It's not the playoffs.
But you're hoping that happens again. They played like 10 of those teams were injured. Some of those players were sitting out. And then now the offense is being led by Jaren Jackson and Bane. That's tough.
And also,
they did it this season. They were really good though.
Play dog shit teams,
but they ate.
I agree.
All right.
And also, last thing I'll say in the situation, the accusations of him beating up a teenager, that is a crime. It's not proven, but you know what I'm saying, allegedly.
Paid him under.
I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and say he did it or he did. I don't know. I didn't. It's not.
Like all I'm saying is like he hasn't been charged with a crime, but we can't act like what he's doing is not.
He's teetering.
Crime worthy.
He's teetering.
Like, you're still receiving accusations, and you still have to deal with this stuff to prove your innocence.
I'm gonna wait for the additional information.
Anytime you have to prove your innocence, I think that you're probably not teetering on the line you should be.
Okay,
I don't know about that.
Take it easy.
You're
there.
literally innocent until proven guilty.
No, I know, but I'm saying anytime you have to prove your innocence, you're not teetering on the line that you should walk on.
That's not always true.
No, all right. What your statement is not completely.
Sometimes
wrong.
shit happens though.
What you're saying
get
is
falsely
fair.
accused.
There are times that things do happen, for sure.
He could have just, I don't know this.
But what I'm saying is that
what he's
him walking on that thin line is the reason
it's just not
led to
guess.
that.
Correct.
All I'm saying is that if he just is focusing on basketball and playing, none of this happens.
I mean, he was playing pickup, so he was technically focusing on basketball. And we've been at pickup. We've all played pickup basketball. We know how sometimes shit could get a little. One guy run his mouth, another guy run his mouth. Then they get a little chippy. They get up close. So
telling me NBA players are playing serious in pickup.
Have you watched Rico Hines run?
NBA players in the backyard.
You shouldn't be getting serious with the 17-year-old.
Well, I don't. Like I said, that part.
Yeah. But to be fair, I mean, at the moment, Ja could have been 20. You know what I mean? Like that age difference is not that drastic.
He probably didn't even know. He probably didn't even know bro was 17 for real.
That's facts. Yeah.
What he doing playing out here if he's 17? That's how I look at it. But yeah, Ja 50 games.
You defended John Moran like I'll be defending James Harden.
You would probably defend James Harden in this situation just like how
he's
I
never
defended
been
John
in a
Moran.
situation like this.
No, you're right. I'm just saying hypothetically. Right. I mean, Ja ain't. I love Ja, but Ja wrong is wrong. You know.
It's not like he's saying he shouldn't be suspended at all. I'm even saying that he's gonna get a suspension. It's understood. But half the season.
Hard to me for being hurt. One of my favorite players gonna miss 50 games. I can't watch him.
Facts.
Now I gotta watch 2022 highlights.
You watch Steph Curry, you're fine.
So you have 11, maybe 13, 14 teams after the draft.
Yeah,
so.
but
you have 11 teams.
Ja's top 3 highlights, man. His highlight tapes.
Tapes OD.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we're not talking about him being suspended for his career. I mean, I think we could live without 50 games.
You just got to mature.
The Las Vegas Raiders. On to the football portion of the show.
Here we go.
What time are we right now?
2 hours, 37 minutes.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Let's do it.
The Raiders signed Jimmy Garoppolo to a 3-year contract, and it turns out in his contract there was a waiver that needed to be signed because he didn't pass the team's physical. And what that means is that if the foot surgery he underwent in March, if it's not fully healthy and he continues to not pass his physical, the Raiders can cut him and don't owe him that signing bonus money or the length of the contract anymore. So a lot of people have been panicking because they're like, maybe there's a possibility Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't play next year for the Raiders. And obviously that'll be a big loss because you brought him in. You let Jarrett Stidham walk because you brought in Jimmy Garoppolo and they don't have an assurance at quarterback. I think things will be fine, though. Josh McDaniels said that they've gotten news from good people that he's going to be fine. And I think this is just protection from the team, just in case his foot is worse than what they think. They don't have to pay him long term.
Yeah, once he signed, there was like a few days, maybe even a week, where it was broke that he signed, but there was like no press conference and nothing official from the Raiders, and everyone was kind of like sitting around wondering what was happening. And it was because of this clause. I don't really remember our first reaction to when Jimmy G got signed. This is months ago at this point.
We giggled.
Yeah, but the Raiders were in a very weird situation where Derek Carr, who's been there for a decade, seemed like he wanted to move on, or really the Raiders wanted to move on. I don't think Derek Carr actually ever wanted out of Vegas. It was more so the Raiders wanted to go in a new direction. And they had a top 10 pick, 7th overall this year. It would have made so much more sense if the Raiders wanted to go with a rookie or someone, maybe a bit more Super Bowl worthy of a quarterback, because they're in this weird position where they got worse, in my opinion, from Derek Carr to Jimmy G. And it's not like you could go from a rookie, right? Say they drafted Anthony Richardson or even Will Levis, right? Where you could say, you know what? They got worse this year at quarterback, but the upside's there. You took a number 7 overall pick, first round. He has this upside. But Jimmy G, this signing, more than less just guarantees they're going to be mid or below average team, right? This Raiders, let alone Jimmy G's issues himself with injuries, coming up short in the playoffs, overall just being an average quarterback. He's in a conference with probably the bottom 5 quarterbacks, right? Like him, Tannehill, Richardson's probably going to be in there because he's a rookie, Stroud, but he's within the bottom 5 quarterbacks in this conference. I think he's the worst quarterback in his own division. So this is a weird situation where the Raiders are going to be paying a quarterback, and
Russ?
They're going to be bad.
I knew you were going to say some disrespect.
He is worse than Russ. He is worse than Russ.
No, Jimmy Garoppolo is the worst quarterback in the AFC.
Yeah,
the way he looked last year, I don't know.
He's pretty terrible.
I knew it.
And
I saw you sit up, and I was like, all right.
Jimmy looked better.
He's not better than nobody in the AFC East or the West.
Does Jimmy look better than Russ?
Or the North or the South.
The Raiders should have been rebuilding and either taking a rookie or signing someone cheap on a 1-year deal, because in the draft, Tyree Wilson at 7 improved the edge rush. They were bottom 5 in sacks last year. Michael Mayer in the second round, who was a top tight end, to get another pass catcher. Outside of that, though, like I like what they did in the draft. It never made sense to me to sign Jimmy Garoppolo when I don't think anybody thinks this is a Super Bowl caliber team or even close to it. I mean, the defense is still really bad outside of Max Crosby. There's no one you look at in that secondary linebacking core outside of Max Crosby. They're like, this is a guy that could be an all-pro, top 10 guy at his position. They don't have any of that. The offensive line, they have a solid tackle in Colton Miller. But outside of that, it could use some work. Josh Jacobs just had a great year, to be fair, and their pass catchers are decent. But you still have to compare it to the rest of the conference, and this Raiders team is not good.
Jimmy Garoppolo is not good. And the issue here becomes,
ironic.
If you're the, yeah, no, it is ironic because we can't beat them either.
Oh, really?
We can't beat the Raiders either.
They have your number?
Oh, for sure. We're just,
oh shit.
Post 2016, I'm in hell. But this team is going to be in contention for a top 5 pick. I genuinely just believe that this team. One thing I want to say, actually, before I get into that, you mentioned it. You didn't get increasingly better. I don't think that maybe they did. Of course, the whole purpose is to win a championship. But I don't think, or any of us thought, that it was possible to improve from Derek Carr for their situation. I guess the possibility of getting Rodgers was there for a little bit, but he never really vocalized that intention of playing in Vegas. His only words vocally was that he wanted to play for the Jets, and that was it. So really, you had what other option? Either keep Derek Carr, but you kind of did yourself in at the end of the season by sitting him, starting Jarrett Stidham. You screwed yourself over in that situation. A guy who given you nothing but loyalty, one of the better leaders there are at the quarterback position. You let him walk away, let him go to the Saints. I think that the way that I saw was this team was trying to play for the future, and maybe they're trying to contend for a guy like Caleb Williams in this up and coming draft and being at a potential number 1. I do think there's worse teams than the Raiders, but this team is not good. Right now, their projection of wins is 7.5. Smash the under. Smash
7.5 seems so high.
Yeah, no, for sure.
That's crazy.
The
they'll
defensive,
get 2 against you guys.
That's right.
I'm sorry. I'll stop.
This is the year.
The defensive line for the Raiders is their strength for sure. They put together a good offensive line showing last year, surprisingly enough. Josh Jacobs is obviously a great running back. Tay is still, at worst, top 2 receivers in the National Football League. There's things to compliment this team about. But overall, coaching's in question. Josh McDaniels has been horrendous as a head coach thus far. One positive of his is that his run game is usually very good wherever he goes. He showed it, put it on full display last year, made Josh Jacobs, I believe he was the leading rusher, correct? Yeah. But without a quarterback, you can't do anything. Broncos are a definition of that. If you don't have a quarterback, no good quarterback play, you can't win anything. Doesn't matter how good your defense is. If your quarterback is not up to standards or being a game manager, a solid game manager, which to Jimmy G's credit, he is, but is he going to be on the field? Is he going to be on the team? So that's where my questions stem from. I wasn't upset with the Jimmy G signing. You needed to fill a void. You needed desperately. It's either that or you put, exactly, or you put in a third stringer and you really are horrendous.
And this goes to my point. Sorry for cutting you
Oh,
off.
good, man. I was pretty much done.
This one goes to my point. What is rookie Aiden O'Connell? Would have put him in.
Oh, yeah.
You know why I would put him in? Because Caleb Williams is coming. And the fact that he's coming and the AFC is probably the best it's looked in a while. You have maybe 10 playoff teams or 10 teams who are going to be gunning for the playoffs. You want to be the worst team in the league. And they have a strong chance with Aiden O'Connell. Now, the beauty of it is Jimmy G is comfortable in the McDaniel system, so I guess that's why the pairing does work. In 5 full seasons he spent as a starter in San Fran, he played 15 games twice. In the other 3 seasons, he averaged 6 games. He's been hurt every other year. He's been injury prone. It always his foot. It could be a year with the Niners where he's playing good. They look good. We're talking about the Niners like they're great. Then he goes down with an injury, a foot injury. He's out for the season. Or he's out for a long time. Even with the Packers, even with the Patriots, he had some injuries too.
That's a fact.
He's been hurt pretty much. He's always been, for the most part, he was a good QB, but he was hurt. Now you're getting a guy who's kind of like, yeah, he's all right, but the direction of this team is just truly in an odd place, and they've been declining for about the last 2-3 seasons now. And now with Caleb Williams coming in, you kind of want to be the worst team with Jimmy G. There's a chance you could be, you could not be. He may be healthy and sneak some wins in, and then you'd be frustrated because now you can't get another quarterback. So this move is always weird to me, but I guess the pairing makes sense with Josh McDaniels and Jimmy G. And like you mentioned, they have Tay, they have Josh Jacobs. So they have 2 things to be cool about on the offense.
Renfro isn't bad either.
Max Crosby on the defensive side is great. Jacoby Myers is cool.
Jacoby.
I think he had like 800, 900 yards last year, so he's cool. They got some things to look cool for, but
Michael Mayer.
is he? Yes. Yeah. So they'll be okay. But like the division has the Broncos, the Chargers. No, you guys are good. I just troll you a lot. And the Chiefs. Like you can't expect to win with Jimmy G as your quarterback. Even if you go to the AFC South and you're looking at the Jaguars and Tennessee, you might not win that division. So it's like there's no division in the NFL that you can win or even probably be second in. So the Raiders are just dog shit, bro.
I think this is them just doubling down because last year they made the push. They got Chandler Jones. They traded the first for
It was a
Tay.
good try.
Yeah, so I think that was almost ownership or maybe the front office saying, we were a year away from thinking we could really make a run at this. Let's not blow it up right away, especially with McDaniels in the second year. Because, I mean, there's a chance, depending on what ownership thinks, if they do have the worst record or a bottom 5 or top 5 pick next year, they might want to get a new coach with their new quarterback. So it also might be McDaniels trying to save his own job, going to front office saying, hey, get me a guy who's worked in my system. Let's see what we can do.
Tay looks extremely unhappy there.
Yeah.
So
they said they figured shit out. But
sure. Yeah.
I mean, I think if the Raiders are the worst team in the league, it's not going to be on purpose.
No.
I think that McDaniels wants to win. And the fact that
he's lost too much. As a head
you
coach.
pushed out a franchise legend in Derek Carr because you wanted to win. You wanted to prove that you could be better.
He is a franchise legend.
For the Raiders, that's a fact.
Yeah, it just sounds crazy. Like
That doesn't sound crazy.
no, it's just Derek Carr being a franchise. It's crazy.
I mean, Derek Carr is one of the most stable quarterbacks in the league.
It's so funny. It's
just like he's
it's like hearing
the 12th best
Pascal
quarterback.
Siakam, franchise legend. You're like,
No, that's like hearing like
Listen, Tua is
Carmelo
on his
Anthony,
way.
Knicks franchise legend.
I don't think I'd laugh at that.
That isn't.
Or I would say Derrick Rose, Bulls franchise legend.
MVP. Wouldn't laugh at that either.
No.
You're losing me.
Derek Carr is like
Can you
never
come up with a good one?
He said he had 1 year where he was close to
hell?
MVP conversation.
Carmelo.
That's
Derrick
like,
Rose.
That's like Phillip
from
Rivers, Chargers franchise legend.
Ooh, that's not a good one. Actually,
I wouldn't say that's a good one either.
Why is it not?
That's more comparable though.
That
than
is more
Derrick Rose.
Yeah. No, I
Derrick
agree.
Rose was
I
very
agree.
disrespectful. I didn't like that at all.
How's it disrespectful?
He's from, first of all, he's from Chicago. That's number
The
one.
thing is, I
Then
think
he was the
Phillip
number one
Rivers
pick.
is the
and he had an
Chargers
MVP season.
and the
And
You
he
know
won
that.
MVP.
You know that Derek Carr when
Did he win the
when he got
MVP?
drafted by Oakland, he was from there.
Yeah, but did he win
He's
MVP?
from Fresno State.
Did he win MVP though?
He didn't win MVP, but he led them to the playoffs, and they
Well,
was
I
giving
mean,
him.
He went to the
Stable
playoffs one
quarterback
time
years.
in like 12 years.
And then he get hurt.
I
the
don't.
team was never great.
I don't
It's not Derek
understand.
Carr's fault.
Look at the Raiders before Carr got there.
No,
He
it's a
at least
joke.
brought them
It
stability.
was a joke.
Ken Stabler
I mean, before that was
Jim
fucking
Plunkett.
Jamarcus
I mean, all
Russell.
I'm saying is that he's a franchise legend.
Rich
That's
Gannon.
who he is.
Yeah, it was just a little
He is.
giggle. That's all.
He definitely. He
There's
probably
no
has the
giggle
records
about
for
it.
damn near all the
That's not
quarterbacks.
That's not something to giggle about.
But okay, I don't mean to be rude. You said they brought you. He brought franchise stability. What do you mean by that? Because I'm
At
looking
the
at
quarterback position.
Because I'm looking at the playoffs and it's a lot of empty blanks with him
There's
and without
nothing.
him.
That's because he's always had a bottom 20 defense every year he's been there.
But that's why I asked you. What do you
I
mean
will
by
At the
say-
quarterback position.
The year that he was amazing, it was
Got injured.
unfortunate
2016.
he got hurt.
Right.
But then, not this past season, the year before that,
2021.
that team was very good.
They made the playoffs.
Derek Carr is number 1 in passing yards, in passing
Who's number two?
touchdowns.
Ken Stabler.
Ken Stabler. He has like damn near double too.
We talking
I
about
don't know
Derek
who that
Carr
is.
being number 1 in everything.
But I mean, Ken
It's-
Stabler played in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, so.
He's a franchise.
So they haven't
it's
had.
not to laugh
So they
about.
don't even have 3 QBs that are good.
You said Phillip Rivers though, and that's kind of rude to Phillip.
What did Phillip Rivers win?
It doesn't
Derek
nothing,
Carr
but
win.
Phillip Rivers
Nothing.
also.
So then what the hell?
Yeah,
That's what. But I'm saying
But
Phillip
Phillip
Rivers
is
is a franchise
easily the
legend.
Chargers' best quarterback.
Yes. Well, no, Herbert's better.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's a fact.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, all I'm saying is that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't have to.
The comments are gonna hate that one.
Yeah.
You don't
It's the
have
truth.
to do an enormous amount of winning for you to be a franchise legend.
No, it just was odd to hear Derek Carr be a franchise legend. That's all.
Well, stop, man. You just disrespected.
It's just a
no-
pretty
I'll
bad
be honest, no
organization
respect
the
on
last
this
20
side.
years.
You had to make the playoffs last year, so there's obviously some respect.
You had to make the playoffs 2 years before that. Come on, let's not do this. Let's
You
not.
made
Let's,
the playoffs.
no. I said 2 years before that. Let's not play this game. Come on.
But I'm saying, okay, but I'm not saying I don't respect him. I respect him. I respect him as a quarterback, as a man.
I did say.
And you say you disrespect him.
No, I said you said you said you're gonna disrespect Wilt, but when I disrespect Derek Carr,
He's
I'm
got a
bugging.
point.
Like,
He's got
what
a
are we-
point.
I never said Will wasn't a legend.
Oh,
Well, I'm not saying Derek Carr's
You
a
said
legend.
Derek Carr's not a franchise legend. You
No,
was
I
laughing.
didn't.
You was
say-
giggling.
I did giggle.
It's not a funny
Well,
statement.
I
It's
did
a
too.
fact.
I did too.
Giggled
I
too.
did
He
too.
giggled with me.
It's facts, but it's just funny.
It is. It's 100% funny. Jokes over facts.
He had.
Always.
He has one playoff appearance. He went to the
Two.
playoffs twice, but he didn't play
He
in the
didn't-
first one.
Connor Cook played. My
Yeah.
goal.
Is Curtis Martin a Jets franchise legend?
Sure.
It's not
It's
a
also
running
a
back.
running back.
What the hell?
He's also a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Yeah, respect him.
I mean,
Derek Carr's
Derek-
not a Hall of Famer.
He won't
Derek
be
Carr
either.
means more to,
I mean,
to
he'll
the
be in the
Raiders than
Oakland
Curtis Martin
Raiders.
to the Jets, bro.
That's not saying much.
That's a
I don't-
scolder.
I don't think so.
Yes, he does.
Curtis Martin's a better running back than
the
Derek Carr is
Raiders
a quarterback.
franchise stinks.
Agreed.
Like, Curtis Martin's literally a Hall of Famer
He has
Literally
14.
Hall of Famer.
What does Curtis Martin rank all time?
in terms of running
Running
backs.
backs.
There's so many good ones.
Yeah.
Derek Carr isn't ranked top 10
But
quarterback
yeah,
though.
Derek Carr.
Maybe
Probably
not-
top 25 for sure.
That's a lot. That's a
I don't know.
backdrop.
5.
I don't
Being
know.
disrespectful.
Shit, there's like 12 guys right now.
Is he better than
12 is
Russell
nice.
Wilson? No. Is he? I'm naming
Like
better than Matthew
borderline
Stafford? No. Matt Ryan? No.
Is he better?
Those are borderlines.
Is he better than Randy Cunningham?
No, Randall Cunningham.
Probably no. Michael Vick?
I'll give
no.
you top 45.
Derek Carr is better than Michael Vick.
Oh
bro.
no, you lost me.
Yes,
Prime
he
Michael
is.
Vick. Prime Michael
Cam
Vick is
Newton.
different.
Vince Young.
Cam Newton or Derek Carr?
Cam.
I'm taking the Carr's longevity 100%.
I'm gonna throw
Cam in
up.
his prime.
I'm going to
Donovan
vomit.
McNabb or Derek Carr?
McNabb.
Picking Carr.
I'd see where we're going with this list. All right, I'm not doing this shit anymore. Yeah, he's just gonna pick
Let's
guys.
see. Cunningham.
Donovan
Vick,
McNabb had Andy
McNabb.
Reid.
So, I'm sorry, yeah, Oakland couldn't get Andy Reid.
And Patrick Mahomes has Andy Reid. Are we tarnishing his legacy? Absolutely not.
Spit.
McNabb didn't. He was never an All-Pro.
What the? So he made the Super Bowl.
Derek Carr was an All-Pro. Never.
God, this guy said
Never.
25.
He was
he
a Pro
don't-
Bowler 3 times. Oh, was he?
All right, here we go. I can name a lot.
He's
All right.
definitely a franchise legend, though.
All right.
That's what we're talking about.
But we didn't say you were wrong.
Is Derek Carr
You
top
giggled.
25? The answer is no. Tom Brady, Dan Marino, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, John Elway, Johnny Unitas, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Roger Staubach, Brett Favre, Steve Young, Otto Graham. I won't say Terry Bradshaw. He's not better. I'd probably take Derek Carr. Bart Starr. I don't know. Jim Kelly, Warren Moon, Ben Roethlisberger, Dan Fouts, Sammy Baugh, Troy Aikman, Kurt Warner, Eli Manning, probably. Phillip Rivers, yeah. Steve McNair, probably would take him also. Donovan
Gotten to
McNabb,
this generation.
Russell
Mahomes,
Wilson,
Josh Allen,
Ken
Burrow,
Anderson,
Lamar,
Matt Ryan.
Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, for sure.
He's cooked.
Yeah.
He might not get to top 35.
Top 40 you got.
Cam Newton,
maybe top
easy.
30, maybe.
He might be top 38.
He's got the counting stats, like longevity stats, like 35,000 passing
You're
yards
so
and shit.
upset. All
But
we
like
did was giggle.
Derek Carr's prime was
All
like
he did was giggle,
never,
bro.
never
You
great.
took the giggle in his disrespect.
You giggled.
He
I
giggled.
giggled. I
right
giggled
with
I
too.
you.
didn't.
Let's stop acting like that. You can't be a franchise legend. Why you
No, you said
disrespecting
top
Derek?
25. That's you lost me.
All you did was prove to me that there's a ton of great quarterbacks.
I know.
We
I
know.
That doesn't help your top 25
Derek
argument.
Carr's still a great quarterback, though. He's a
Yes.
great quarterback historically. He will be remembered as a great quarterback historically.
I don't know.
Was he ever top 5 in his prime? No.
There was a season
There
was
one
a season.
singular season.
in his prime.
One
was
singular
an MVP
season.
But
candidate.
he's been consistently top 10, though.
Has he?
It's been closer to 10 than 5 every year.
Until the last, I think,
Easy.
Except 1 year.
3-4 years.
last 3
Literally 1
seasons,
year.
he's fallen
Maybe
out a
2.
bit, but he's close to the top 10. But he's definitely been consistently top 10 for sure.
Derek Carr's good.
He's good.
He's a Raider legend.
That's what I said.
Yes, for
and you was
sure.
trying to laugh.
I know, but it's funny. But I
No,
agree
it's
with
not
you.
funny.
I agree with you.
Because you're lacking respect when you laugh.
The word legend, bro. We're talking about legend.
You're wilding.
He's number 1 in passing yards and touchdown. How much more legendary can you get to that?
I agree. Listen, he's right.
Wait, hold on.
But it's understandable
Bro,
to laugh.
Ryan Fitzpatrick had
he's
the
not
best
laughing
single
at Derek
season
Carr.
record.
He's laughing at the
Ryan
Raiders.
Fitzpatrick had the best
Are you
single
guys
season
agreeing?
in
He
Jets
dropped
history.
off the
I'm
very
laughing at
next
that.
I
year.
understand, but it just goes to show if you have bad quarterback play, it doesn't
All
take a
right.
ton to be a legend for a franchise.
Joel.
It wasn't bad quarterback play, though.
Joel.
No.
Can I just
Yes.
name the quarterbacks of the Raiders' lifetime? Derek Carr,
There's guys
Ken
that
Stabler,
Bro, I know they're not good.
Rich Gannon, Jim Plunkett, Mark Wilson, Tom Flores.
some of these guys won.
Hey, Carson
though.
Palmer was here for a little bit.
I think Carson Palmer's better than Derek Carr,
not with the
probably.
No,
Raiders.
he's not.
Oh, no, not with the Raiders. I'm saying maybe
Bro,
all
this
time.
list fucking stinks. Jason Campbell, are we serious?
Campbell. Campbell.
Derek Carr's
Terrell Pryor?
Derek Carr's 25th all-time in passer rating.
Terrell Pryor is 19 on this list.
You're making me roll my eyes harder, bro. Come
Bruce
on.
Grodkowski.
Terrell Pryor is 19 on the yards list for the Raiders.
He's a receiver.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're dog shit. This is giggable. I'm Dante Culpepper.
Giggable. I like that.
Brian Marcus Allen is 40.
I'm not saying that the Raiders had great quarterback play, but I'm saying Derek Carr brought them stability at that position.
Bro, only 4 quarterbacks in the Raiders' history have 100 plus TDs.
It's a team game, man.
What are you saying to
And
me?
the Raiders aren't a good team. They're a horrible
No,
ran
yeah, that's
organization.
why we laugh, though, you know? Because when you think of, like, legends of a franchise, you think of Tom Brady.
Yeah,
you
facts.
think of Mahomes. You think of Peyton. You said Derek Carr. That's laughable. That's legit laughable.
Dude, it was okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's-
Pat
it's okay
Mahomes
to
is
laugh.
an NFL legend.
and he's also a franchise legend.
Yeah, for sure.
Peyton Manning, double franchise legend and NFL
Is
legend.
Donovan
Daddy.
McNabb an Eagles franchise legend?
Probably. If you laughed, I wouldn't be mad at you. I'll be honest.
I wouldn't laugh because what he did was good.
Well, he
great
went to the
when
Super
did.
Bowl. Derek Carr's never done that.
But McNabb's also
He didn't
been
win a playoff game.
he's been great. He was a great quarterback.
He's also won playoff games. Derek Carr's never done that. And I'm not even trying to compare the two, but it's a laughable. I know you like Derek Carr. You're a Derek Carr guy. I get it. But listen, like Matt Ryan, franchise legend, Super Bowl MVP, you know.
Is Matthew Stafford a Lions franchise legend?
Yeah.
Probably, and that's laughable.
He didn't win a playoff game.
And
for
I
them.
would probably laugh
That's
at that.
not laughable.
No,
I don't
it's-
think that's laughable.
No, but
But
if
you
you
think-
would have said it, I would have.
All right. I'm
We're
just
laughing
gonna
at the
be
franchise more than
I'm
the
gonna be the
player.
executive here. Move on. We'll live. You shouldn't have laughed.
I'm going to laugh again. It's the franchise.
Bad
Like
on
Derek Carr.
you.
It's the
Legend Derek
franchise.
Carr.
Yeah, it's
Move
the
on.
franchise.
I got him with the Stafford one. I got him.
You did.
I got him.
He kind of did. That was a good. No,
It
that
was.
was a good
It probably
comeback.
should have started with
See,
that
that's
one.
the best one.
But I said
Probably
I would laugh,
started
though.
with
You
that.
named a bunch of bad ones. That's on you.
I try
But you hit a
to
home run right there.
compare it to basketball to
You folded.
I try to do something with the Bulls.
But I laughed at Detroit. I would laugh at Detroit.
I wouldn't, because I think I respect Stafford more than I respect.
You
He
him.
got the
laughed
ring
at
in LA, so
Carr.
you
You
think
didn't
of him
laugh
as
at the
legend.
Raiders.
See, that's the issue.
That's what you're
That's
saying.
the issue.
No, we laughed at the Raiders.
We laughed at the. We're not laughing at Derek Carr.
Derek Carr's
Because
a good
that's
You're
what
gonna
I'm trying to
see.
tell
You're
you.
gonna see how
didn't
bad the
take
Raiders
it.
will be this year without Carr.
They're
baby.
Well, they were
suck.
bad last year.
They had the 7th pick last year.
And listen, to respect Derek Carr, because there's so much lack of respect here at this table from you
sure.
two with Derek Carr.
Oh, here we go. Gonna talk about the Saints.
Listen, the Saints.
Okay.
What a great segue.
I was looking.
So excited.
I was looking at their odds.
You want to
to-
do their schedule?
I will. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was looking at their odds to win the NFC South. They're at plus 135. They're favorites to win the division. I'm not gonna lie. When they first made all their moves and in the midst of the offseason missed, I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about the Saints. But I feel very good about them right now. I do. And I think what everybody thought they were going to be last year, this year is what they're actually going to be.
You're off Carolina?
I think Carolina finishes third in division. I think this division is between the Falcons and the Saints.
Facts. I forgot.
1 and 2.
That's your squad, the Falcons.
The Falcons, this is what is bothering me right now. I look at the coaches in the NFC South. I think Arthur Smith is the best.
Agreed.
Frank Reich is 2.
Okay.
Dennis Allen, Todd Bowles, it doesn't really matter. I don't care about the order. But what's going to separate the coaching discrepancy is the quarterback play.
Mhm.
Desmond Ridder,
Mid.
I think, will be okay. I think it's going to be an answered prayer if he's as good as Derek Carr. I look at Bryce Young. I think he'll be solid his rookie season.
I agree.
I don't know if he'll be anything special. I think he'll just be solid. And the Panthers have more holes on their roster than the Saints. I just think that this is Derek Carr's first opportunity where he's going to have a great defense. The Saints in the last 4 seasons have been top 10 in EPA per play on defense. They had a top 10 defense last year. They were ranked 9th in the second half of the season. They really turned it up, and they were a top 5 unit in football. They made some additions, Derek Carr, Jamal Williams, who we know Jamal Williams brings a passion. Intangibles to the locker room. And just a quarterback play. I know Andy Dalton last year wasn't horrible statistically. I just think Derek Carr brings leadership. He brings a poise in fourth quarters. He's just a better quarterback than Andy Dalton.
For sure.
And I think Derek Carr finally having his first great defense, he doesn't have to press in situations like he usually did with the Raiders. He can be more careful with the football. He's still going to make big-time plays, but I think the offense will be just good enough for the defense to keep them in games and ultimately win football games. All offseason long, I've been kind of teetering back and forth. I mean, I don't know how I feel about the Saints. I don't know if I feel good about them. But you know what? I'm going to bet on Derek Carr being in his first good real situation in a long time. And I'm going to bet on that to win one of the weakest divisions in football. So I feel confident about the Saints. And I think I would legitimately be shocked if the Saints didn't win 10-plus games next year.
Okay. You want to run through their schedule?
Let's run through it.
Okay.
Are you going to keep track too?
Fuck no.
I'll keep track.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I got it.
Week 1, they open up at home versus the Titans.
That's a win.
1-0.
I think so.
Week 2 at Carolina.
That's a win.
2-0.
Week 3 at Green Bay. Jordan Love.
The reason I'm going to win here is because I think the Saints secondary matches up well with the Packers receivers. I'm going to go win here too.
3-0.
Week 4 at home versus Tampa Bay.
That's a win.
Week 5 at New England.
That's a loss.
Week 6 at Houston.
That's a win.
Week 7 home versus Jacksonville.
That's a loss.
Week 8 at the Colts.
That's a toss-up.
I agree.
That's a toss-up. I'm going to go with a win, though.
Okay.
A lot of these 50-50 games have been wins so far.
No, I gotcha.
Week 9 is home.
Colts is tough. Green Bay's tough.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
Week 9 is home versus the Bears.
Respect us.
Win.
7-2.
Week 10 at Minnesota.
That's a loss.
They have a bye week 11. Week 12 at Atlanta.
At Atlanta, I'm going loss here.
Okay.
7-4.
Week 13 home against the Lions.
I'll go with a loss here.
Week 14 home against Carolina.
I think they sweep Carolina. That's a win.
8-5.
Okay. Week 15 home against the Giants.
That's a win.
9-5.
Last time Giants went into New Orleans, though, magic happened.
They won.
Week 16 at the Rams.
That's a win.
10-5.
Week 17 at the Bucks.
That's a win. They sweep the Bucks.
11-5.
And week 18 is home against Atlanta.
12 wins.
You think they get? You think Atlanta splits, or you think they sweep?
No, he
I think they beat Atlanta.
He gave
They split,
Atlanta a W already.
Okay, so it's
I mean, I think I wouldn't be shocked if Chicago or Green Bay won. Carolina could definitely split with them.
The Giants could go either way.
But I do think the Saints'
Detroit.
floor is 10 wins. I think their schedule is very easy.
They're at 12. It's not that bad.
They won
They
9
have an easy
last
schedule.
year.
It's not that bad.
8?
And when I look at the NFC, of course we got the Niners, Eagles, and Cowboys. That fourth team that I was putting there was usually Seattle. I look at the Saints in Seattle, and I kind of think maybe I'll give the Saints a little bit of an edge.
If I'm a year early on the Kings and I'm a year early on the Saints, I'm going to be fucking fuming.
You think Seattle's better?
Than the Saints?
Excuse me, you think Saints are better?
Than Seattle?
Yeah.
What
It's
changed?
definitely a toss-up.
I think I go Seattle. I won't say comfortably because
It's
the
close.
defense of the
if
Saints
Seattle's
is really
rush
good.
defense could lock in, they
Facts.
could be better because I think they have better weapons. I think
Easy.
They have better weapons, but the Saints, if we get a healthy MT, I know that's just a
just
question
said
mark.
let's
It's up
be
in the air.
honest.
If we,
I know we was insane. I
But-
think he's saying like we as in
But even
viewers.
still,
Saints.
Michael Thomas and Olave
Yeah,
versus
boys.
DK Lockett and JSN,
we got him.
Thomas Olave is good, and then they have
We got
Kamara.
who's
TBD.
might get suspended.
Is he still with Tia Cooper?
I'm not sure.
That's all that moves me.
I like Rashid Shaheed a lot.
He had a
He is
few
good.
games.
He's
Yeah.
good. Hey, you were sleeping.
Let's see him do something. Like he had like 500.
I like
yards.
Rashid Shaheed a lot.
Okay.
Shout out Elite Takes.
But you're right.
Shout out Elite.
But you're right. The receivers, I lean the Seahawks. Quarterback, Geno had a better year. I wouldn't be shocked if he has another better statistical year. That's a toss-up as well. I think running backs, I'd lean the Seahawks. I like Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. Offensive line, I'm going with the Saints. I think the Saints have a better offensive line. I think the Saints have a better defensive line. I think the Saints have better linebackers. I think the Saints have a better secondary. So I think defensive.
Secondary, Jamal's going to be healthy.
Marshawn Lattimore, Adebo.
Paulson and
That's
Debo
true,
and,
but
and
yeah, I mean,
Alante Taylor, Bradley
Seattle's gonna have a
Roby,
good secondary.
wait, did
Marcus Mann, Tyrann Mathieu.
I'm blanking badly. Did the Saints get Baltimore's second safety, or was it the other way around? Williams, I think I'm blanking.
He's on the Ravens.
Yeah,
He's on the Ravens. Got it.
yeah.
But no, I know what you're saying. I know the question you're asking. I think the Seahawks and the Saints are very close.
I would lean the Seahawks. I think if they're
That's
able to lock in on defense, because the Saints do have the players.
Seahawks secondary is really fucking good.
You know what
You're
I
not
mean?
You're not gonna get any pushback from me if you pick the Seahawks.
Yeah.
You're not. I like the. I'm very high on the Seahawks.
Getting Witherspoon, obviously Tariq Woolen, Michael Jackson's not bad.
Jamal Adams is
Quadre Diggs and Jamal.
Quadre,
I'm a
facts.
big Prez guy. He's a Jet legend.
I don't know if
us at the end.
No, bro, he kind of is a Jet legend because he gave you 2 firsts.
That's a
Franchise
fact.
legend?
He blessed us. But don't forget, number 1 PFF linebacker Bobby Wagner's back with Seattle.
Oh, wow.
Be careful.
It's over.
All
I
pro.
gotta lean the Seahawks.
All pro.
Sheesh. It's crazy.
All pro. You did
All
make
pro.
All pro.
No, but
It's a joke though.
you do know
Doesn't
that
matter,
you do know that Jamal Adams though. You know when we was watching him play, he was Jet legend.
He was
for sure.
my favorite player for a while. But at the end, I mean,
I will
said,
never
"Fuck us."
forget draft day when you guys got him at 6.
We were lit.
That's one of the.
Yeah.
We're at my crib. That's one of the That was one of the bigger steals.
Yeah.
Remember, he's supposed to go 2 when he went to 6. That was OD.
But the way I look at the Saints, I think the Bucks are gonna get swept. You know, they
Bucks will be bad.
already played them very well when they had Brady. I think they'll sweep them. I think they'll sweep one of the Panthers and the Falcons too. Not the Falcons because I really respect Arthur Smith a lot and his coaching
I
ability.
think that they split.
I just think the Panthers they just lack juice in terms of their receivers.
To be honest with you, they lacked juice last year, and they still were able to win multiple games in the division.
That's true. And I think that they lack juice though at the receiver position.
No more
Carolina?
DJ Moore,
Their
McCaffrey,
defense
no year.
it's up and coming, but
It's young.
outside of
Mingo, Terrence Marshall is apparently primed for a breakout. We'll see.
Yeah,
Adam
he had a
Thielen,
good
not
couple
bad, of
games to end
course.
it.
outside of J.C. Horn, I don't trust another corner they have that can really
That's my
play man to
fucking
man.
goat right there.
Their defensive line is okay. It's good. It's nothing special. Their linebackers are good. Okay, nothing special. It's an okay team. I view the Panthers as an
They're
okay
young.
team.
They're young. They'll be fine. Like
I think the Saints, they went out and got Derek Carr because they believe that they can win double-digit games. I think they will this year. And they have the easiest schedule in football.
Olavi's about to tweak this year.
It's gonna be a
He's
great
about
season.
to tweak.
So it's 10 or 11 games for me. 10 to 12 range, I think that's fair for the Saints. I lean more 11-10, though. Is there a chance they're this year's Minnesota Vikings of last season? No. The Vikings, they won 13 games last year.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see who wins the Baker Mayfield versus Kyle Trask camp battle. Got to keep an eye on that one.
That's embarrassing.
I have no stock invested in that.
You're a Baker guy.
No, I'm not.
Oh my
Now
God!
this-
We have a whole tape.
Yeah,
Of
you
you.
were defending him with your life last year.
You're
I'm
cooked,
not.
buddy.
Whoa, he's not my guy no more. I can't.
It's ironic.
He had the,
It's ironic.
He had the
I think the
99
next
yard
topic,
against the Rams.
it was a guy that he decided that he wanted to take him over.
I've already handed in my divorce papers, mister.
Oh, have you?
I'm done.
When was that? Because I remember once he went to the Rams, he had that crazy game-winning drive. You were all in my face about it.
Listen, I'm happy because I was in your face about it for a different reason. The reason I was in your face about it was because you told me he's one of the worst backups in the league.
Did I say that?
Yes, you
I
did.
think you
Wouldn't
did.
surprise
You were
me.
cooking him.
And I was just like,
This man
listen,
suck.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying he's
He
this
was
great
actually
quarterback,
pretty
but
terrible
he's
with the
all
Rams.
right.
Outside that one drive, he was pretty terrible with the Rams.
Matthew Stafford was too last year.
Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl the year before. He played like fucking 5 games last year.
I know, but I'm saying like the situation with the Rams.
It was terrible.
Most quarterbacks would have been terrible in that
was terrible.
situation.
I'll give you
Oh,
that.
thanks, bro. I appreciate it.
No
They
doubt.
are the same human.
I thank you.
Who?
Jokic and Luka.
Oh,
They're the
that's
same
good
guy.
numbers.
It did.
You got a lot of
People
lot
weren't
of
happy.
quotes. I mean, a lot of
They weren't
replies.
happy because
the
there's
numbers?
so many Luka fans.
What was the numbers?
in terms of like what I did.
You got a ton of quotes.
I got 265, but one person who said this is one of your worst tweets that I can remember.
265 quote tweets?
No.
Oh, that'd have been fire.
Like 80, though.
No, I got 80 quotes, 24 retweets.
I like the quotes more than the
260
likes. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I like what people say.
Oh, the quoting I'm fine with, and no one in the quotes no one races.
No, I just like when I get more quotes than likes. I like that better.
Yeah,
gives more interaction. Yeah.
oh no, for sure. Oh, I enjoyed this one thoroughly. People were mad that I spoke facts. Yeah, no, it was horrible. A lot of bad tweets.
Oh, yeah.
No, a lot of bad replies I got that just made no common sense.
Justin Fields.
There we go.
Jordan Love. Who's in a better position to succeed in 2023? And I think these two players are players that all of us at this table are going to be looking at to invest on Mojo. Right now, Fields
I can get behind this.
is $31.09.
Steal.
Get in early.
Jordan Love is $14.05.
Also, get in early.
Yeah, it's so cheap.
So much money to be made.
Talking about the Bears and Packers, and this segment is sponsored by Mojo. Which quarterback is in a better position to succeed?
We're getting right into it. I like where Justin Fields is. I think if you look at Jordan Love, you could look at the head coaching and LaFleur and say, I feel more confident than what the Bears have. But the weapons that Justin Fields is going to have, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, they just drafted Roshan Johnson, who I think could be the number one running back on that team. He's going to have everything in position to succeed. And I know people are going to look at that offensive line and say it's terrible. The offensive line is about average. Justin Fields has to get...
He makes it average.
No, he makes it worse.
He'd be
Justin Fields has to get better with getting the ball out in time because there's way too many times that he's just holding because he's so athletic. He can get out of bad situations.
He's also a running back.
But the offensive line is decent enough, and they have the weapons. I think the only thing you could look at is coaching, and if that could be improved or at least solidified, then he's primed for a breakout year.
I think Green Bay's defense also is really, really, really
amazing.
Good. Yeah, like I think when you think of coaching, you think of the defense. Jordan Love has a better situation to make the playoffs, and I think that's what you want. Offensively, he doesn't have a DJ Moore. He probably doesn't even have a Darnell Mooney.
Respect Christian Watson.
Pardon me. But he doesn't have a DJ Moore. But what he does have is an elite defense in the coaching. But I'm going with my guy, Justin Fields. I mean, I just called him a running back because he was primarily a running back last year.
He was historic, though.
Yeah, historic. Lamar Jackson like running back. But he has to make strides as a passer. As a quarterback, that has to be your number one job. But I think bringing in what the front office did this offseason was truly incredible for Justin Fields. I mean, they brought in receivers. They drafted well in the line. Defensively, they got to get better. Of course, defensively, they was one of the worst teams in the league. They allowed so many points, but offensively, you saw the potential with this group. Now you bring in a number one. You have a number two. You probably have a number three in Chase Claypool, if you want to say that. And Darnell Mooney's like a low-tier number two, but you have DJ Moore, and I think this can definitely unlock a lot of ability with Justin Fields. So for me, I got to go my guy, Justin Fields. I think the Bears are going to be really, really good this year.
Mooney's the high number two.
Between the Packers and the Bears, when I look at Jordan Love and Justin Fields, who's in a better position, I think that the better investment is Jordan Love because I think he can skyrocket. But
investment on Mojo, just so we're specific about that, the price is crazy.
The price, Jordan Love is at $14, and Fields is almost double that. The Packers have the better all-around team. When I look at offensive groupings and personnel and position groups and who is better there, their offensive coach, I lean the Packers because of Matt LaFleur. Running backs is the Packers.
Easy.
Receivers is the Bears. Tight ends is the Bears.
Yep.
A lot of Packers tight ends are improving. They're young. Offensive line, the Packers clear.
Yep.
The Bears in 2022, they scored on 70% of their opening drives. Second.
That's insane, actually.
Second. Yeah, they were 12% better than the second team in the NFL, which was at 59%, and it was a tie between Philadelphia, San Francisco, Tampa Bay, and Las Vegas.
Tampa Bay. Wow.
Vegas.
The problem with the Bears offense is that after the opening drive, every drive after that, 23rd in points per drive, 26th on scores per drive, 30th in yards per drive, 30th in percentage of drives that ends with 1+ sack. That's an area Fields needs to improve. Stop holding onto the ball. Stop taking sacks.
That's true.
And they rank 24th in EPA per play and 3rd in turnovers per drive. So their offense outside of the opening drive was terrible. That tells me that Luke Getsy's opening game script is amazing. But the problem with the Bears offense last year, and the reason why it was successful and why it also wasn't very good, is because it was very basic. It was elementary.
They also had dog shit players.
Offensive line was good.
Mooney was out for a good amount of the year.
Claypool came late in the year.
Yeah,
he was the
was
number one.
mid.
And he dropped some things.
I'm not going to act like this Bears team was, an all-star roster. It wasn't.
The defense was so historically bad.
But the thing
They
is
were
that
in games.
Luke Getsy had to cater the
It lost like
offense.
6 games by one possession.
Yeah.
Luke Getsy had to cater the offense to how Justin Fields was comfortable playing, and that led to having an elementary offense and an offense that was easy for defenses to figure out very quickly. So that's why there was such a massive drop-off there. I think that Justin Fields has much more to work on than Jordan Love in terms of just the quarterback position. In Ohio State, he was a game manager. He read the field well. And really in the NFL, it hasn't been that way. He hasn't had the talent to really support him all that well. But you look at Justin Fields. He was 32nd in sack percentage. The PFF ranked the Bears' offensive line 14th, so it wasn't a terrible offensive line. Fields had the most pocket time in the NFL. So he was getting time to throw, and he was still getting sacked at an enormous rate. And Justin Fields' wide receivers, although they weren't that good, they weren't dropping the ball more than anybody else. They were 28th in drops.
Were they getting open? Is there a percentage for that?
They were not getting open at a great percentage.
Got it.
But also, Justin Fields was 5th in bad throw percentage at 19.3% of his throws were bad. Mm-hmm. The only worst quarterbacks were Wentz, Carr, Mariota, Davis Mills, and Zach Wilson.
Who'd you say it to? Wentz?
Derek Carr.
Oh.
Yeah. And Justin Fields was 29th in on-target percentage. Only quarterbacks worse for Baker, Mills, Mariota, and Wilson. He was also the third pressure quarterback.
Oh, damn.
I think that Justin Fields does have a lot to work on. I think that based on how he played last season, he's trending upwards, and I think he will get better. It's just my question is he going to get better to the point that's going to warrant the Bears building around him long term? Mm-hmm. That's like the real question because he's already on his 3rd year, and if he doesn't take an enormous leap, then I don't know how much longer the Bears will stick with him. But there are some question marks in his game, but I think that his rushing ability has given him a lot of leeway because that's truly an elite part of his game. I think he's the best rushing quarterback in the NFL right now.
Couldn't you say the same thing about Love? I feel like Love's leash is a lot shorter than Justin Fields.
1 year after this.
Jordan Love, to me,
he hasn't shown much just like Fields. I think Fields has shown more.
He has shown more. Jordan Love, when I watched him play his first start versus Kansas City, although he didn't have great stats and he didn't play well, I saw good things out of him in terms of his process. He knew where to go with the football. He wasn't like Zach Wilson getting the ball and running around in circles, panicking. He went through his progressions. He went through his reads, and he has good pocket navigation. And even versus the Packers, when we saw him, versus the Eagles, when we saw him this past season, when he played in that limited sample size, we saw Jordan Love get inserted into the offense, and it had much more juice than with Rodgers in it because Jordan Love knows where to go with the ball. He knows how to navigate the pocket, and I think he just has much better awareness inside the pocket and knowing where to be with the football than Fields does at this point. That's why it wouldn't surprise me if Love is better. I'm very high on Jordan Love. I think that Fields has a slightly better supporting cast on offense because the receivers are way better, but I think that Love is going to have better support from his running game because we have to keep in mind that Fields is a big part of the running game. So he's the one that's kind of supporting himself in that aspect where I think Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are going to be great players for the Packers next year.
This is a tough question because I do like the personnel of the Packers. I do think their receiving core is a little bit weak, outside of Christian Watson, of course. But you mentioned it. Aaron Jones and
A.J. Dillon.
Thank you. A.J. Dillon are going to provide him with a nice safety net, and it's going to open up the passing game. And I think that you can still rely on mostly Aaron Jones in the passing game to dump off, and that's another safety net as well. But I do look at the Bears. I trust the progression of Justin Fields. We saw it from year 1 to year 2. He improved as a rusher. He realized, okay, my strongest attribute is my legs. I ran a 4.4, what is it, a 4.4 or a 4.44 40?
Something like that.
Something 4.4 for sure.
He has insane speed at the quarterback position. He decided year 2 to finally utilize it. I remember it. I believe Ryan Fitzpatrick said it. You don't want to be Mahomes. You want to be Cam Newton. And he went full. He took that and ran with it. He was fantastic last year in terms of development. Now, what's the primary focus need to be in year 3? Now we need to become better as a passer. And early reports in camp are that he is lighting it up. He's doing his thing as a passer. We're seeing quality improvements.
And I don't want to. It is just tough to not immediately think about, why do I do this all the time? Jalen Hurts. It's very hard not to immediately have him come to mind when you think about Justin Fields and their progression, because year one, kind of similar. Jalen Hurts, not that great of a passer. Showed potential as a rusher. Year two, amazing rusher. Not that good of a passer. Year three, the hope was that he was going to improve as a passer. Obviously was amazing, was an MVP candidate for the majority of the season. Here we are with Justin Fields. Year one, not that great, has potential raw. Year two, amazing rusher. Needs to work on being a passer. Here we are, year three. It's very hard not to think about. Oh my God, I do this all the time. Thank you, Jesus Christ. I don't know why it happens to me. I just go blank with Hurts.
Built an insane super team around him
for sure. The talent that the Eagles have compared to the Bears is night and day. It's not even comparable, really. The offensive line, the weapons,
not close.
It's crazy. But in terms of progression, that's really what we want to see. How can he progress as a passer? I believe in Justin Fields. I think that we can see him progress. Getting him DJ Moore is going to just be nothing but beneficial for his game. That's the equivalent of the AJ Brown on a way lesser scale, of course. As great as DJ Moore is, he's no AJ Brown. But of course, I do believe in his progression. I think that he will have a great season. He will be where do you think people have Fields right now? Top 20? Top 15?
Top 25.
I think it's a top 20 quarterback.
I think 20,
right now.
yeah.
I feel like I want to trust that he can enter that top 13 conversation because of how amazing he is as a rusher. I believe in his progression. I believe that now with DJ Moore, it's going to allow him to have confidence in his wide receivers, trust his arm. I think Justin Fields is the safer option here.
You think Fields has to take a substantial leap next season?
Something you said that I disagree with too.
I think he definitely has to improve.
Correct.
But I think as long as the flashes are there, he's going into year 3. You still have year 4 and the 5th-year option. So I think as long as he's taking strides, year 4 is going to be the real one. If he comes out this year and is basically the same passer as last season, then they're going to have real questions. But I think Fields will improve. Just let alone the wide receivers they got. They actually have professional wide receivers. I mean, they were throwing out Equinemius St. Brown and Velez Jones for half the season. He's one of the best running blockers
at that position, though.
Gang said a run block.
Equinemius St. Brown?
Yeah.
Cool.
Like his brother, Amon.
They ran the ball a lot.
But they're not good wide receivers. They're
I know,
catching the ball.
But he was going to get a lot of snaps in the current scheme.
I think regardless of that fact, though, Justin Fields, that's a head scratcher.
You don't think he's going to get a lot of snaps?
No.
He'll get snaps because he's a good blocker, like
when
you
they're
said.
running the ball.
I think regardless,
I don't think catching the ball.
Yeah, no.
Regardless, Fields will be a great rusher. That is for sure. And I think that off that alone, the Bears won't be actively trying to move off of him. I think that the same thing we saw with Hurts, of course, Lamar's different because Lamar was just so good so early on, is that we have a skill set in this quarterback that not many others have. You said it yourself. You think Fields is the best rushing quarterback in the game. Think about that when you have Lamar Jackson, you have Jalen Hurts, you have Josh Allen, how great Fields is in and of itself there. I think that, yes, we do need to see him progress as a passer, but I think with that skill set alone, it buys him some time.
If he has another season where he's completing only 6% of his passes, I think you have to think about moving on. And it's not even about just a player. It's about constructing a roster to win. Quarterbacks outside of the rookie deals, it's hard to build a roster for you to win at that point. And the Bears are in a position where if Fields doesn't take a substantial leap, that defense is not going to win them games. That defense is going to lose them games. And if that offense is not humming at a top 10 rate, they're going to be a bottom 5 team. If they're a bottom 5 team, they'll be in the Drake May and the Caleb Williams sweepstakes to see who they land. And if the Bears have that option with Fields going into his 4th season of starting brand new with a quarterback of maybe Caleb or Drake May's caliber, I don't see why they wouldn't take it.
The one thing I will say, and I spoke about this, I spoke about it a little bit earlier, was that they lost a lot of games by one possession. Now, if the defense tightens up and the offense continues to be successful, down the stretch of the season last year, they struggled to put up points, but they played some decent teams. But if they can continue to be an effective offense, the defense tightens up, you start to win a couple more of these one-possession games, then you're not going to be in those conversations. I don't think that they will be in the conversation for the number 1 or the number 2 overall selection this year. I think that the Bears will be a respectable team.
Yeah, their over-unders at 7.5.
That's fine.
If they're that bad again, I don't know if this coaching staff can live through 2 top 5 picks.
Matt Eberflus?
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't inherit Fields.
No, I'm saying they were the worst team in football last year. And now they would be again if we're in the same conversation.
I mean, Matty Eberflus would not get fired after year 2. I think year 3, year 4.
I mean, we've seen coaches fired early.
It depends how ugly it looks.
Yeah, you're a coach.
You saw the Jets defense of year 1 from year 2 with Saleh. I'm not expecting them to be a top 5 defense, but you're a defensive guy. You had a boatload of draft picks.
That defense will improve under Eberflus. It will. I believe in Eberflus.
They still got hella
cap
coordinator too, right?
Yeah, they're always off cap.
But yeah, I mean, I am going with Jordan Love.
Ah, shocker.
Fields.
I think that Justin Fields, he'll have more total yards, more total touchdowns because you have to equate the rushing into that. But I think when we talk about passer rating, accuracy, I think Love will be better than him in those.
Would you like to put a friendly wager?
Okay, sure.
You want to put a little friendly wager on that?
Sure.
On what?
Fields versus what's your boy's name? I forgot. He's so
I think
he's
Jordan
played in a long time.
Okay.
Yeah. What's his name again?
All right. Keep being disrespectful.
What's the bet going to be for?
Who has a better year?
How are you going to determine that?
Statistically, we can go across the board. We're not going to count the rushing. You'll lose.
You want to have
passing yards, passing touchdowns, completion percentage.
We can do a jersey
I'll bet
swap.
you these 3 stats.
I like that.
Jordan Love will have more passing yards, better completion percentage, and a better passer rating.
So
no, literally everything passing. I don't like.
What do you mean?
Well,
that's literally everything a quarterback does.
So you're not adding. So you're not adding touchdowns.
I think that Fields will have more overall touchdowns.
How about we can just be objective here? Who had the better season? We could do that.
Or passing touchdowns. You want to do passing touchdowns?
We can add
only?
that.
You want to do passing touchdowns only?
No. Why can't we?
Why do you want to take away the Fields' best attribute?
I'd win easily. I trust my guy. Okay, you want to do a jersey swap?
Well, if you have a better passer rating, you're a better. For the most part, you had a better quarterback season. You had a better passing season.
So,
all right, you want to do passer rating because Tua was the best in the game last year.
Dog shit. Let's add those 3 and
Why does the guy
TDs. Let's add those 3 and TDs.
No, just bro. You're Mr. EPA. I just want to make sure you know that.
Ignore the Tua guy. We're talking about real legit men here.
Jimmy Garoppolo's top 5 in EPA. It's the Kyle Shanahan system. That's
oh no.
That's better.
All right, I'm glad we're breaking down EPA day by day.
He has this love relationship with EPA.
I'm winning.
It's mostly love. When it's Tua, it's hate.
Love it.
I just want to ask you this. Do you know what EPA is? Like how it's calculated?
No.
Okay.
I really don't care, honestly. I just know that you love it, and Tua's number 1, and now you eat that shit up.
He's not number 1 in EPA.
Nuts that you said eat that shit up.
He was number 1 for a while. Did he not
until
finish
he had
number 1?
He had 4 straight negative EPA games.
All right. It's a good thing Google exists.
It used to be called
So,
the
Riff,
Chicago Steelers.
I'll explain to you what EPA is.
Sure, I'll listen.
So EPA is a contextualized stat. Basically, let me ask you this question. Are these 2 things the same thing? If you gain 4 yards and it's 3rd and 3 versus 3rd and 10, are they the same thing?
No, not even close.
Gaining 4 yards on 3rd and 3
is more important.
Than getting 4 yards on 3rd and 10.
And that's what EPA is?
That's what EPA is. EPA contextualizes down and distance and situation.
I forgot the stat for NBA. Oh, that's like EFG.
Yes, that you can use that comparison. Perfect. That's what EPA is. It contextualizes down and distance and efficiency. Because a quarterback can have a ton of passing yards per game, but a bunch of those could come in garbage time when the game doesn't matter. Or it can come in a lot of down and distances where
another player
they're racking up yards.
EPA was DeAndre Swift.
So what's your excuse for
Listen,
DeAndre Swift?
no stat is without its flaws. No stat is there's always going to be cracks in the system.
Yo, that's nuts.
There's always going to be cracks in the system, man.
Tua was number 1 in passer rating also.
Yeah.
He had a good year.
No, he's amazing.
Nobody said he didn't have a good year. He had a good year, but is he a great quarterback? No, he's not a great quarterback.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I think everybody knows that.
Alshon Jeffrey is one of our greatest receivers ever. I'm a Bears guy.
I'm like, he was on the Eagles. He did have a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
No, I was talking about my Bears.
Tua was number 2 in. Excuse me. This is EPA plus CPOE. EPA per play.
And A-Rob was supposed to be great, man.
This just doesn't sort. Cool.
It does. You got to go up. The one on the top.
What?
Like you see, you go down. You see this right here. Got to touch that.
Why would they put it up here?
I don't know.
Oh, wrong way. Where'd it go?
This guy's acting.
You got to just touch the EPA one.
You okay, buddy?
Just go down here. Number 2.
Oh, darn it. He's number 2.
Who's
Mahomes? Fuck.
All right, well, there's that.
Mahomes, Tua, Jimmy G.
Where's Josh?
Josh Allen 4.
Jimmy G was there. Jimmy G
was 3. Goff was 6.
Like
Josh was
said.
4? Let me take a flick of that.
like I said, there's cracks in the system. Jimmy Garoppolo and Tua are the cracks in the system.
Oh, okay, good to know.
Yeah, the Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniel coming from that tree. Yes, it inflates mediocre quarterbacks.
It's a good thing Tua.
NFL chat.
Tua is his own guy, and it was clear that without Tua, that offense clearly wasn't the same.
Oh yeah,
right. Because if it's the system, you would plug in these guys, and they'd be great.
Yeah, you plug in Skylar Thompson.
And what happens?
7th round pick.
No, agreed, Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy came in and was a world.
Oh, Brock Purdy's better than Skylar Thompson.
I mean, no shit.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not system; it's based on how good you are as a player.
So that means Brock Purdy's a great quarterback.
Listen, he's pretty damn good.
Okay. You think he's a great quarterback, Brock Purdy?
He's not great.
No, great's a strong word. He's pretty damn good.
You think Tua's a great quarterback?
He's good.
No. Great.
I wouldn't say great yet. I wouldn't say
Is
great
he a
yet.
great quarterback?
I wouldn't say great yet. He's
he's
not.
not.
He's not in the elite tier.
I mean, listen.
Wait.
The
So if
truth
you're
comes
great,
to
you're
light.
elite.
No.
I
Jalen
said
Hurts
he's
is
not
great.
No, whoa. Jalen Hurts is elite.
I only think like 4 people are elite.
Nah, Jalen Hurts is elite.
Okay, that's fair.
I think Hurts is probably in one of those.
He's probably. I think he's in the middle. I think Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herb, Lamar elite.
Yeah.
Aaron, still elite.
For sure.
Hurts in that conversation.
That's why I said right in the middle.
Mahomes probably in a tier of his own, but
Trevor Lawrence is
Trevor.
great. I think Trevor Lawrence is great.
All right, there we go. Keep going. Tua, great.
No, I think
Trevor
Tua's
Lawrence
good.
clears Tua.
I think Tua's good.
Clears.
It's
Tua's
not
not top
even
10.
Gonna have a
close.
stomach ache.
It's
Tua's
not
not
even
top 10.
close.
He is.
No, he's not.
You know how
Dak is better than
I
Tua.
evaluate if somebody clears somebody? If we had 100 people in this room and they all had a chance to draft between one of those quarterbacks, how many times would they go with Trevor Lawrence over Tua?
he's
100
It'd
times.
probably be 100
Prospect of all
times
time.
over.
100 times, yeah.
That means he clears him. Lamar or Tua. Let's do a draft.
Clear.
It's gonna be a clear.
Actually,
Lamar.
probably because of injury concern. I don't know if that'd be a clearing.
It should be. A
Tua
clear.
has his own injury concerns.
If Lamar
You know what?
if
You're 100%
Lamar goes to the Dolphins, I'm literally saying they're gonna win it all this year. If he was on the Dolphins, I would say they're winning it all.
There's a few
No,
weeks
it's
I
fine.
thought
It's
was.
fine. He just knows nothing about Tua. It's fine.
Clearly.
I know enough to know that he went 0-4, 0-5. It was the stress that every Dolphin is waiting for. It was horrible.
3 concussions this year.
Prayers to him. Hopefully he is better. Hopefully he does. That doesn't change my opinion on him as a quarterback.
Prayers to him.
Oh, man. So, listen, we're going to end off the show on this one thing. And that's going to be the 2016 NBA draft. There's been a lot of people. I saw this tweet from Swiper Cam trying to rank these guys. Jaylen Brown, Jamal Murray, Pascal Siakam, Brandon Ingram, Domantas Sabonis. So, the 2016 draft had a lot of great players. And, unfortunately, the first overall pick in that draft is nowhere to be seen on this
Ben
re-ranking
Simmons.
list.
Damn.
But we're going to be ranking Jaylen Brown, Jamal Murray, Siakam, Brandon Ingram, and Sabonis. I guess all of us will have Sabonis number 5.
Unfortunately, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Sabonis number 5. Number 4, who goes next?
It's probably Siakam.
For me, it's Siakam.
I'm not going to disagree.
I would go Brandon Ingram before I go Siakam.
Whoa! You could debate Brandon Ingram's one.
No, it's
You could debate he's one.
The reason I say that is because Siakam is proven as a second option. He can win a championship. And he's also a 2-time All-NBA performer.
I think, you know what I think the beautiful thing about this conversation is? They're all number 2 options. So we can have a very comfortable conversation about, here's the difference with B.I. He's the only one where his number 1 option never plays out of all of these guys.
But I can also say that Siakam, as a number 1 option,
He's amazing.
was a second seed with the Raptors in the 1920 season. And then
Yes.
last season, as a number 1 option, he led the Raptors to a 5th seed.
Yes, I agree.
That's why I'd have him over B.I.
I think B.I. is a better player.
That's exactly how I see it.
I think B.I. has a better all-around skill set. When we talk about who's been more productive, it's Siakam.
All right, Austin
I
Rivers. I like
don't, I don't agree. I don't know.
Nah,
Over the last
Brandon
2-3
Ingram's
years,
really been great.
Siakam is 2-time All-NBA in the last 2-3 years.
He is.
And, I think B.I. has a similar Siakam numbers. Let me see.
The scoring's, it's obvious. You go Brandon Ingram. Playmaking, it's extremely close.
I would lean Siakam.
Not
B.I. has
crazy.
improved as a playmaker.
Not crazy. Not crazy.
Crazy.
No, it isn't.
As a rebounder, Siakam's better. As a defender, Siakam's better.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's facts. So B.I. this year was 25, 6'6", 48, 39, 88 splits. So
48 and 39 is nuts.
Brandon Ingram was
Pascal was 24, 8 and 6, 48, 32, 77 splits. So they're around the same. And B.I.'s last
But I only
like
say
35
39.
Nuts.
That's amazing.
He doesn't take a lot of threes though.
Why does this keep happening?
I don't know. I guess
TV
after a certain amount of time, it just goes like that.
But I was gonna say, how long have we had done this show and that never really happens?
It never did. It's something new.
Yeah, B.I.'s last 4 years, he's been at 24 points, 23, 25. So around the same as Siakam.
But the efficiency, I mean, that's where the 3-point shot is.
It's not good, but
39% is great.
No, but last year was 32. Before that, 38, 39. So he was good for the most part.
I think it's close. I'm not saying that B.I. can't do that.
Yeah.
I think maybe he'll one day be above Siakam.
The thing is, I like all these guys, so like
That's a fact.
I can live with it.
So I
know.
So do you think? So you think between 4 and 3 is Siakam and Ingram interchangeable, or do you have Ingram higher?
I have Ingram higher.
I would have Ingram higher.
I have Ingram
But
higher.
I also based it off the better player. So yeah,
You know what? I'm willing
to.
to level. I could say it's interchangeable.
I have Jamal Murray at 2
How the fuck do you skip 3?
You have Jalen. No, that's weird.
Oh, you had
Yeah.
Ingram
and Siakam.
interchangeable.
Jamal Murray is at 2 for me because I think he's better in the playoffs than Jaylen Brown, but I still have to see him put an entire season together in terms of all-star regular season or all NBA and then be performing in the playoffs. This is just like a redraft. If I'm thinking about a redraft and I'm like, okay, Jamal Murray doesn't get to play with Nikola Jokic. This is just a redraft, drafting off of talent.
So then why are we taking BI? Why aren't we taking BI over Jamal?
Because Brandon Ingram was drafted to be the Lakers' best player, and he started off struggling in his career.
I want to say
He
this:
went to the Pels and
the last 30 games with Bi, where they had to get to a playoff push. Bi went 26, 6 and 5.
He was amazing.
48, 35.
And if we're doing a redraft, you're taking Jamal over Pascal?
I would, yeah.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
You have Jalen 1.
I have Jalen 1.
I thought you took Murray over Jalen.
I did.
Would you rather?
If would you rather? I would rather Jamal Murray, but I think Jaylen Brown. He probably fits more teams as
number one
option.
I think Jalen would be bad as number 1.
I don't think he'd be bad as number 1. I don't.
Offense revolved around him
over Jaylen Brown. He can't pass.
Yeah, you don't. If you don't have to be
Like it hurts me to say it, but
you don't have to be a number 1 option for you to have a good playmaker playing alongside you. You can still be a number 1 option and have a good playmaker playing alongside you.
Oh, that means they're a lottery team.
Not really.
Do you have to have some sort of playmaking ability?
Who's the number 1 with no playmaking ability or very limited?
No, I'm not saying they have to have that ability. I'm saying you can play with players next to you that have.
No, he's
those
asking though, but like,
abilities.
where's that situation?
Yeah.
Well, Jason Tatum's in that situation.
No, he's the number 1.
But Jason Tatum could play make.
You're right. Hold up. I'm misconstruing what I'm thinking. So
It's like Jokic play makes, Luka.
Even the Clippers, Paul George play makes, Kawhi a little bit.
Jokic obviously play
Steph,
makes.
Golden State, the
Giannis
Lakers
can pass.
Giannis can pass. Chris Middleton can pass. Drew can pass. I don't think that's anywhere.
Embiid can kind of pass.
Well, Harden does it, so
That's true.
swimmingly. He's a big.
Embiid's probably the only one you look at. And it's the center. It's not Jokic, and that's really it.
Even the Kings, Sabonis can pass.
Yeah.
Fox can pass.
Facts.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown being a 1 would be nasty.
Zion can pass.
Bi can pass.
Facts.
Yeah, he's cooked. Damn, JB.
Breaks my heart.
I don't hate it for you.
Screw you.
I think I would have. Who do we have? Who do we have at 5 again?
We all comfortably said
Sabonis.
Sabonis.
Sabonis, Siakam.
Sorry to Sabonis.
I think
B.I.
Ingram needs to
Murray,
be higher,
Jalen.
personally.
I have Ingram at. I have Sabonis, Siakam. I'd probably go Jaylen Brown,
Oof.
Jamal, and then Bi.
I don't mind it.
That would be.
I don't mind it.
So 5-1.
Change Jamal and Jalen though, out of respect for me.
The thing with Jamal, like Joel said a little bit, like he plays with the Joker, so it's like, what do he look like as a number 1?
agree.
It's really, but I've seen like Bi. He has the tools and the intangibles to be a number 1. Like he's a great playmaker. He's a great 3-level scorer. So I would have Bi.
And down the stretch of the season, the Pelicans were playing some good basketball.
No funny shit. I might put Siakam over JB.
Okay.
It's not even because
the reason I have Jamal number 2 is because Pascal's claim to fame is being the second best player on a championship team. And I think this run that Jamal Murray is on clears what Siakam did as a second option.
That's understandable.
Jamal's been OD.
Yeah,
This is a redraft, so this is guys controlling your team.
basically
I might
taking
put JB under Siakam.
I think BI 1 I'm fine with, actually.
This is tough, actually.
I'm not putting Siakam over Jaylen Brown.
I'm not either. You're out of your mind.
I don't want to.
Can I ask why Brandon Ingram is the least accomplished out of all these guys outside of Jamal Murray, yet he's going 1?
Because he's the best out of all of them.
He's the most
I don't
skilled.
think he's the best out of all of them.
He's definitely the most
I think
skilled.
he's the best out of all of them.
You can be the most skilled and not be better than
I'm not.
somebody.
I'm not even proclaiming skill. I think he's just the best player out of all of them.
I'm not going to disagree either.
What happened with this BI vendetta you had in the regular season?
I watched film
He's amazing.
and I was moved tremendously.
No,
I
yes,
won't
you
even
should
sit here
be.
and lie
He's
to you.
OD.
I was very
Bro,
much
his
moved.
last from the All-Star break on, he was unbelievable.
I think the least accomplished thing is unfair because his star player, his number one,
Facts.
is
He's been on
never
a
playing.
bad team.
Well, he's supposed to turn up then.
He did.
He did. It wasn't his fault.
Joel, I'm
CJ
telling you,
McCollum
he was amazing.
I
CJ
know he
McCollum
turned
sold him badly.
I know CJ McCollum wasn't that good, but
The rest of the
also
roster's
the
pretty
year
fucking
they
mid.
made the playoffs, CJ was the biggest
I
reason
agree.
why they made the playoffs.
You could
But
say
also
that, but
BI
who was
too.
the best player?
it was
Brandon
Brandon
Ingram.
Ingram.
Who was the best
But I
player in the
also
playoffs?
think this the
Because
thing.
the quote unquote best defender, wing defender, he fried him.
This is the gripe I have with Brandon Ingram currently. It's we're judging him off of what he's done in the regular season somewhat, but a lot of people use that one playoff series to boost him up tremendously. And the problem with that is that with most of these players, we have a multitude of playoff series where we can point to bad series, and they don't get that leeway of just having one playoff series because Jaylen Brown,
I
if
give him
his
leeway.
if his season ended in the first round, he averaged 27-5 in the first round against Atlanta, shot 54% from the field and 51% from three.
Didn't BI average 30 against the Suns?
He averaged 26, 6, and 6.
But the thing
Or
with
27, 6,
yeah,
and
but the
6.
thing with Jaylen Brown and
On Mikal Bridges.
the thing
on
with
Mikal
the
Bridges,
thing with Jaylen Brown and Brandon Ingram is, and I know we hypotheticals are hard. We can kind of look at both their games and say, okay, well, Brandon Ingram wouldn't have the same struggles as Jaylen Brown in a playoff series. Jaylen Brown is struggling because he can't go left. He's struggling because he cannot play make. Brandon Ingram can play make. Brandon Ingram can go left. He can go right. He can
Do whatever he
move.
wants.
He can get in the post. So it's like that's why the consumption is like if Brandon Ingram had a bit of he also has the worst team out of all these guys. So we have to kind of look at that too.
Raptors.
Oh yeah, Raptors.
I guess it's close.
Debatable.
Debatable.
Both
Well,
pretty
I mean,
good.
I can also say,
Zion's
though,
always hurt. So
When Zion's on the court, it's not even a fucking question.
I can also say, though, like, if we're getting Jaylen Brown at his best, what he offers as a two-way player, I would take that over Brandon Ingram.
That's not crazy either.
not crazy.
Don't disrespect Jaylen Brown.
I just said that's not.
One
I just,
bad playoff
I just said that's
series.
not crazy.
I have JB too.
That's not crazy.
You're about
I'll
to
put
Siakam
JB
over
too.
him.
Because we were talking about number ones, and that's why.
Neither of them are number one.
Yeah. So.
I want to see Brandon Ingram in like as number one option.
Brandon could be a one.
We haven't
I'm saying
seen
Siakam. I don't think Brandon.
As
Not on
a-
a championship
I don't
team.
think
no.
Brandon's-
as a
No.
number one option. This is the gripe I have with Brandon Ingram. This is why his skill set is weird. As a number one, his skill set is great for being the first option on the team. He's just not good enough to be the best player on the team, which is why he has to be demoted to being the second best. But as the second best player, he sometimes gets relegated to a role that doesn't fit him best.
I just
And when-
think Brandon saved their season last
when-
year.
when Zion
even though
Willi-
it was not that good.
He gets
Season
to
as
the
a whole.
playoffs.
When
he
Zion
turned up
Williamson
that
is
much.
healthy, he's by far the number one.
course.
And there are a lot of times when BI kind of just
But BI's also
It's quiet.
injured a lot, and then we have to always remember
That's the shit that
BI's
sucked this year.
Like this was
Right.
this year after I want to say January, he was fully healthy,
Mm-hmm.
or somewhere around that time, and that's why he looked the way he looked because he was fully healthy.
so if
He's
we're
banged
doing
up a lot.
So if we're doing a redraft, we don't take that into account
I mean, he really
Injuries?
no.
Well,
He's never
if
really
that's
been
the case,
injured.
why are you putting Jamal at 2?
when he's healthy.
But he's
like
been
that.
back from his ACL.
No, but
He
when
seems
but
fine.
when Ingram's healthy, which is a majority, he's been healthy a
He's
majority.
been more healthy than
Yes.
Jamal.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah, if we're taking health into account, I can see an argument for Jamal at 4.
I wouldn't put him that low though.
But
I think Jamal's
Jamal's injured
three.
with ACL. It's not
I
like
think,
he has
in my
nagging-
opinion, it's Brandon Ingram
And
or
Jamal was
Jaylen
one
Brown.
injury. Yeah,
That's
right.
what I'm saying.
You're right. It was
How
just a
long?
major injury.
Yeah.
It's
But
Brandon Ingram or Jaylen Brown, 1 or 2. Jamal, Pascal, Sabonis. That's how I would have
And
it.
it feels like Jamal was out for 2 years because he got injured in the middle of the season.
Facts.
So that's why he missed the playoffs and then the entirety of next year.
Here's the thing: all these 5 players are amazing. So I get if it's hard to rank these 5.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. Like it's tough. Jamal's going on a crazy heater right now.
He's OD.
Jaylen Brown's coming off a stinker, so it may seem like recency biased. Brandon Ingram hasn't made the playoffs. Look, hasn't been in the playoffs a lot. It's tough. They're all great players. They're all number 2s. Just goes who do you want.
But that's why I look at this and who's the least number 2 out of all of them. I think that's Brandon Ingram, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah. I guess you can see that.
I guess Sabonis, kinda. I know that he's not the
He's a weird
scoring
number
option
two. He's a really weird number two.
because he's obviously the one that facilitates the offense.
Yeah, if you put Ingram over Sabonis, I don't have any pushback over that. I think Sabonis is last on this list.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And even as a second option, I think Ingram's a better second option than Sabonis.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, I just meant the statement I said was the most not number 2.
I do agree with you though. His Brandon Ingram's career arc is very, very, very odd. But like watching him play and to see the shit he's done.
And the way I praise Brandon Ingram, I wouldn't say it's primarily off the Suns series, more so as it is the second half of last year.
Yeah, he was amazing.
He was unfucking believable, bro.
I just want to see it for like an entality.
I agree. I get it.
That.
But bro, he missed what, 29 games?
Something like that. I think he played 60 games this year.
Let me look.
I'm so tired.
Played like 60 games this year. So I don't
It's
know.
all right. We can end the show. I'll look after the show.
And that's going to do it for episode 286 of the Pick Aside Podcast. You can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Pick Aside Podcast, on Twitter at Pick Aside Pod. Make sure to help us and support our sponsors, Mojo. Link is in the description, Boom Fantasy. It helps out the show a ton. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.